to introduce the
Okay,
topic,
got it.
but then when we go to like openings, I'll give you first go at it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, gang. Sorry. Yeah, no, we're actually on time. Welcome to yet another episode of WhickTV. It's a cross-ideological space where we talk to people from both sides of the aisle about issues political, cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you today? We are going to be talking about um, Trump and the Constitution. Has Trump put us into a constitutional crisis with his executive orders, his use of Doge and Elon Musk, and many other issues at hand? Some say he has, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what that would mean um, and what we could do about it if it's so. But I have some lovely guests today to talk about it. I think everyone here, except for me and Soy Pill, deal with the law in some way, or lawyers. So it should be an interesting discussion, and I'm glad to be here. Pisco, open us up. Give us your thoughts. Why is this a constitutional crisis? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's clearly a constitutional crisis. Donald Trump is a disgrace to his office, and he is implementing a Project 2025 agenda specifically to centralize power to create authoritarian government. When I use the term constitutional crisis, I'm talking about any kind of significant and existential threat to the structure of the Constitution. We're not just talking about violations of a particular amendment. We're not just talking about, whether free speech was violated in a given instance. We're talking about the authorities of the government itself, the foundation of the different branches of government, which is the foundation of our society and what binds us together. That's what we mean by constitutional crisis. Okay, so what we're talking about is a more systemic structural problem that has been introduced maliciously by this government and the deniable private actors that it employs to try to essentially centralize power. So what's the crisis? All right. Number one, they are attempting to usurp Article 1 of the Constitution and to steal legislative authority from Congress. This is evident both in their unconstitutional and unlawful spending freeze that has already been stopped by two courts, district courts, count them, who have acknowledged that this is, very clearly trying to usurp the exclusive authority of the Congress to spend the money. And Article 1 clearly sets out that it's Congress who gets to decide what to spend the money. You can make some flippant comparison to a temporary pause, limited in scope, limited in time, one other instance in the history of this country. It is not at all dealing with the broader systemic attack on Congress's ability to appropriate funds. And let's think about it. Imagine if it were the case that Congress's statutes were just advisory, were just opinions, and optional for the president to implement. Absolute bullshit and garbage. And these motherfuckers are going to defend it and say that's not a constitutional crisis. It's a constitutional crisis when we talk about adding Supreme Court members to the bench, but it's not a constitutional crisis to just ignore the appropriations of Congress. Number two, Doge. Doge just purporting to eliminate statutorily enacted agencies of Congress. Eliminate, for example, what they're planning to do, the Department of Education. Eliminate USAID, statutorily passed. So now what we're talking about here and what they're going to defend is that it's not a constitutional crisis for the president or his minions or his deniable oligarch friends to just delete an agency or to do the effective deletion in the case of just stripping them of all their funding, stripping them of everything. That is disgusting that they would defend that. And then finally, what we're gearing up to next, which is the attack on the judicial system, the real attack on the Supreme Court, where J.D. Vance, the authors of Project 2025, have all told us that they want to bring to heel the judicial department of the United States of America. They're already starting by this little rescinding of the memo that you saw, the spending freeze. Well, we rescind the memo, but not the policy. The district court judge in D.C. called them out, said it was one of the most disingenuous things she's ever seen to try to escape judicial review in that context. And what they're gearing up for, what J.D. Vance said, what these people said is, let Marshall enforce his rule. He's made his ruling, now let him enforce it. Harkening back to this apocryphal statement from Andrew Jackson. That's obviously what they're gearing up for. It's so serious, in fact, that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, someone who I disagree with vehemently on, had to come out publicly and make a statement directly, not directly, but everyone knows, addressing J.D. Vance and these kinds of disgusting robber barons. He came out and said, it's very concerning that people are talking about ignoring the courts, and they're going to defend it. And they're going to tell you, hey, it's no big deal. We don't give a shit about it. It's not a crisis at all. They're completely washed. They're completely cooked. They have no idea what's going on in this country. Your freedoms and the structure of the country is being attacked.
Okay. Well, thanks. That was passionate. We'll get into it. Just maybe I should have been more clear. Be a little concise on these opening statements, gang. I want to get into the back and forth when we go. Zetsui,
Sure.
ball's your cart. Go ahead.
Zetsui, I'm more of just not a content creator or anything, but I'm just more of an acquaintance of Wix and Lactoid, and I'm an attorney, so I agreed to chat on this. I don't believe there's a constitutional crisis, mostly because a constitutional crisis refers, at least my position, to something that our current systems don't have the tools to deal with it. Things like the Civil War, where you go, we don't have procedures on secession from the country. So if we have tools to deal with it, then it wouldn't be a constitutional crisis. And in terms of so I just don't believe that the current situation, not saying it's good, or that you're just saying that our current system has checks and balances in place to rectify if you don't like what's happening.
Okay, thanks for being here. Next up, we have the soy pill, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. As Wick so kindly pointed out, I'm not a lawyer. I am Jewish, so I have genetic memory of being a lawyer, and maybe that will help me here. But I'm arguing on the side that this is a constitutional crisis, which is defined essentially when the function and powers of government, the checks and balances, are not functioning as intended in the Constitution. As Pisco so elegantly pointed out and laid out, I won't get too deep into the details, but Trump is consolidating power into the executive branch and completely subverting those checks and balances, whether that be federal freezing of funds that are approved already by Congress, whether that be instituting Schedule F, reclassifying federal workers so that he can fire people that would otherwise have oversight on him, or doing any of the other things where he's ignoring court orders to check his power. It is a constitutional crisis. When we talk about whether or not we have the tools to fix it, I think we can clearly see that the tools that should be the checks and balances are being ignored, are being eroded, and if the standard for whether or not it's a constitutional crisis is going to be whether or not we have a civil war, I think that is an insane standard, but hey, that's an argument to make, so let's see if we do it. That's about all I have.
Well, thank you for being here, and excited to get into it. Lactoid, last but not least, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
You're fine, yeah.
So there's a Twitter user, his name is Zero Fucks, F-U-X, and he put out, it was like who said it? Was it Hitler or was it Pisco? And a couple of the ones are actually pretty difficult to differentiate, because what Pisco does is he uses incredibly hyperbolic language, us versus them categorization, and a sort of, mindset of they are evil, we need to defeat them, no alliances, nothing we can do. We're in a total crisis. We're dunzos. Holy shit, this is awful. We have to go to war. This is exactly the same kind of rhetoric that he criticized Trump using, right? Where you say fight like hell, you say fight them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, fight like hell. Very much like Trump. Hey, I don't mean this violently, but still, it is incredibly divisive. It is incredibly aggressive language, and it's also alarmist, I guess, in this regard. We're not in a constitutional crisis right now. I think that's kind of a ridiculous statement. I actually agree with the definition that there is a significant, quote, constitutional crisis is a significant and existential threat to the Constitution, not just a violation or a violation that has yet to be examined by the Supreme Court, which is its job, but a threat to the very structure. I think it's hilarious that people who want to add justices to the Supreme Court now care all of a sudden about constitutional crises. Notice how they've sort of dropped that language now that Trump won. But everything that Pisco went through legally, there is answers for all of it, right? DOJ is made up of special government employees, which is allowed. They are allowed to do the things they are doing. When we're talking about destroying agencies, it depends how you. I agree that you can't just unilaterally remove an agency, but there is abilities to, have agencies work with other agencies for certain agencies to divert funding from one agency to another agency in order to get certain XYZ thing done. There's plenty of legal tools that you can use, or the president can use, without threatening the separation of powers without going against what Congress has the power to do. And one of those is simply delay things, which XYZ here, funding freeze. It is a delay, especially when it comes to U.S. aid. So there's legal examples for everything that was just mentioned. A lot of it is just alarmist and really fomenting hate, I think, against otherwise good people. Oh, and one last thing. Of course, we should be cutting government waste. Of course, this is a good thing. I think Doge has done incredible steps. And in fact, I think a lot of the motivation for the anger here is because of how effective they've been on identifying government waste and other horrible things that the government's been getting away with for a very long time.
Okay, well, we have some strong stances. Let's get into it. The floor is open. If you have trouble getting in, a word edgewise, just raise your hand or DM me or get my attention.
Yeah, the debate is not whether or not Pisco is a hypocrite. The debate is not whether or not Pisco is inflammatory. The debate is not whether Pisco supports this or that. The debate is about whether there's a constitutional crisis. And first of all, I think we should dispense with Zetsu's standard. And I think, Lactoid, you disagree with Zetsu's standard, which is there needs to be a fucking civil type war situation for it to be a constitutional crisis.
I don't think that was his standard.
Stupid, right?
I don't think that was his
fucking
standard.
stupid.
No.
What was your standard,
real quick. That was not his standard. And the reason why I identified how hyperbolic you are is because I knew that you would try to pull this shit because you've been nothing but hyperbolic the past couple weeks. This shit. You're saying, he's saying, here's an example of the constitutional crisis. He's not saying there's the only. Hold on. He's not saying. So you came at us first. Firstly. Secondly, he's not saying this is the only example of a constitutional crisis, which is a civil war. He's saying that is a example. Something that we simply don't have the tools to fix.
I was assuming something that using extreme examples.
So let's be clear, right? So if the president and if Elon Musk, and let's ask this both of Zetsui and of Lactoid, if they just purported to delete an agency enacted by Congress, would you say that it's a constitutional crisis? If they started doing at least two?
If they straight up try and delete it without anything, if they do something else that somehow hinders it, then no. But if they actually just say it doesn't exist anymore, you're all fired, that I've gotten rid of the department, then yes, I guess I would say that. Because if Congress,
that's a
and he hasn't done that. And he hasn't done that. Wait, but Pisco, let me ask. Hold on, real quick. Pisco, do you think that Trump has done that?
Elon Musk has purported to delete and saying he's going to delete USAID, and they're planning to delete the Department of Education.
Gone right now.
Yeah, so USAID is still an entity right now, but they're planning to do it. They're saying they're going to do it. Correct? Yes or no?
You can do it, but not just on their own.
Wait, Lactoid. Are they saying they're going to do it? Yes or no?
What they're saying is that they're going to.
Yes or no?
Hold on. When we're talking about removing an agency, there's different ways you can interpret that. Yes, there's different ways you can interpret that. If we're talking about gutting an agency by using the tools available to the executive, which is managing this agency and appoints employees to this agency, including special government employees, yeah, that's totally fine. If we're talking about actually deleting,
so you're actually saying that it's possible the president could have the authority to just ignore and completely gut an agency.
Sir,
that's what you're saying,
sir. If we're talking about
just
deleting,
real quick, Lactoid, we're gonna need one at a time. I know there's a lot of passion here, right? But in interest of the viewers and the audience, and I feel it would be in their best interest to get a full educated account of what's going on. Try not to yell over each other too much this time, right?
That's not what we should be here for. Sorry, Wick.
Thank you, Wick. I appreciate that. No, I think that it depends what you're talking about here. If they're saying, yeah, we're going to dismantle this by using what we can do as the executive of going in, cutting waste, cutting inefficiencies, which absolutely the president has the ability to do. The president also has the ability to delay things. Hold on. If that's what they mean by that, then that's totally fine. If they're going to unilaterally, hold on. Hey, Wick just got done talking to you. Give me a second. If we're going to be talking about completely unilaterally deleting an entire agency, I would agree. But the question is, has Trump put us into a constitutional crisis? Not, is it possible that at some point in the future, Trump might put us into a constitutional crisis?
We're deep in a constitutional crisis.
We're deep in one. So what
Lactoid is saying, wait, so I'm responding now. So what Lactoid is saying is, not until we're at the final stage, this is kind of like, if you guys remember Actual Justice Warrior, he's like, not until we're at the stage in which there's a full-on dictatorship and a king, will Lactoid come and Johnny come lately say, okay, I guess it was a fucking constitutional crisis. No, they're clearly planning and edging towards a completely gutting, and Trump is very obvious about it, saying we're getting rid of the Department of Education. Is that, how much more clear could he be?
They said dismantling.
Oh my God.
Okay, but Lactoid, can you clarify, Lactoid? Like, if someone comes in, appoints a non-government person into this facility and says, hey, you have free reign to freeze federal funding, to overturn something that Congress has done that is going beyond what an executive order is allowed to do, at what point are you now like, oh, it's a crisis, when it's done, when they say they're going to do it, when it's like 50% done. Like that's just what Pisco's getting at. Like you're just saying, well, they haven't actually done the thing they're going to say 100% to completion, and therefore it's not a deletion. Like what's the standard then? It's only when it's done.
So this is a misunderstanding, and I'm sure part of it is the misunderstanding is influenced by Pisco's hyperbolic language here. When we're talking about, I would say that doing the thing that you're saying would be unconstitutional. If he does that, then you could argue that at that point that'd be a constitutional crisis.
Okay,
but everything
so
right now that's been done
funding,
has not been that.
Is that a
yes, he has the right to do that.
No, he does. Yes. The court has said that he has to stop that.
Yes, he does. Hold on.
What right?
Doge specifically are special government employees the president has the authority to appoint. They are members of the Treasury. A court decision today, or it was either today or yesterday, came out and said that Doge does have the right to access this information. And the president
to freeze all funding.
Elon is the employee. Elon is
You're
an
talking
employee
about something else.
Freeze all funding.
Hold on,
you just heard him. He said
we're getting
freeze
there.
all funding.
We're getting there. Trump is Elon Musk is in this case a special government, or Doge at least is a special government employees. They're made up of special government employees of the Treasury, and they report to Donald Trump, who is the elected president,
and freeze all funding,
and Congress. And yes, you have the right. The president has the right, in order to avoid inefficiencies, to freeze funding, to delay funding. Now, can they abolish it? No, they can't.
Okay, we gotta let you respond.
Until at least the end of the fiscal year.
Indefinitely?
Until the end of the fiscal year. That's what we just said.
Indefinitely?
No, I just said until the end. Do you not hear my answers? Jesus Christ.
So do you agree that they pause indefinitely?
No, they don't say it's paused infinitely. They don't go like
wait. Do you agree, yes or no, that they pause the funding indefinitely?
No, they did not say it's infinitely forever or more.
They pause it?
They pause it until they have to not pause it, which is within the constitutional authority of the president.
Wait. Is that indefinite or is that definite?
Are you trying to take advantage of people's perhaps lack of knowledge between indefinite and
Answer the fucking question. Is that an indefinite or is it a definite end to the pause? So you just said he could not pause it indefinitely. I'm asking you a very simple question, and everyone sees you're dodging it. Is it an indefinite pause or is it definite?
It's perfectly acceptable.
No.
Is it definite or indefinite? Is it definite or indefinite?
Can I answer the question without cutting me off?
You can't answer the question, apparently.
Okay, I only got 4 people on. They're usually pretty good. They're usually pretty, this is going to be calm conversation. I was fucking wrong. Okay.
The stakes are high, Wick. It's our country being eroded.
I just want, just real quick. But I do want you to, Lactoid, I do want you to answer Pisco's question. Is it indefinitely or is it definitely that it was paused?
Well, so it can't, legally, it can't be indefinitely in terms of forever.
I guess. Purport to pause it indefinitely or not. Can you stop?
Can you stop? Can you stop for a second? If we're talking about forever, no, it can't be paused forever. There appears to be. Hold on. I can see you coming at it. They can't pause it forever. Okay. Now he could say. I don't know. If he did, that's fine as long as he stops before the. As long as
you're cooked. And you don't answer the fucking question.
Pisco. Let me answer, please.
You're not answering the fucking question.
I am. I said I don't know if he specifically put in the order indefinite.
You don't know? You didn't read the fucking pause? Are you that stupid?
Stop.
Okay.
Okay. Wick, you have to take control of this maniac for a second. Jesus Christ. Okay, listen to me. I don't know if in the order they specified that specific word definitely or indefinitely. They said a specific date or not. But the reality is you can. It's perfectly fine to say, hey, we are freezing this for whatever period of time. As long as they unfreeze it by any kind of required time period, this is not violating separation of powers. This isn't violating the constitutional authority granted to the president, regardless of what he says.
Moving on, you have to answer the question. The question is the answer you don't know whether they pause it
indefinitely? That's what I fucking asked.
Okay,
you want me to answer it again?
Answer is you don't. So if the answer is wait,
the word indefinite is not in there. Just check.
Pisco.
Oh my God.
Wait. Did you lie? Did you just lie to all of us?
He knows he's cooked. He knows.
Did you just lie to all? Hold on. Hold this.
Oh my
God. Can someone link me this fucking order?
Zetsui.
He's not claiming it says the word indefinite. He's using indefinite means
it doesn't give a specific
the word
indefinite.
So
does he have to? Does he have to specify? Does he have to specify a specific endpoint?
Is it reasonable to believe that it's infinite?
So
let
this is-
Pisco
he's not
explain
gonna
what
let
he
me.
means.
He's not going to let me say this point. So Lactoid just told you he does not know whether or not it's indefinite or a definite and on pause. But he told you before that it would be totally unacceptable to have an indefinite pause on funding. That would constitute a constitutional crisis. Ipso facto, his position needs to be, I don't know if there's a constitutional crisis because you don't know if it's definite or indefinite. That's just logic, bro.
No, this is insane. Zetsui just said the word indefinite is not used. So I apologize.
Is that the only way to have an indefinite like pause on
Because they're
spending if
using
they
two different
use the word
definitions.
indefinite?
Yes.
What kind of argument is that?
What?
It wasn't an argument. Wait,
Please.
it's not an argument. It was a statement.
Yeah.
You
So
disagree?
we're
And
talking.
now you're using it to defend your stupid position. You don't know
You
what the
think-
fuck
you
you're
think
talking
my
about.
position?
Stop
Wait,
talking
do you think my
to
position is? Do you think my position was the word definite or indefinite was used, or was I talking about the substance, whether or not it was an indefinite or definite pause? Don't be a fucking
He
idiot.
answered your
Whoa.
question directly.
Then it's not
He said
indefinite. Then it's
colloquially,
not
no,
indefinite.
technically,
Because
It's
it
yes.
not
didn't use the
indefinite
word.
unless they use the term indefinite. That's
Well,
your
in this
position.
case, yes. In this case, it's not
That's your
indefinite
position,
because
yes. Okay.
Is
Yes,
it possible to
because-
say
because
something
the
is
statute-
indefinite with using that
because
word?
they're
If I
limited.
say
Because
until I
they're
decide
limited.
otherwise,
Hold on.
Colloquially,
You are
indefinite
fucking
means
cooked.
what is it?
forever.
What is this fucking semantic ass argument? This is
Technically
fucking
means it doesn't
ridiculous.
specify directly.
I'm not the
and-
one making this semantic ass.
You're
fucking
literally
argument.
defending
If
yourself by
it's-
saying
I'm
a
not.
thing you didn't
If-
know
if-
until
if-
Zetsui
if-
came.
We're gonna reset. Okay, so apparently the spending freeze. And to be clear to my audience, what we're talking about now, we're talking about the spending freeze on U.S. aid. Correct? Is that
Correct.
Is that what we're
on
talking about?
federal financial assistance as defined in the 2-page memo, and then the policy continues. The memo has been rescinded. That's
Does
a
he
way
have the
they're
right
trying
to
to
freeze
make
it,
judicial review. Not indefinitely. You just said it, right?
Wait,
You
but does he have the right to
indefinitely.
freeze it? Yes or no?
No.
He also doesn't have the right to freeze
Yes or
it.
no? Does he have the right to
No,
freeze
he
it?
does not have
The
the right
answer
to
is
freeze
no.
it
The
if it's
answer- he does
already
not have the right to
approved-
freeze it.
If it's already approved by Congress.
The answer
as-
is no. He needs to follow the procedure set out by Congress in many different statutes, including the Impoundment Act and other statutes. He has to follow the
Impoundment Act
law.
isn't
Okay,
the law.
I don't think that we have a fucking king like you do who can just
Wait.
ignore
He has the
Congress's
right to.
core
So
legislative
you're wrong.
authority.
He has the right to freeze the funds under the Impoundment Act.
The front. That's
He
not.
didn't follow the
that's
procedures on the Impoundment Act. He
No,
didn't. He
the
didn't.
Impoundment
He didn't
Act isn't
do
good law.
Impoundment Act commands.
It's been-
Okay, all right.
So
here
go
we
ahead,
Here
Zetsui.
we go.
Chad
Well,
Hall
no, explain
and
the.
New
Yeah,
Haven.
yeah. Bail me out. Bail me
Wait,
fucking out.
Do you think Chad Hall and New Haven aren't good law?
Wait. Sorry. You just said the Impoundment Act is not
Yes.
constitutional.
As,
Is that what you
as
just,
the, no,
and
as
you-
the deferrals.
and
The
you feel
deferrals
the
and gun it
Supreme
by
Court-
Chad Hall and New Haven.
So, but you agree that there are procedures by which the president, in order to institute a wide scale or even just a short-term
Yes.
pause on funding, he needs to go through, and that he did not
No.
go through those processes.
No,
Oh,
those
you
have
think
been
he
gutted.
did?
Chad Hall and New Haven.
So,
Okay,
so
You
in
know
his
those
position-
cases.
just
I know
for
you
my
know those
audience's
cases, dude.
hold on, just
Wait,
for
wait,
my audience.
let's Zetsui dig the fucking nails in.
Since I am not
The
familiar
nails
with Chad
in?
Hall or New Haven,
No, there's no
I'm
nails.
going to give it to
Come on.
Zetsui for a minute. Zetsui, can you explain what those rulings did and why
Sure.
it's applicable to the discussion we're having
So,
right now?
The Impoundment Act was made
Briefly.
that allowed for deferrals of like 45 days. Oh, no, sorry, that was rescinded. Deferrals and allowed them to basically defer funds, and either House of Congress could veto it. Chad Hall made it so that basically you can't have one house vetoes. They ruled that as unconstitutional. In New Haven, they then said the entire deferral thing had to fall because the link between deferring and the House's ability to get rid of it was inextricably linked. At which point it then
Are you
substituted
talking about
a
legislative
new rule.
vetoes?
No,
Are
I'm
you talking about?
that is part. I mean, that's a way of describing it. Basically, is the way legislature's ability to do it. But that
This
was
is not a
part of that-
legislative veto. This is
No.
It's
it was
not on point.
New Haven. I know that's why people disagree with it, but
Okay.
but New Haven shot it down. Have you read New Haven?
I've not read the case that you're referring to called
You know
New
what I'm
Haven.
talking
I don't
about,
know. I don't know what that case is. No, I know what I know the case law on legislative
Reagan
vetoes.
using
This is not. We're not
this.
talking. We're not talking
is.
about legislative
It's on
vetoes.
point.
This is not a legislative veto.
It was about the Impoundment Act. New Haven was about the Impoundment Act. Reagan had tried to defer funds, and they said I could do it under this section, and the court said no, you can't because it fell due to Chad Hall.
Wait. So you're
And
saying
they
that Reagan
substituted
was
new
not?
things and they've
Are
been
you saying that
amended.
Reagan? You're saying that Reagan? I don't know this chronology. I'm just being upfront with you. You're saying that Reagan was not allowed to impound funds. That was the ultimate decision by the court?
No, the ruling was that basically because the actual
Was that the
he did-
ultimate decision? That they
Let
could
him
not-
explain.
Let-
Jesus
Yeah, let
Christ.
him explain.
They made it. They had it fall because they said it was the part that had already fallen was the ability for the legislative veto, for the ability for one house to say no, you can't defer funds. Chad Hall removed that. Then in New Haven, he goes because that fell, it collapsed the whole thing. That Congress would have never given them the power to defer if they weren't allowed to do the one house denial of it.
The
And so
whole
therefore
thing
they
fell. So
passed the whole
it
thing.
is your position. Wait. I just want to be clear. It's your position that Congressional Budget Impoundment Control Act of 1974 is not good law.
No,
it's not
I did
enforced.
Not say that. The section as to deferrals.
Okay, so is it enforced or not? Okay, is it
not
enforced?
In that act. It has been overruled by it's been amended.
Okay, are there any procedures that the congressional statutes enforce today, you would acknowledge, under the moniker, the Impoundment Act, that the president is purportedly supposed to follow? Yes, right?
There are no time limits on it. It's because of the way it was gutted. It's so vague now.
Okay, so is it your
Crisis
position that the president? Wait. Is it your position? Is it your position? Because Lactoid just told you that he thinks that an indefinite pausing of funding that Congress has passed. I'm assuming Lactoid under Article 1 under no. It doesn't mean infinite. It means indefinite.
What I'm saying, just to make my position clear, because you just really want to misrepresent this. I mean that I don't believe that the president has to specify a timeline about when the freezing ends, as long as the president is following any restrictions on when the freezing has to be up or when the funding has to be unfreezed.
So now let's follow that line. You're saying the president does not have to follow any specific timeline. Is that fair? That's your position.
Right? No. That's not what I said. Listen. Yeah. They don't have. Let
Lactoid clarify. Go ahead.
He doesn't have to specify a timeline as long as he follows any timeline required of him by Congress or the Constitution.
Okay, so
would you agree with that? Wait. Do you agree with that?
No, I do not. No,
you don't. You don't. You think the president has to specify every time?
I do not agree with that.
Stop, Pisco. Why don't you agree with that? Go ahead.
I do not agree that the president, who has not the core legislative authority to appropriate funds, has inherent authority to pause for any significant amount of time constitutionally. We're all going to have disagreements on what that means, just like we are going to have disagreements on what it means for like the First Amendment to whether or not something's defamation, whether or not there's an imminence for purposes of a different statutes. So there's no clear boundaries the Constitution imposes such that I can give you that kind of answer. But we know what we mean here, that the president cannot just usurp in a cute way Congress's ability to pass appropriations and to pause, as Lactoid is suggesting, this is what I mean to say is, without a specific time period established, he says that would be allowed constitutionally.
Let me clarify that.
The president, if he wanted to, that can't be right. Wait. Let me
give a hypo first.
Let me please finish this. What Lactoid is trying to tell you is that it's conceivable that it would be constitutional without a congressional statute telling this or suggesting this for the president to be able to pause all congressional appropriations forever, apparently. So not on a set schedule. Not on a scheduled timetable. That cannot be correct. That cannot be right.
Can I ask?
I'm
going to be strict with the order. Here's what we're going to do. Lactoid, you're going to be able to respond to that, and then we're going to give it to Soypill to ask his question to Lactoid.
If I think my question might actually let Lactoid answer better, and it'll be
wait. No, this is specifically to something Pisco. Okay. So Pisco, please. So you're telling me that if the president puts forward like an indefinite freeze, but then lifts it the next day, this would be a constitutional crisis because he didn't specify that he was going to be lifting it the next day? Is that your point?
No, that's not my point, because as you remembered, because you wrote down my definition of constitutional crisis, there's a portion there that says a significant and existential threat. And so I think that this threat is significant and
How many days has it been?
Not every indefinite. It's not about the number of days that there has been. It's about the purpose and motives of these people. They're motivated by Project 2025, which you still deny.
Oh my
you still think they have nothing to do with Project 2025. No. Why are you saying, oh my God?
No, because here's why. No, here's why.
You're voting for this guy. You're trying to
all right, you can throw all the ad homs you want, okay?
Like you started your debate saying that, just like you started your debate, right? All the Pisco show, right?
Wait. You can throw all the ad homs you want. That's totally fine. Okay, have fun with that. What I'm saying is beforehand, you very confidently said, oh my God, if the president freezes funding without setting a definitive timetable, this is awful.
It's unconstitutional. Wait, it's unconstitutional.
It's a constitutional crisis. You're saying it's unconstitutional. You're saying it's a constitutional
but that's not my definition for a constitutional crisis.
Whoa.
Let Lactoid finish.
And so then if that's all so bad, etc., right? I'm saying, well, what if the president sets forward a freeze, doesn't specify when it ends, and then lists it the next day, or 2 days later, or 3 days later? How many days has the freeze been in effect, Pisco?
Yes. So I
answer that question. How many days?
I want to be So the spending freeze started last Monday. So it's been now 8 or 9 days or something.
And that's a crisis.
January 20. So stop. He's trying to conflate, and I can very clearly sort of lay this out for you. Something is unconstitutional. We said at the start, doesn't necessarily mean constitutional crisis. And he knows this. He knows this, right? So what we're talking about
8
is something
days is a crisis.
Pisco finish,
there we go, right?
Oh, because Pisco doesn't like interruptions. Yeah,
right.
Go ahead.
So he's afraid, and he knows that I am able to make these differences and distinctions known. And so just because I could say that it's unconstitutional for the president to indefinitely suspend the aid and to put a pause on it in any circumstance without congressional approval, doesn't mean that every instance of that is a constitutional crisis. What we have here that is different, that raises the significance, that raises the intensity and the existential nature, which is in by definition, is one, it applied on a broad scale to all kinds of fucking spending, trillions and trillions of dollars. It applied as part of a clear effort under Project 2025 to bring the Congress to heel. The architects what was the office that instituted this freeze? The OMB. Who are they putting as the head of the OMB? Russell Vought. He talks about this. This guy, the guy who said he's in a post-constitutional era, which he knows, and he's fucking lying to you. So he's trying to do this little shell game where it's the same thing that Republicans and MAGA people do all the time. You find a little thing, be like, okay, so if you just pause this one little loan to this one student and at one little time, so completely minimizing what's going on and narrowing the focus into what we're talking about here, which is a broad fucking spending freeze of legislative enacted appropriations of all fucking kinds. Okay. Your comparison is fucking stupid.
Wait. And you agree. So your only contention is that he didn't put like a definite time end. If he put the end of the freeze,
how is that what you took from all of that?
Wait.
You weren't even fucking listening.
If he froze all that funding you're talking about, and let's say put an end date of like, I don't know, 3 weeks, would that be constitutional?
It would, in my opinion, still be unconstitutional. Right. I was going off so the reason why I'm focusing on indefinite is because you're now changing what the definition of indefinite is.
No, I'm asking you hypothetical.
Yeah, you're changing what the definition of indefinite is. You said I don't know, and everyone saw you weasel around. But what happened is you said it would be, of course, unacceptable for the president to do an indefinite pause. That's what you said. So I'm like, oh, great, because I happen to know that it's an indefinite pause. And so now we're doing this little fucking word game. And so that's
are you going to answer my question about 3 weeks?
But to answer your question, no. If the president put a year-long pause of this con,
I said 3 weeks. I said 3 weeks.
And okay.
Well, yeah, but you think a year long is okay because
wait. Are you weaseling? 3 weeks? Yes or no?
So this entire debate is going to be
yes or no?
Wait. This entire debate is going to be a continuum fallacy where we have to say,
wow.
We have to say, look at him. This entire debate is going to be a continuum fallacy, which you could apply to any constitutional principle. Where you
I
can
asked
say,
you a question.
I don't know. But yeah. So to answer your question, I believe it is unconstitutional for the president to pause aid without congressional approval. You can always find a carve out. You can always find an exception that proves the rule, right? You know this. You know
for
that
3 weeks?
There was an So you understand, right? That you can always find an exception that can prove the rule. And constitutional law is like that. It's filled with these little gaps. And he is trying to take advantage of that and take advantage of the fact that the Constitution is a short document to say, oh, I guess I can't really say anything's constitutional unless you have the precise nanosecond in which it becomes unconstitutional. That's what he's trying to do here. Don't let him distract you. What's going on here is a broad
I want to dog pile Lactoid.
Make him answer this question. No. He's going to answer this question.
Wait, I answered. I said it's unconstitutional. Did you hear me say it?
Wait. 3 weeks. If he pauses it for 3 weeks.
I just said, so
unconstitutional.
unconstitutional.
Okay, and then I asked why.
Wait a second. Without congressional approval, or I think that there could be a carve out in certain imminent circumstances that the Supreme Court may recognize, and you're going to try to play in the joints here and say that so now we can have any kind of pause. That's not what we're talking about here. And the other absurdity on your end, which was brought out by the soy pill, was you would accept incredibly long time periods, wouldn't you? You would say a 2 year, right? So let's just put this.
I said no.
In fairness,
let's ask Lactoid directly. Lactoid,
in fairness to you, you should answer the question. Is a 2 year ban, a 2 year definite pause on all appropriations by the president unilaterally? Is that constitutional?
No.
No.
So
No.
Lactoid also
No,
kind of
I
looked
said-
over
I
the
said
point,
the very
but why
beginning.
did he unfreeze it?
The fiscal year, right? The end of the fiscal year. That's
Can you
what
answer that?
Zetsui said.
Lactoid, why did Trump unfreeze it?
That's what Zetsui said was like the updated law in this situation. I understand
You don't really
prior to this, there was a 45-day where the president could unilaterally freeze it, and then Congress could go ahead and veto it after the fact. They just removed the veto, essentially. The president absolutely has the power to freeze funding, right? And spend it within the fiscal year. He can freeze it. There is no requirement that he has to before he freezes it
right?
for 8 days.
Year?
For this fiscal year, yeah.
No, but he could do it again, right? So he could do it for the first fiscal year, pause it, then rescind the pause, then pause it again for the second fiscal year, then rescind the pause.
My understanding is he'd have to spend it.
You'd
No,
have
my
to argue.
My understanding is he'd have to spend it.
So wait, hold on. In this hypothetical Candyland world, you're saying that the president can pause all federal funding, congressional approved federal funding for 364 days, spend it all on the last day, and then the next fiscal year just keep doing that, completely subverting the entire purpose of Congress to approve federal funding? No, I don't care what you're saying. I want Lactoid to answer this.
No, they don't care what you're saying.
We're asking
I don't know. That's a good. Probably.
If
it's been all,
that's the answer. I don't know.
Hold up.
Let him answer. You asked him the question. You got to give him a chance to answer. Go ahead.
He answered. He said, "I don't know. I don't give a shit what he's about to say after this."
I said, "I don't know." And
he thinks it would be constitutional to live in a world where Congress just doesn't have any fucking power, and like we could play these games where it's like, well, actually, the loophole says if I just spend it all on December 31st, suddenly you don't get to approve funding. Like, what the fuck?
Notice how they haven't even let me complete my answer yet.
Oh, sorry, complete it. Tell me what else.
They're just like blabbering and yapping.
Yeah, when you say retarded shit, it makes me upset. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then apparently on a panel, you just can't help but fucking yap while I'm trying to get my thoughts out. So my thoughts on this are, thinking about it thoroughly, I think that if you froze funding and then this is reviewed by the courts and the court orders you to release the freeze, then I would assume, yes, then you would have to release it within some reasonable period of time.
Okay, so the court has ordered him to release the freeze and he is defying these court orders. Do you think that's a constitutional crisis? When the checks and balances are saying, hey, you have to unfreeze this, and he just says no? Yeah, well, he's not unfreezing the stuff they're telling him to unfreeze anyway. So what does it matter?
That's not how. It wasn't even a specific thing. They said
they said the EPA funding. The EPA funding is what they told him to unfreeze, and he's ignoring that court order. Is that constitutional?
Not with. It doesn't mean literally. They can't override executive power. It says you can't freeze as related to that memo. There's other reasons you delay funds. There's plenty of reasons why things get delayed outside.
Yeah, you guys will make any fucking excuse.
Believe them, though, and I agree with you.
You can delay funds.
Lactoid wants you to believe, right? So
it's been 8 days. 8 days. That's a crisis,
apparently. Lactoid is saying, conceivably, in his mind, it would not be a constitutional crisis, obviously, if the president would just, for 364 days, completely pause funding, and then on the last day, undo the freeze, and now funding starts to go through. But of course, given practicalities, it can't go through all in one day just because of the practicalities. And then on the second day, say, okay, another 364 pause. And he thinks that is conceivably not that's not a constitutional crisis. Fair, Lactoid?
That probably would be, because if you're unfreezing on the last day to the point where the funds can't go out in good faith.
Okay,
if that was the intention,
let's say it's a week long to get them all out. All right, it's 358 days. Okay,
if all the funding gets out.
Yeah.
No.
That's it. Let it answer. Is that not a constitutional crisis? So 358 days of freeze, all the funding gets out. Congress has no say in what that's getting spent on. This is not a constitutional crisis.
If all the funding gets out and a court hasn't ordered him to spend within a certain time frame,
yeah, it all gets out. So Congress just has no say in how we spend anything, and that's fine.
No, they do have a say. He has to spend all of it.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't have to spend what they told him to spend. He gets to spend it on whatever he wants. That's what I'm saying. He's freezing the funding.
They gave him mass discretion on how he gets to spend it and how he gets to delay it.
Lactoid, we're stuck in this formalism game. First of all, I agree. I think the power to spend also, usually implies a timeliness to the spending as well. Obviously, there's going to always be the nature of an executive is there's going to be bureaucratic red tape. We're not unreasonable people here that there's going to be steps and hoops that you have to go through. But let's take a step out of the formalism. What is this really about? This isn't about the pause itself. It's about Trump leading on the legislative branch, on the agencies, to assert his authority and to usurp Congress. His clear intention is to make himself the master of all the government. And we're ignoring that. Why should we ignore that when that's clearly his purpose? He wants to centralize authority. That's what they're doing in their Project 2025 agenda. That's what they talk about. And you're acting like it's not real. And you're acting like until we get the point that it's 364 days, we're Chicken Little. And we have to reach that point where there's no hope for us to fight against. And only then can we start calling it a constitutional crisis.
Hold on. I just said no. There were there would likely have to be like enough time in order to fulfill the obligations set forward by Congress. However, Congress gives the president significant ability when it comes to delaying and deferring funds based on investigations and inefficiencies, which is the whole point of Doge. This isn't about the president usurping power from the legislative branch. It's been 8 days, okay? It's been 8 days. I asked him 3 weeks, and he said 3 weeks would be unconstitutional. Like now you're turning it to a year.
We asked you 1 year, and you said that wouldn't be unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So what would be? Okay. What is your standard of a constitutional crisis?
For you? Well, for you, what's your standard?
Yeah,
I said 3 weeks. You said it's unconstitutional.
If the president,
it's a game that you very clearly want to play when it comes to me saying I think it's all going to be still within the fiscal year.
Okay. I'm throwing a flag on the play. Because I think that Pisco made a point that I do want addressed by the other side, but we keep getting bogged down in the details. Which fair enough. You're all lawyers. I get it. All right. But the assertion made by Pisco's side here is that this is just one of the intention here is what matters, and the intention from Trump and his team is to grant a large amount of power to the executive branch, more so than what they are entitled to under the Constitution, and this is what represents the crisis, if you will. So we could nitpick the individual actions all we'd like, and we will. We got a lot of time in the panel, right?
Yeah, both are necessary. The intent and purpose is really fucking important.
But
what we're talking about here.
I want to hear Zetsui's and Lactoid's response to the intent here, right? That has been the claim, that there is an intent and that these actions showcase the intent. Despite how many days or not days, both with the rescinding of the memo, but also, right, not rescinding the freeze when they've been court ordered to. Lactoid and then Zetsui, and then we can go.
Yeah, I think the intention here is to cut government waste and excess inefficiencies, as is the purpose of Doge, as is the specific authorization given to the president under the Impoundment Act to delay funding. In fact, under the original act, it was 45 days, right, until Congress could step in, and he isn't even within that 45 days. He isn't even outside that 45 days yet. It's been only 8 days. I mean, we're even within the period, the old period, which was more strict than the current period, like Zetsui talked about. So no, I don't think this is some kind of massive power grab. I think that what it is it's a kind of a belief of, we have to rally around Donald Trump through any means necessary. You've heard them say it, right? He is a demon in their eyes, and they want to obstruct and slow things down. And the best way to do that is to overtly demonize and alarm everybody about things that are relatively milquetoast. 8 days. 8 days, well within the executive authority. The Supreme Court has not come down with a decision on this, okay? I would agree. If he unilaterally destroys the entire agency, or if he ignores the Supreme Court, I've said this before, when it comes to Texas ignoring the Supreme Court on the border, if you ignore the Supreme Court, yes, when you have those kind of issues, like an overt violation of the separation of powers, now you start getting into a constitutional crisis.
Okay, so
this
what about ignoring the court order?
This right here is well within the purview of what the president's supposed to be doing, which is making sure government agencies function well.
What about ignoring the court orders to unfreeze the funding for the EPA and the other?
So my understanding is it's been 2 or 3 days, and it's not clear exactly what was being ordered to be unfrozen.
Yeah,
and
it is
under
very
what basis.
clear. The federal courts are saying, hey, you have to unfreeze the funding for the EPA grant awards that is approved in the Inflation Reduction Act already.
No, the statement was that she goes, I'm rescinding. That goes, anything that if you're freezing due to the memo, then you have to unfreeze. And she's going, and so when she's going so he goes, you don't, he goes, so, and they provided no evidence that so they go plaintiff Doe 1 doesn't have access to their funds. And so you'd say, well, obviously that's because of the memo. He goes, well, we don't know why. It's bullshit. He goes, but if all of them remain frozen, that would be evidence. If one guy is being frozen, there's other reasons why there could be delays.
This is great.
Until we have that kind of information. But
so this is beautiful, and it goes to the soy pills point. So what do you think about this rescinding? So what they did is they said, oh, we're rescinding the memo. But we're not rescinding the policy here.
Correct.
What do you think about that action? Because, I have a quote from a federal district court that is pretty scathing about what they're trying to do here. But you guys seem totally unperturbed. You guys seem incredibly blasé, oh yeah, totally normal for him to do that. And yeah, so here's the quote, right? By rescinding the memorandum that announced the freeze, but not the federal funding freeze itself, it appears that OMB sought to overcome a judicially imposed obstacle without actually seizing the challenged conduct. The court can think of few things more disingenuous. Preventing a defendant from evading judicial review under such false pretenses is precisely why the voluntary cessation doctrine exists. This rescission, if it can be called that, appears to be nothing more than a thinly veiled attempt to prevent this court from granting relief. That is a district court judge. What do you think of that?
I read it too. Like,
do you have an opinion on it?
Are you concerned that the administration is doing that? Do you think that it's a portent for their unwillingness to listen to the court and trying to evade judicial review? You guys don't have a fucking word to say about it and about what it suggests about the purpose, the nefarious purpose behind all these actions, and you're trying to act like we're stupid.
Why did they say they withdrew it? Do you remember? Why did they? So they said, I'm withdrawing it because of it has become a.
Who cares? We all know why they did it.
Say it. Come on, you know it.
Who the fuck
You're
is
saying,
doing
what is their intention? They told you their intention. What was it?
To evade judicial review. They don't want to be tied up in the courts.
They
literally stop. They literally want to undo. Dude, stop. They are trying to evade judicial review. Yes or no? Zetsui, do you agree with that?
What was the word? I really
wait. You don't agree that they're trying to evade judicial review? You disagree with this court?
Yes, I don't agree. Actually, no. So we don't have that. Not enough time has passed.
Holy shit! How naive are you?
No. Again, you don't even know what they claim.
So we rescind the memo, but not the policy, and you're like,
Can we hear? What do they claim? What do you think?
They didn't rescind the memo because the policy wasn't. I'm like saying, well, no. Tell me. You guys both should know this. You know the answer.
Tell us, because I don't know, and I want to know.
Like, to evade judicial review.
Sideshow that their thought was saying that because of the exceptions and things that were being done, it was too vague and creating chaos. And so saying we're drawing this shit because apparently people are freezing shit they're not supposed to.
But they didn't. They just withdrew the memo.
However, the memo is still causing chaos now. The policy,
they said the policy didn't change.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not moving on. Zetsui, I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on. So we're just going to talk about the purpose of the rescission. You said that they said they rescinded it because it's a sideshow. Do you believe them when they say that, or do you think that it was because to evade judicial review? Wait. I just want to. I want to ask a question. Do you think that they evaded that they rescinded the memo? But kept the policy to because it's quote unquote a sideshow, or do you agree with the court when they said it was a clear attempt to evade judicial review? Which do you think is more accurate?
I wouldn't agree with either of those. I'd say I don't believe I have evidence to say it's evading a judicial review yet because of the few days.
You are so fucking. That's so crazy.
All of them remain.
It has been only like a couple days.
Is. If only one guy gets frozen and everyone else gets unfrozen, then it's not. Do you disagree?
Can both Lactoid and Zetsui
can
both of you explain to me, like, can you tell me the hypothetical situation which a constitutional crisis, like, let's say everything we said was true, what would that look like if they really were intending to usurp Congress's federal funding power, that if they were intending to consolidate power in the executive branch, what would that look like to you, and what would it look like 8 days in? Because apparently it wouldn't look at all like this. It would be something totally different and totally much more extreme. So please explain to us how we are being hyperbolic, how we are freaking out over nothing, and what it would actually look like if this was really happening.
Exactly how Nixon or Reagan did it would be worse, significantly, obviously.
Oh my god!
I think the answer is pretty straightforward, right? If they if they actually like,
can we one at a time, please?
Hold on. Can you, when you say how Nixon or Reagan did it, I understand that you understand what you're saying, but can you give us a specific example?
Sure. So Nixon specifically just made the argument that he basically, all grants by Congress and budgets were basically up to his discretion. They're guidelines. I can spend it. I can not spend it. Specifically, it was he tried to just remove half of the budget for the water. Like they were getting here's $10 billion for water treatment. He goes, fuck it, I'm cutting it down to $5 billion. Why? Your $10 billion is a suggestion. I don't have to fulfill it. Under Reagan, what he did was he basically had delayed things and saying that you guys are spending too much, and I asked that you guys lower the spending. And so in both those situations, he's saying the actual policy itself, I'm really saying I will not do these funds. This one, he's not saying I will not pay out these things, and because of that, it hasn't.
That's exactly what they're doing, Zetsui. They're saying we're stopping it. No, they're saying we're identifying fraud and waste, and we're not going to let it happen. They're not saying we're identifying fraud and waste, and we're going to continue spending it. They said
they don't have to pay for fraud and waste.
Didn't say fraud and waste. Nixon just said I'm just doing it because fuck you.
Yeah.
You think the government has an obligation to pay for fraud and waste?
If it's congressionally approved, yeah, actually they do.
But the specific fraud and waste here is not congressionally approved.
It's literally laid out in the IRA. It is already approved. We're talking about the EPA.
I don't even think Congress can approve fraud. Like what?
Wait. The president, what they define as fraud and waste is
determination
different.
about what fraud and abuse is and waste is, right? The president can come to that his own determination and identify things as fraud, waste, and abuse, and then unilaterally choose to ignore it and not pay it. Is that what you're saying, Lactoid?
No, the courts can overturn him. Yeah, if he identifies fraud and waste,
apparently not.
It turns out that it's not fraud and waste. The court can overturn him.
No, they can't.
The question is whether the court. Wait, the question is not whether the court can overturn it. The question is it illegal, unconstitutional, concerning to you, Lactoid? Any of those three?
I guess it depends on if I agree with him that it's fraud and waste.
No, him to have the power to buy his own account, right? It's not about whether or not he's right.
That's fine. No, wait. It does have to do with It does have to do with whether or not he's right. The executive, of course, has the ability to, again, freeze funds while they're investigating inefficiencies. And if it's like clearly an inefficiency, president isn't mandated to have to pay, like, spend that money.
Okay, so then that's what
on the inefficiency,
right?
On the inefficiency.
So what Zetsui is saying is the goal is clearly to affect the spending level, and that's what he was trying to distinguish the Reagan example from Trump. And you're saying no, clearly the executive has some responsibility, even an obligation. You're saying to identify those areas and to
identify
stop the
fraud and waste.
To
be clear,
the spending level, and that's the distinction.
Not necessarily affect the fund, like the actual spending level. That I'm a little bit unclear on. I don't, for sure, the executive isn't mandated to spend money on fraud and waste. If there's like funds freed up from identifying and removing fraud and waste within the discretion of the executive branch, and then they spend that money on other things, or they partner with other agencies that spend that money on those things.
Questions, Lactoid.
And the executive decides these things. That's why the Impoundment Act.
The executive gets to decide.
This is why. Yes, this is why the Impoundment Act literally gives the executive the ability to delay funding. That's why they put that in there, for the executive to identify fraud and waste.
Under the provisions that Congress provides and under the procedures that they provide for.
Which is fraud and waste, which is eliminating fraud and waste. That's specifically identified.
So what?
But does the president have to comply? Wait, no, Pisco, with those requirements?
We got to hinge on the fact that Lactoid said fraud and waste is whatever I agree with the president to be, which is the most nebulous, stupid fucking definition ever. And it's only a crisis if I disagree with it. That's what you said.
No. You asked me, would I think it'd be a crisis? I think it would be a crisis if I don't think it's fraud and waste potentially, but ultimately it's the court that decides whether or not it's fraud and waste.
What if the Democratic president comes in and says, "Hey, all this Defense Department spending, it's all a waste, and we're not gonna spend any. The entire Defense Department is a waste." And so I'm not deleting the agency, but
Pisco, he disagrees. He disagrees, so it's not a crisis.
I think that you could, like, there's probably a fuck ton of fraud and waste happening in the Pentagon. But yeah, if you went in and then in bad faith removed all of it, I would agree that he's targeting more than just fraud and waste. This is targeting for specific policy purposes, which would be against the purpose of the Impoundment Act.
Something's waste or fraud?
The Supreme Court, not you or me. The Supreme
Court. So the Judicial Department gets to decide what's waste and fraud. But what if Congress disagrees? Congress says, no, it's not waste. We think it's not wasteful to send money, for example, to Ukraine. We don't think that that's waste. We don't think it's fraud. We think
you're right.
Maybe there's some 10% that's going to fraud, but that's the cost of doing business in Ukraine. And so we don't think it's waste or fraud. And so we want all that money to go out. And they disagree with the Judicial Department. They disagree with the Executive Department. Who wins?
If Congress specifically said, like, identified this as not being like fraud and waste, then I don't think that'd be a good faith argument that, hey, this is fraud and waste. And I think this court would, and I think the Supreme Court decides ultimately what is fraud and waste. The Impoundment Act specifically gives the executive the authority, the discretion here to freeze funding and identify fraud and waste. That is specifically that is specifically within the act. The president has the ability to do this, and so yes, the president does have the ability to do that.
You understand that the reason they're doing this is they want to challenge the constitutionality of the Impoundment Act. You realize that, right? That they're going to be in court in the next few months arguing that the entire Impoundment Act is unconstitutional. And you're right here like a sucker arguing in the weeds of the Impoundment Act when their entire purpose of doing this, and if you read Russ Vogt and what he's talking about, and with explicit reference to impoundment, he's trying to go to court and saying this entire stuff is unconstitutional. And you're here
they might
like
fight
a sucker.
For that. They might fight for that. But hold on. They might fight for that, but the president has authority to freeze funding to investigate fraud and inefficiencies, which is DOJ's whole purpose. The whole point is to go in. That's why the Doge employees are going in there, literally to identify. Holy shit, we are spending all this bullshit. They're literally look at all the shit they're identifying.
They're tweeting out lies. First of all, they're tweeting out lies about Politico, about
can you give us an example
and misrepresenting.
Yeah, so they're implying that they're spending. Well, go ahead, Pisco. But implying that they're spending what was it, like $8 million or even I don't know if it was billion or billion dollars on Politico, and like we're funding journalists when all that is a tool that Politico puts out to analyze legislation that all of these offices, including the people who are complaining about it, their offices use this tool to analyze data on legislation and pretending like this is us funding journalists to put
anti-Trump
put out anti-Trump narratives or something ridiculous. Because they literally just don't understand. This is Elon's whole MO. It's move fast, break stuff, but not know what the fuck you're doing. Go into a situation, not understand why all this funding is going out, completely remove all of it, and then slowly realize I'm a fucking moron. I have to put all this back. Like, this is what's happening right now, and we're hiding the entirety of this like power grab under, oh well, it's fraud and waste, and we're just identifying that as if we're not.
Waste,
and like this idea that like, oh well, it's only been 8 days. Again, Lactoid, I'm sorry, I'm not saying you dodged this question because you didn't get the opportunity to answer. What would this look like if this was 8 days into what we're describing as happening? What would it look like? Because according to Zetsui, it's, Reagan would be a little more explicit in pausing the funding and saying, I don't want to do that, as if this is not exactly what's happening with this EPA like court order defying. He's just like, oh, like what would actually be happening? What would it look like? Because apparently we're just being hyperbolic.
If it was a delay, if it was not a delay, if it was like within 8 days, they said we are like literally deleting this agency, like, and not just like we're going to move funds, we're going to freeze funding, but if they actually not just say it, okay, if they actually do it, if they actually delete the agency.
No. This isn't my question. This isn't my question. My question is 3 days into this, you wouldn't be able to tell if this is actually what they're doing. You can only know once they've already done it. That's what you're telling me? No matter what they say they're going to do, no matter what Project 2025 lays out, it's only known that they're doing something unconstitutional once it's already happened? Is that what you're promoting?
Not necessarily, right? If they say...
So tell me what it would look like.
Sure. If they say like an explicit detail, because again, this is a crisis, there's a high standard here. If they say like, hey, the Supreme Court sends us an order, and we are... like they say we are not going to comply with this order. Fuck the Supreme Court.
Okay,
that would be a big deal.
So if JD Vance saying ignore the courts, if Trump administration ignoring the courts right now, would that not fall under that?
So from what Zetsui is saying, the actual memo was rescinded in accordance with the court order.
The freezing isn't stopped. They're still freezing the funds. So it doesn't matter. They're ignoring it.
It doesn't unfreeze everything. It says unfreeze everything as it relates if you've been frozen.
Right. And if the federal court says now you have to put this funding back, and they say no, even though the court is mandating it, is that not ignoring the courts?
Due to the memo. Which one hasn't been unfrozen that was due to the memo?
The EPA funding. Do you want to send the link?
Not all of it.
It doesn't matter if it's not all of it. They're freezing it. What are you fucking talking about?
There are rational reasons why you can cause delays. That's why the judge specifically said it has to be done. She said specifically, act as though the memo wasn't engaged right now. And again, and actually, I would agree with you guys that goes, especially I guess in a couple of days because of the chaos that's happening. But if they don't unfreeze shit, they're not like, well, it's just casual. It goes, bullshit. You're doing it because of the memo. Like, we know you are. And the thing is, and I'd agree with you. The problem is that right now, one guy's stuff is still frozen.
One guy?
Why are you saying all of them are? Why aren't they all frozen?
$5 billion worth of funding
USAID
is just one
completely
dude?
Frozen. You agree? USAID is completely paused, right? Zetsu?
Did she?
That aid is not going out.
Her ruling wasn't on USAID. I think it was on the.
No, I'm asking you the question. Do you think USAID is completely paused?
Yeah, but I don't think there's an issue with USAID. This is.
You don't think there's frozen? There's no issue with it being frozen.
Well, no, like I'm
there's
saying,
no issue with it.
Yeah, no, the law, allows, so that budget doesn't have a timeline. It doesn't say, like, disperse funds by X day. And so the court's ruling isn't about that. There's two separate freezes going on.
I want a commitment. I mean, a lot of this will be tied up in litigation. But if the policy of the administration past, 365 days is still to pause all U.S. aid, will you say there's a constitutional crisis, either of you?
Absolutely. If he tries, yes. Well, no, it doesn't even have to go that far. Just so we're clear that we have case law on this as well. It's going to be a reasonable standard. We have case law on this where it says, can we say, did you fulfill the budget? If they stop until the last week and then suddenly just give it all to one guy, you go, you didn't faithfully adhere to it. The courts have said that basically going, there is an expectation that you might have money left over. You might complete the task at a certain time. There's plenty of discretion you might have that we can't just rule on every single thing. But if you freeze half of it, you're not faithfully doing it. You're just doing it to freeze half of it. And so you're gonna have to make a case that says, if I came 10% in on our budget, go, hey, I was just being efficient. But if you go, no, I removed 10% because fuck you, then that would be. But if they start doing
that's Soy Pill's point, and it's such a good point, which is the who decides question, right? Congress is the one that's supposed to decide what. No, Congress is the body. Congress is the body. Congress is the body that's supposed to decide on efficiency, on fraud, on waste, and to make the determinations of funding. They have the core legislative authority to do that. They're the only ones that are supposed to do that, not the courts and not the president. And we're acting, and we're sitting here like it's even conceivable that this is all being done in good faith to put a hammer down on funding for efficiency. How is it efficient for us to, without any notice of the agencies, just immediately stop all federal financial assistance, don't tell the USAID employees don't come into work, do all this subterfuge, do this kind of rescinding little bullshit? Do you guys think that the administration is acting in good faith? I want to ask that. Do you think that the administration is acting in good faith?
Based on the fact that like the investigations that Doge is doing and they're going through data and they're actually acting immediately, right? Yes, it does seem like they've frozen the funding and they're actually going in and investigating, looking for fraud and abuse, which is what they statutorily have the right to do. And by the way, when it comes to defining what like legal terms are going to mean here, when it comes to interpreting them, the Supreme Court has the say. They are the ones who are going to define. Yes. And so when Congress under the Impoundment, and so when the Impoundment Act specifies that the president has his power when it comes to inefficiencies and fraud and abuse, then the Supreme Court is the one to decide what Congress meant by that, because the Supreme Court interprets the law.
They're not following the impoundment. I don't know why we have to keep doing this. The court in the DC District Court, So Zetsui is saying they're not, and you're saying they are.
Wait. Let's just be clear. I want a clear answer because I don't understand right now. Just so I get a clear answer. Raise your hand if you think they are following the Impoundment Act. Raise your hand. Just raise your hand.
Yeah, I'd say they are.
It's not relevant.
Okay.
Well, just to be clear, and there's a slight disagreement here between me and Zetsui. So I think that the Impoundment Act is still like most of it, including the ability for the president to defer, like that's good law. I understand that the amendments altered the what Congress can do about it, but that doesn't mean that like the rest of it has been removed.
Yeah, that was entirely stupid when he said that.
You believe New Haven didn't happen? Okay, fine.
New Haven.
That's fine.
New Haven did happen, but that affected my understanding Congress's ability to engage.
That was Chathaw.
Okay. Did New Haven remove the ability of the president to delay funding?
It substituted it, and then Congress then put it into law in the Budget Act. What is it called? They then enshrined it in Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act of
1974.
Sorry, other one. Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit Control Requirements Act of 1987.
Okay, so they kept it. They just moved it to a different.
No, because Chathaw struck down part of it. Then in New Haven, they found that they were inextricably linked. This is only as to the deferral. And then because that fell, they then said, well, then does he have any power to defer? And then they created this. The court basically laid out the two sections, and then they put it into that Budget Control Act.
Your answer to Wick was it's irrelevant whether the president follows the Impoundment Act.
As to deferrals, it's not good law anymore. That's not what you're supposed to follow.
Wait. Is your answer that it's irrelevant whether they follow?
Well, he is following it.
Help me understand.
Sure, I guess he's following it, but it's like saying I'm following a law that isn't passed yet.
Is he following this 1987 Budget Act?
That one again, because of how loose it is, it's an argument. You'd have to make the case as to whether he's doing it for one of those valid reasons or not.
What do you think?
That's bullshit, like they do. I'd probably go at the moment 60-40 towards yes, but man, can it tip quickly? Because the fact is, I think the pause thing was incompetent.
So you're coming in here with a very strong opinion, and you're 60-40 on whether or not it actually is a constitutional crisis.
What's my strong opinion?
That it's not a constitutional crisis. But you're coming in here and now you're like 60-40 as to whether or not it's actually doing something that's illegal in the law.
If I don't agree with it, what do you think should happen? What do you think I think should happen? That means I'd make that argument to a court and convince them. If I fail to convince them, then I lose, and that's okay.
Okay, and then
so is it correct that unless
the court disagrees with me, then I'm supposed to lose?
Okay, so the court, whatever the court says, sorry. So long as there's not a court final order on an issue, there's no constitutional crisis. Is that fair?
No, it's saying that no. I don't even know.
Okay, but you said if I disagree with that, I'll go to court. No one's denying you would go to court if you disagree with it. The question is, when can you say that it's a constitutional crisis? And I think you can say it before you go to court if you're, by your own terms and admissions, not following the law.
Is every single Supreme
60%.
Court case then must be a constitutional crisis? I guess we're always in one. I guess.
No. Come on.
No,
what we're talking about here.
Tell me the Supreme Court case where both sides agree on everything. There's no dispute. They disagree, which means one of them says they can't just accept the decision.
We are not just this is sophistry. We're not talking about any legal issue, any violation of the law, any unconstitutional action. We are clearly talking about, and we laid out at the start, deep structural tensions between the branches that are being undermining the overall structure of the Constitution and our government, which you guys, I think, agreed. If the president is, you don't believe he is currently because you're, I don't know what, but if you believe he's undermining the core appropriation power of Congress, then that clearly would suffice to say so. And you're basically saying, well, there would have to make arguments in courts. No one is saying you wouldn't have to make.
That's an unreasonable delay. Is just that it's an unreasonable delay.
What's reasonable?
But me saying it's unreasonable.
I don't think it's like a threat to the structure here. If the president is allowed, if the law is like the president has the right to delay funds in good faith while they investigate like inefficiencies, etc. Like, I don't think it's a constitutional crisis when the question is like, well, what is like I guess good faith here has to go to the Supreme Court. I think that's perfectly fine. Like, that is something that the Supreme Court like should be ruling on, because like Zetsui is saying, like, this is sort of intentionally vague. But when it comes, like, if the president says, fuck you, Supreme Court, I am not going to follow your ruling on this. Oh, and also I've deleted 3 agencies while you were gone, like actually remove them. Then yeah, we could have a problem for sure.
What if it's
then it'd be a crisis? I'll use the same language here. Yes, it would be a crisis at that point.
So Lactoid, if they're like, okay, the Department of Education still exists, but we're firing all the staff, we're pausing all the funding indefinitely, for no set schedule when it's going to come back. We are reappropriating the buildings for a different purpose. At what point were you like, okay, they are saying the Department of Education still exists, but that's clearly just a formalism and it's effectively gutted? Would that point ever exist, or would he literally have to say the Department of Education is no more?
I think that this could happen in a couple ways. It could be that the Department of Education is like actually removed. It could be that funding is like basically delayed indefinitely beyond.
My hypothetical. They fire everybody.
Yeah, you can fire everybody.
They pause every single spending on it. They shut down all the websites.
For how long?
363 days.
They don't say.
No,
they
don't say. Okay.
No, let's say they say it. They say it for 360 days.
No,
and by the time
let's say
it comes
they don't say it. I just want to do that one first.
Okay,
Sorry.
Let Pisco do his own hypothetical.
Yeah. So my bad. I went off of you. You're doing great, and I love you. But my question is, let's say they don't say it. They just say, we're firing every single person in the Department of Education. We're pausing all of their funding indefinitely. We're not going to tell you when it ends. And all the websites are shut down where we have the executive. We have the power to do that. And we're using their buildings for housing for migrants. Would you say, okay, constitutional crisis because you can't destroy an agency?
If they're using it for, if they're using it for like migrants and the migrants like living situation is not planned to expire like by the timeline set, then maybe, because I think there's
no timeline set.
In terms of like, well, there is a timeline set, right, with the end of the fiscal year at the very least. And then if we want to go into the original Impoundment Act, we're talking about 45 days.
But they fired all the people who they fired all the people who received the funds, right?
Yes,
they fired all the people who would they closed the bank accounts of the Department of Education. And they closed the bank accounts of the Department of Education, so they're not even in a position to receive the funds. And they made it so that
I'm answering the question. I'm trying to answer the question. If they did that, and then they did like nothing in the meantime, and then like, wow, like a week has gone by, they've done nothing, they've just kept it shuttered, and then another week has gone by and they've done nothing, they just kept it shuttered, then like the argument for it being in bad faith, for it not being to investigate inefficiencies, but instead for it being for like a sole like policy reason, then that argument gets stronger and stronger the more time goes on.
Yeah, but what if the inefficiency is, I think this entire department is a waste and I want to get rid of it?
But if immediately,
which is what they're saying.
But if immediately, right, if immediately, special government employees that report to the president are going in and like combing through the records during this time period, looking for waste, looking for fraud, identifying waste, identifying fraud, reporting this back to the president, reporting this to the Congress, then this I think provides a very strong argument that this is in good faith to remove government waste and abuse.
As long as they're still looking at it, as long as they're still looking at it, it's not in bad faith. But whatever they come out, no matter what they say in terms of what is waste and inefficiency, which by the way, they say the entire department is inefficiency, or they're coming out and saying, oh, all this spending on Politico, which they literally don't understand, is waste and inefficiency and fraud and corruption. So as long as they're saying that they're doing it, then somehow it's okay and it's not in bad faith.
If they're sending in special government employees to investigate fraud and waste, and in the opinion of the person who just got elected, yes, this is fraud and waste, right? I'm the executive.
Okay, so whatever Trump says is fraud and waste.
I make these calls, right? The president's well within his rights to be doing this. If the courts review the actions and decide, hey, like the executive here did not identify fraud and waste, there was actually a policy reason that was underneath all of this, then he would lose.
What's the policy?
Absolutely.
What if
and then if he ignored,
no, go back. What's the policy? What's the policy reason? What's the difference between I think the entirety of the Department of Education is a fraudulent, wasteful organization and I want to get rid of it, and what's a policy that is different from that? Like, my policy is that the education should be different. Like,
that's kind of to
I can answer that.
Just real quick, I'll let you answer, but I want to maybe tackle it from a slightly different angle, but it's related. Can Trump, in your opinion, say the Department of Education is fraudulent and wasteful, so we're just going to end it?
So the president has to. You can't just end it, the whole thing. You can't.
Okay, so we can't.
Okay,
that's the answer.
You can't just end the whole thing.
What does that mean? Before we move on, what do you mean you can't just end it?
You can't just say like
you can't
the
just
entire
like flip a
department
switch. You can't Thanos snap it out of existence.
Yeah. You can't Thanos snap
it. Okay, so
right?
good thing he can't do that.
Right?
So what would he do if he wanted to completely eliminate it, but still be within the legal bounds?
Now the agency is like full of fraud or anything like along those lines. He can go in and he can like meticulously go through and remove the fraud. The agency itself has a...
We can't keep letting you do this. You can remove the fraud. What's the fraud? Yes, he says, I want to get rid of all of it, which is, first of all, way past your standard of whether or not he said, I want to delete it all. He's literally saying that, but now he's doing it under the guise of fraud and waste. What is fraud and waste? If he just says the whole thing is fraud and waste, now that's okay? He can just get rid of the whole thing?
Nope. Do you know what you'd do if he did that?
Why not?
What would you do? Well, no, what would you do? So let's say he does that.
What would I
do?
Impeachment?
No. You go to the
what would you?
I don't know. The courts that he is ignoring right now. Go through the courts.
Everyone just because fuck you all.
No, so only if he admits it literally. I'm doing this for no reason. Is it suddenly illegal? If he says, well, actually, it's because there's so much fraud, there's so much waste, and we're getting rid of all of it, and he cuts 95% of it, suddenly that's okay because he said it was fraud and waste, right?
You think you can convince a judge of that?
First of all, he's appointing a bunch of loyalist judges, and second of all, he's ignoring the fucking judges that are saying to do otherwise. So what does it matter?
And he said there's so much evidence of him saying
injunction.
He'd have to spend the money to like advance the purpose, and so there's ways you could do this. You could partner with the Department of State.
I'm putting money into the charter schools. All the money's in the charter schools now.
The Department of State could be using funds from USAID to accomplish the purpose, a shared purpose between the Department of State and USAID. That is a perfectly fine use of funds within USAID, right?
That's fine.
If trying to find it, but I got a question for you guys actually, because that's a good question, right? What if an agency, let's say USAID, for example, like let's say Doge went through the books and released all spending, and hypothetically, you got to play the game here, okay? Mm-hmm. Hypothetically, what if all of it was actually like obviously fraud and waste to the point that you guys would like 100% agree, yeah, this is fraud and waste? Then
you have to go to Congress.
Then because the Impoundment Act gives the president the authority to suspend operations and to hold freezing or free funding in order to...
Wait. I'm agreeing. I want to agree with you.
Hypothetical.
Let him finish.
You don't have to. I can just agree with you.
I know. I get to the near the end and you're like, I know what he's going to say. Just please. Maybe not everybody in the audience does, okay? So when it comes to, I got to freeze the funding in order to address this fraud and waste. If all of it was fraud and waste, that's a good fucking question. Like, would you mandate? No, the president has to spend money on overt fraud and waste.
Okay, yeah. In a magical Candyland world where the entirety of the DOE is fraud and waste, and he exposed that through releasing the records, I would be okay with him freezing that funding, addressing this, and going through Congress and saying, hey, look at this. This is what is happening.
Under the law.
We need to change this. And hey, I'm going to delete this entire organization. It's a fraudulent organization. It's gone, which is what he is saying. Like, you're arguing way to the left of what Trump's even saying at this moment anyway.
Wait. I want to address that. I want to address that specifically. So you're saying he could freeze the funding perhaps longer than 8 days.
Under the Impoundment Act.
Yes, under the Impoundment Act, he could freeze the funding because all of it's fraud and waste. And then after all the fraud and waste has been identified, probably takes longer than 8 days, he would go to Congress and then ask the whole agency to be deleted?
Wait a second. So yes. So the president,
I was asking the soy pill.
If he follows, this, I want to give you my opinion. All right.
Okay.
If he follows a congressional statute that allows him to pause aid, he's obviously within his rights. If Trump were following the Impoundment Act, we'd have a different fucking situation. He's not following the Impoundment Act, but yes, if he followed the Impoundment Act and he brought all the evidence to Congress and Congress did not act, he is bound by that. Congress is the one who gets to decide. So at the end of the day, it could be definitive proof and the president shows it to Congress and Congress is like, yeah, we'll deal with it next year. Do you think the president can just stop it, even if it's provable, verifiable fraud? He follows the Impoundment Act, and Congress is like, we're going to release the funds anyway. Obvious fraud, but we don't care because we're just evil people. You were like, the president could still pause it.
If they said, we agree this is fraud and abuse under the definition we put in the Impoundment Act, but we're going to fund it anyway, that goes to the question, does Congress have the authority to fund fraud and abuse, which I don't think they do.
No. Who decides? Is the president
the Supreme Court
unilaterally?
The Supreme Court.
Let's say the Supreme Court says political question. We're not handling it. The Supreme Court doesn't handle it. You don't get that out. My question is, what do you think is constitutional? Do you think the president, on his own account, gets to say after he's showed the definitive proof of fraud and he's followed the procedures of the Impoundment Act, and Congress says, yeah, we're releasing the funds anyway? In that situation, do you think the president has the right to say, nope, I am subverting Congress and we're stopping the funds anyway?
I think if the president I'll go through the whole scenario. I think if the president in good faith freezes the funds and then identifies everything, might take longer than 8 days, and then goes to Congress and Congress looks at everything. If in scenario A, they said this is fraud and waste, you're right, but fuck you, we're going to fund it anyway, then I don't think the president, then I don't think the president has is required to fund it at that point, because the Impoundment Act specifically allows the president to delay in the cases of fraud and abuse, identify and remove fraud and abuse. Now, in scenario B, if Congress says, we've reviewed all this, and in our opinion, all the things that you have identified are specifically not fraud and abuse, so you better go back and fund them, then I think it probably would be.
That is dangerous. So what was just told to you, right? What was just told to you is
dangerous.
It is dangerous what you just said.
Boss.
The president.
Let him explain why. Pisco, explain why. Go ahead.
Yes, right. Because the question is who decides. All right. Here we're inventing these hypotheticals where there's perfect information, and so obviously that's not going to be in the real world. But you use the perfect information. It's very helpful to see where we're at. So yes, even assuming Congress sees this obvious case of fraud, 99% fraud, complete destruction. Like it is horrible what's going on. He follows the Impoundment Act in that he initially freezes it, but he's time limited under the Impoundment Act, and he has to go through the procedures. And the end result is Congress does not sign off to the impoundment of those funds and doesn't sign off to those being canceled. And so under the procedures, the normal procedures, the funds should be released because Congress says, even though there's fraud and abuse, we've seen it, we've seen you go through the procedures, but the process is at an end. We're releasing the funds. At that point, does the president get to say, no, I'm not letting that happen?
You re-asked the question. Does Congress have the right to order funding for what they themselves specifically say is fraud and abuse?
That's not the question.
That is the question.
That is not
critically important. Yes, that is.
No. That's not the question.
Because I laid out two scenarios. Scenario A and scenario B.
Lactoid. It's a dumb semantic where only in the scenario where Congress is like, yeah, we're evil and we love committing fraud, is this somehow now something that will go back to the president?
I wouldn't put it past some
people.
I'll
bite
That's
it.
not how it works.
Pisco's biting it. Pisco's question.
When is he not chomping at the bit? Come on.
No. I'll absolutely bite it. That the determination over where funds goes is Congress's alone. And if it's the case, right, you could say it's unconstitutional or illegal for Congress to approve fraud, but that's not a justiciable question. That's not a question for the president to decide. And even if it is illegal for Congress to do in terms of constitutionality, right, it's almost like an illegal impeachment, right, or an illegal pardon or it's in their sole discretion, the use of funds. There's nothing more core than that. And you're somehow suggesting that the president in the real scenario would be, I'm up to my own discretion unilaterally to decide this is going to waste and fraud. And you're saying that there could be a role for the president there. That's so dangerous.
No. like I said, scenario B, if Congress says this is not waste and fraud, like we've reviewed everything, this is not waste and fraud, which if they were to determine this to not be waste and fraud, I would think that would be the much more likely scenario than scenario A, which is that they're like the comic book villains or whatever. So in that scenario,
wait, can we stay in the scenario A?
You cut me off halfway, and then you miss my point, and then you have to re-ask the question like 2 minutes later. Right? This happens consistently. If in scenario B this happens, then yeah, I would agree. At that point, the president, because it's been identified specifically as by Congress very overtly, at that point, the president can't say, well, this is fraud and waste. This is fraud and efficiency waste.
But under scenario A, can he ignore the Impoundment Act?
Well, he wouldn't be ignoring the Impoundment Act at that point.
No, he would be, because the Impoundment Act, yes, it allows him to pause, but he has to. It's time limited, and it's pursuant to the procedures that Congress sets out, and those procedures culminated in a process in which the funds are purported to be released. I'm asking, can he violate the law and do an additional impoundment?
The Impoundment Act, like there's time limited in the sense that there's funding given to this agency, and that he has to spend this money or whatever, but he doesn't have to spend it on fraud and inefficiency, because the whole point of the Impoundment Act was to give the president the discretion in order to identify and remove fraud and inefficiency, right? Hold on. Wait.
Don't make a cogent point.
The whole point. Oh yeah, you're right. His point just happened to be in the middle of my sentence. Great.
Yeah, because your sentence is like 50 minutes long. Sorry.
Bro, really? You don't think Pisco's talked? Whatever. Okay. The whole point of the Impoundment Act here is to give the president discretion to identify fraud and waste and not fund it. That's the whole point of the statute. And so if Congress says this is fraud and waste, you have Congress contradicting themselves a little bit, I guess. But if Congress would have the authority, I guess, to allocate funding for U.S. aid in this hypothetical, but under their own statute, the president would still have the ability to freeze it, because the president under the Impoundment Act,
for 45 days.
Right, for funds, but specifically the freezing is to identify and remove fraud and waste.
Yeah, but only for 45 days.
Yeah, for the non-fraud and waste part. You can work to identify the fraud and waste during the 45 days. And by the way, the 45 days, as Zetsui said, that's not in play anymore. It's until the end of the fiscal year.
It is. Wait, well, who's?
Hold on. Let me try. Lactoid. Okay. So Congress authorizes the president to use military force on a country. Say, hey, we're going to authorize you for a month to go into this country and deal with the terrorists that are there. There's a terrorist cell in this country that we really want to go after. We really want to get out. So we give you 30 days to go in and take them out. Congress authorizes that, gives them there. The president goes in with the forces. He goes for 30 days, but they don't get all the terrorists. Does he have to re-up to get more approval, or can he just stay there because, well, they told me to get the terrorists, and he could just ignore the time?
That's a tough hypo.
Well, it's if Congress says you're authorized to go into here
for 30 days.
Well, there is a national security question at this point.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Okay,
so, but let's assume
it's not as clear, right? There's overlap.
It's a good I'll still answer Wick's question, right? Let's assume there's no constitutional national security questions at play, which the president, of course, as the founders intended to be a vigorous president, has the right to be able to vigorously protect the United States and enforce its laws.
Crazy.
But in this case, let's assume that this is not the case, and the president is a weak little boy and can't do anything besides unless Congress specifically authorizes him to do it. And then Congress says, okay, go in there for 1 month to get terrorists. You can go in there for 1 month to get terrorists. I think the way that's worded, it's very clearly you can go in there for 1 month to get terrorists. If, for example, if they said, go in there for 30 days to get terrorists and you can't leave no matter what until you get every single terrorist, then at that point, I don't fucking know. Because let's say 30 days has passed, but they've identified 14 terrorists that they haven't got yet. Now you have Congress contradicting itself, which is exactly the problem I had before. If we're talking about Congress admitting there's fraud and waste and then affirming it, it's a bizarre kind of situation.
That's not what this is. So Wick, there's overlapping. It's a good question because it gets to a lot of these tensions where there's overlapping spheres of authority. Yes, Congress declares war, Congress funds, but the president also absolutely, as Lactoid says, I agree, there's a national security role for the commander in chief to have, independent of Congress, overlapping with Congress. Sometimes there's unclears, certain things. You can think of a law that Congress passed that unconstitutionally binds the commander in chief or gives him an impossible command or usurps the president's role as commander in chief. And so those are all very complicated questions. What's not complicated is funding. funding is in the exclusive domain of Congress. That's an exclusive authority. If you guys are okay with this core executive theory for the president, this is core legislative authority. No one has this power but Congress. And Congress, in its infinite wisdom, said, okay, well, there are things that could come up in which the president, we want to give him flexibility. So Congress imposed its own law and for procedures, and it says, okay, you have to come to Congress first. You have to communicate to us first, and in certain circumstances, you can put a hold on funding for 45 days, and it's for specific things, right, like waste and fraud and things like that. But what we're talking about here, one, is the situation in which he is not complying with the Impoundment Act. He didn't, right? This wasn't a communique to Congress, like acknowledging Congress's role. He's sending a memo out to executive branches. So he's not following the Impoundment Act. And number two, by Lactoid's own admission, not all of the funding, federal financial assistance, is waste and fraud, and not even conceivably that it's a majority of it under the statutory definition. I don't think that he would bite that bullet. And so it's clear the Impoundment Act is not being followed. The time limitations on the Impoundment Act are not being followed. And so can we stop with this pretense that introduced by Zetsui that it's conceivable that the Impoundment Act is being followed? It's not. And Trump is specifically trying to attack it.
Pisco, would you follow the Impoundment Act? All of it? Would you
so,
be like,
yes, if Trump was following the impoundment, no, I would not defy. No, I would not defy the Impoundment Act. I would not defy the Impoundment Act.
You follow it directly, right? Regardless of what happened afterwards.
If Trump were following the Impoundment Act, we wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't be here telling you that you would be saying that it's a constitutional crisis if he followed the law.
If he followed the Impoundment Act after the Supreme Court and the District Court and Congress have all said that
that's
Section
what I'm talking
1013
about.
isn't there.
To be clear, for my clarity, please.
The fact that Pisco's sitting here saying he would disobey Congress and the Supreme Court and the District Courts.
That's literally not what I said.
He's absolutely saying. If he's saying he'd follow Section 1013 of the Impoundment Act, he's just saying New Haven doesn't count. He doesn't care.
Okay. Wait, hold on. If Zetsui is operating under the idea that the Impoundment Act is no longer law, then why are we even talking about whether or not he's following it? Like, he said it doesn't matter. Like, we could just move on from that, right?
No, you keep talking about the Impoundment Act, saying he's not following it.
Okay.
He is not following it.
Please. Okay, Zetsui, please. I understand your argument, but I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, because I'm just not familiar with New Haven. I'm not familiar with these things, right? I am somewhat familiar with the Impoundment Act. So just to ask Pisco directly. So your argument, as I understand it, is that he is not Trump is not following the Impoundment Act because he has not set the specific date which this freeze will end.
Multiple ways he's not following it, right?
Okay, yeah, please
answer that particular question.
Yeah, I will. Yes is the answer to that specific one as well. It's not limited to 45 days. Under the Impoundment Act, it needs to be 45 days. It is not. It was not sent to Congress initially. This freeze. It was not a communique or a presidential message to Congress. It was the OMB from the president, which is required. The OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, sent all hands email to the executive branch. So it's not an external. Executive to legislative, it's within the external branch. So he's not following that provision. He's going beyond the scope of the Impoundment Act, which is supposed to be for specified purposes and not just a wholesale pausing of all federal financial assistance as defined in the CFR. And so there are multiple ways. And the court, by the way, the two courts now that have struck down this memo, have put a TRO and an order pausing it, they have, in order to have that pause, you need to show a likelihood of success on the merits, and they have shown a likelihood of success on the merits. If it were the case, right, that Trump were following the Impoundment Act, and it were clear that he was following the Impoundment Act, and that these courts were convinced that he was following the Impoundment Act, they wouldn't have held that he's not following the Impoundment Act. They wouldn't have issued a TRO. If he were following the law, what basis would there be to issue a TRO? So the courts have found and have paused these memorandums specifically because it's illegal, specifically because it's not allowed both under Article 1 and the Impoundment Act. So this isn't a complete fantasy, and I believe that too. Now, I'm not familiar with the New Haven case, so I can't speak to it, but I bet you if I take 10 minutes now to get into it, he is misrepresenting the case. I've caught him on so much bullshit of him misrepresenting cases time and time again. He's not a good reader of law. And so
make that claim.
And can I?
regarding Reagan and Section 1013 of the
will.
Impoundment Act.
I absolutely will. But let's.
And while he's
clear,
doing that,
they
I
don't
just
know
want to
the Impoundment
add
Act.
supplementary,
Clear.
like
Discussing
the
it is
Impoundment
wrong
Act
as well. They
specifically
didn't even
says you
fucking
have
read
to specify the duration of the proposed partial year deferrals, which of course he didn't do, which is like already just
And
on the
what does
first
that mean?
line. And what?
Therefore,
And
therefore
therefore
what? If
and
he
therefore
doesn't,
he's not
then those
following
things,
it.
And who has the right to raise that? You?
The courts.
Courts? No.
The courts that he
Congress.
is ignoring.
That transmission is for Congress to make their decision. If they've received whatever the fuck they want and say now we're okay with it, the idea that the courts are going to go, you know what, you didn't really write the right top 10 of the memo, so we're overriding Congress.
What?
No. Those
Wait.
transmission is for the benefit of Congress, for them to understand why you're deferring funds. If he
And they
doesn't
didn't do that,
it
right?
properly, then Congress would have good cause to just say fuck it off.
Right,
Or
and
that you
so
can't defer the
in
funds.
your
But it
mind,
wouldn't be
it's
for
good
you
faith to use the
challenge it.
magic words waste and fraud, and once I've said those words, I can deny all
I'm
funding.
dealing with people who don't understand anything. Like,
I guess maybe I don't understand, but I'm asking you whether or not that is
even
somehow
even
justified
whole
if you just say the
45-day
word
thing.
waste
Do you
and
guys understand
fraud.
that there's a difference between Wait, do you guys understand? Even with
A deferral and a rescission.
Those are different things, right? And that they are handled differently, even within the fucking Impoundment Act. Do you understand that?
So what is it your suggestion that this is not governed by the Impoundment Act?
Didn't say that either. No, you can't. I don't.
So what are you saying?
I'm wasting my time with people who can't even fucking read. The 45-day thing has to do with rescissions, not deferrals. The deferrals is Section 1013, which is exactly what New Haven was about. That Reagan tried to delay funds. Then he said he relied specifically on that section to defer funds. Then the district court said, sorry, it's already been the veto part of the one house veto thing has been shot down by Chad Haw, and they're inextricably linked. So the whole thing fucking falls. And then they subsequently say you can now do non-policy based. There's those two things. I linked it in the fucking group chat. I can link you something. I have a thing written by the guy who wrote the fucking Impoundment Act as to how pissed he was over Chad Haw in New Haven.
Yeah,
And the
so
thing is, again,
would
the
you say
45-day thing is rescissions only. He hasn't rescinded anything. He's only tried to do it. Also, the policy isn't direct. They allocate funds to like homelessness, not to like Pisco's homeless fund. And so if there's fraud, it wouldn't be within homelessness.
Wait a second.
It would be within your actions. And he could stop that, but he would still have to allocate the funds to homelessness.
So do you think that there has been a permanent impoundment or rescission?
There's not been a rescission. It's currently in a deferral, basically, what you'd see it as.
How do you know that?
He hasn't It'd be based on, so the reading of it, them saying like, hey, stop all funds and get to me something within 2 weeks. I think a reasonable interpretation of that is that basically they plan to basically stop for the purpose of reviewing those things. That would be my interpretation of it. And so the fact is, I don't
That's
believe
your interpretation of it?
I think if I'm being good faith, why would someone say, get me your, I'm freezing the funds, I want to review things, get me a report in 2 weeks. Why would they ask him for 2 weeks if they go, it's indefinite? Fuck it.
I don't know.
Whenever,
maybe if
years from now.
Yeah, maybe if they laid
know,
out this specific plan and this giant document and then elected all the
if you
people who
wanna
wrote
argue
it
that they're
into positions of
incompetent, I'm
power
with you.
that said like, hey,
The
we're
freeze is also
specifically
retarded,
trying
and
to...
I agree with the unfreezing. I agree with the judge's order.
Freeze
They gave no rational
Wait.
basis for why they were even their
Wait,
rationale for doing the
why-
review
why-
doesn't justify the freeze.
Pisco, are you aware
Wait,
of
wait,
the
wait.
January 20th executive order?
Which one? There's a lot of January 20th.
Yeah,
You're right.
like,
Yeah.
you
This
gotta-
is
you gotta be
specifically reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid.
I've read all the executive orders, but you have to be more specific.
Okay. Specifically, reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid, Section 3, 90-day pause in United States foreign development assistance for assessment of programmatic efficiencies and consistency with United States foreign policy.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the freeze. The freeze is indefinite.
Hold on. Is the freeze... If we're looking here...
Hold on,
at,
are
like,
you
what is a
arguing
good
that
faith-
executive order is the freeze that they're doing?
Well, I don't know. I don't think the executive order is the specific freeze on U.S.
90-day
aid.
freeze.
Also, a 90-day
What-
freeze is more
what
than
did it-
45 days.
Again, not 45 days isn't required anymore. If we're talking about a 90-day pause, we're talking about, it says, yeah, whatever. If we're talking about a 90-day pause on the executive order, that my understanding is the authority that they're using to stop programs like USAID. Why 90 days seems like a very specific number. I think like
Yeah, we're talking about the freeze.
But if the freeze comes from we're going to pause
That's
the
not
United
where the
States
freeze
foreign
comes from.
development assistant for assessments of programmatic
So
programmatic
that is
efficiencies
not
and
where the
consistency.
freeze comes
90
from.
days. Well, I'm saying
That
like
is not
again,
where the freeze
wait,
comes from.
We're looking. What I'm saying is that we have to look at things in good faith, okay? And the question is he operating within good faith? If he has an executive order saying we're going to freeze for 90 days to evaluate things, and then he also, within like the timeline here that we're talking about, freezes U.S. aid funding, then it would appear that the intention here is to freeze it for a temporary time period to evaluate its inefficiencies.
And when the inefficiency is declared to be the entire thing, get rid of it. Then what? Because again, we keep coming back to this magic word. Where if I say that fraud and inefficiency is all of it, then suddenly that's okay.
It's still good. It's only Section 1013 that Haven dealt with. Rescission and deferrals are different things. If he turns a deferral into a rescission, different rules apply.
I'm not even talking about an impoundment act.
Define rescission for me, Zetsui, right now, and versus deferral.
A bill or joint resolution which only rescinds in whole or in part budget authority proposed to be rescinded into So basically,
wait. Can you read that slower?
Yeah,
Can you read that slower? Reread it.
Basically,
please. I'm slow. I'm not a lawyer. Okay, you gotta be a little lenient with.
Bill. It basically goes anything where it goes, it rescinds in whole or in part budget authority that's been allocated.
Yeah, rescission is the president saying.
I
can explain it. I can explain it
or
in
is
two
that a
sentences.
definition of rescission?
So rescinding means canceling. So if I say, let's say that you allocate $10 million to homelessness, and I say I want you to pull. I don't want to do that. I want to do $5 million. I'm asking you to rescind $5 million. If I say I'm going to defer, I have issues with some of the programs that were I think Pisco's homeless thing is not doing things I like, and I'd rather give it to Lactoid. So I'm going to defer my payments now, and next month I go, you know what? I don't like Pisco's. I'm giving it to his instead. I've deferred it because I still spent the money. A rescission means I'm not going to spend the money on the policy. If you read the budgets don't say, they say something like that, like $10 million to homelessness, $10 million to people who are doing ventures for the needy, especially women, which is a weird one. And then it gives a bunch of restrictions. They can't go to Iran. They can't help the Palestinian Authority. And so if the president does an analysis and finds out that oh, hey, we're helping out those in need, but it appears you're giving money to the PA, he can just cancel that without going to Congress because the bill says you can't give it to the PA. So if he wants to rescind,
can a deferral be indefinite?
Under the rules, so you have to transmit that to Congress. So it would be in violation of that part of it. We're saying what you're supposed to transmit to Congress, it'd be missing that component.
Wait. Can a deferral be indefinite?
Within the realm of reality, yes. Yeah.
No, under the law.
Under the law, it would be a violation of the transmit. I mean,
is legally the question here. Let me try. The question that Pisco's asking is legally, could Trump make an indefinite deferral?
Indefinite. Again, colloquially, no. Technically, no. Indefinite. So colloquially, no. Technically, yes.
Technically, he can just say this is
not colloquially.
Technically, it'd be a violation. Colloquially, we don't mean infinite. We just means that he said defer for 90 days, but he doesn't say when he'll get to you afterwards.
So here are the word games that's being played right here. Indefinite simply means we don't know when the end date's going to be. That's what indefinite means. It doesn't mean it will go on forever. What it means,
correct. That's right now. I'm using the term indefinite.
It means right now. Hold on. It means right now we don't know specifically when it will end. It could end tomorrow. It could end a week. It could end a week from now. That's what indefinite means.
You can reasonably interpret it.
Yes, that's what it means. That's what it means, right?
I'll let you finish real quick, Lactoid, but I just want to make it clear we have spent the entire time on the freeze, and there are a couple other things that people want to talk about, such as the IG firings and
I where I'm reading it says that deferrals are temporary delays, and that it doesn't seem like I will get the official language of the definition here, but I don't think that it's plausible that a deferral could be indefinite, where you're just talking about something that could conceive it with no specific
an indefinite temporary.
Wait, no. If you did, no. Indefinite.
Just wait. Indefinite can mean temporary, right?
Sure, but
yes,
it seems like
thank you. Jesus, forever to get there.
Wait. Indefinite can be temporary. It could also be permanent. Fair?
Correct.
It could, but he can't do it forever because that would be illegal.
No. Okay, but
you
why?
You would assess what he said.
Because it'd be illegal.
Zetsui just said that.
Go off of. Goes. Give me something in 2 weeks so I can review it and we'll take action then. The assumption is that you're going to do something in 2 weeks.
He's indicated 90 days on his executive order.
If he just says freeze it all, I'll figure it out later.
They did say that in the freeze. In the freeze, they didn't say.
But on the executive order, he indicated we're going to be freezing this for 90 days.
Executive order. Wait. No, we're stopping right now. Wait. You need to stop. You need to stop with the executive order, right? He's purposely lying to the audience. The executive order only pertains. First of all, it's 90 days just for reviewing foreign aid, and it's not what we're talking about. So shut the fuck up about the executive order. We're talking about the spending freeze. We're talking about the spending freeze. Stop trying to confuse the audience.
There's
we're
two.
talking about.
I'm not separating. I'm not
The
trying
argument
to.
here. The argument here is that there are two different spending freezes going on, one through the memo and one through this executive
No,
order.
no.
We've been talking about the
one
OMB.
that's being
That's
ruled
not
on
what
is-
he said.
We've been going back and forth. The aid one for U.S. aid is in 90 days. The one the court's dealing with has to do with grants, and that one is the 14-day one. Am I wrong?
No. The one the courts are.
Not?
Yes, you are completely. Of
Okay,
course, you're
fine,
wrong.
then
Yes,
correct
you're
me.
clearly wrong. You're always wrong. Yes, it deals with all federal financial assistance as defined in the OMB memo. Okay.
Which again,
You-
there's two of them.
Yeah, but if one is
What do you mean?
everything?
The one that was sent, the 2-page memo that everyone's talking about, that we've been talking about this entire time.
You guys have been going back and forth.
No, the
It's not
executive
just
order was brought up like
grants.
10 minutes ago.
Okay.
The executive order was a new thing.
Now that
You brought
we've
up
established,
as-
now that
Oh
we've
my
established that indefinite is temporary, or could be temporary. In this case, it is temporary. And by the way,
Oh, do
if
you
it's
know
not,
that?
if it's not, then it would be illegal.
You
Then it would
know
be
that?
then it'd be a constitutional crisis. If it turns out to not be temporary.
Yeah, so
then
as long
sure,
as he
constitutional
gets
crisis.
it back at day 364,
Really?
you're cool, and
So
you can spend all the
you
money.
think I can't show you two memos? I can send you both of you guys. I can send in the group chat.
Can we
right
talk
now,
about like
both
any
memos.
of the other things that they're
So
doing that is
deferrals-
like fucking
wait,
insane?
so
I guess if we want to like move on.
Here I have it. Wait.
Let's
I
do
just
it.
want to
Running
make
away.
Oh, yeah,
We'll have
sure,
the
I'm
last
running.
part of this subject, then we'll get to the other ones. But go ahead, please go.
Sure. Here's
So
the 14.
deferrals need to specify the time period which the budget authorities propose to be deferred.
Yep.
The letter to Congress.
And it,
Yes.
and it needs to be sent to Congress. So
Yep.
by your own admission, right? So you agree, don't you? Don't you all both agree now? Because there needs to be a message under any of these, the use of the Impoundment Act. Don't you all agree
Then
that the
Congress would have
Impoundment Act, as narrowed by judicial rulings, has been violated?
That's not a violation. No, that would be for Congress. If Congress has a problem with that, yes, they could. But
Wait,
How
wait, stop. Wait, I just told you that there is a specific procedural requirement that the president transmit to the House of Representatives and the Senate a special message clarifying the period of time which the budget authorities propose to be deferred for deferrals, right? And
they didn't even do a special transmission. They transmitted nothing.
yeah, there was never a
Yeah, the
a
entire thing
transmission
was-
or message
yeah.
to Congress.
Correct.
So you would agree, wouldn't you? You would agree, wouldn't
You
you?
would agree that the judge should not care about that. at all.
Wait. You would agree, wouldn't you, that the president is not following the Impoundment Act?
Yes, Congress. So that would be good cause for
Okay,
Congress to refuse it.
Perfect.
The judge
Thank
should
you
not
very
care
much.
about that
Okay,
at all.
We'll move on.
okay,
We'll move on.
okay,
We'll move on.
okay. We I don't
If the
have
judge
all
took
night.
action on that, that'd be unbelievable. Like
I do
that
wanna
would be
talk
concerning.
about some of the other things. So
They think they
when
get
we
overruled
talk about
Congress?
whether or not we're in a constitutional crisis, the freezing has been the focus. But I believe Soy Pill has a couple other pieces of evidence to enter into the discussion about why he thinks this is a constitutional crisis. And for the sake of my audience, right, maybe we can focus on those a little bit tonight. Soy Pill, you wanted to make your argument?
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead.
I'd love to hear Lactoid or Zetsu's opinions on whether or not you can just use an executive order to subvert the 14th Amendment. I'd love to hear what they think about firing all the attorney generals or the investigative, the IGs, who, without the 30-day congressional pre-approval or notice, like all these other things that are consolidating power into the executive branch that apparently are just not being followed, and obviously being countered by courts and blocked by courts, and apparently based on the initial claim that at least Zetsu said at the beginning, as long as the court can even attempt to stop him, it's not a constitutional crisis, that he is trying to consolidate all this power. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on those.
Go ahead, Lactoid.
In terms of you're talking about the EO and the 14th Amendment regarding birthright?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the legal theory that Trump is proposing, and me and Zetsui actually disagree on this. I think the legal theory that Trump is proposing is wrong. I think there is an argument to be made, but I personally don't find it convincing. I think that the original intent of the 14th Amendment was to provide birthright to all people born on U.S. soil that are under the jurisdiction, and this would include the children born to illegal immigrants, in my opinion.
Okay,
so,
sure. So, but past that, like him trying to do an EO to subvert that, what do you think?
Yeah,
about
Trump is well within his rights to create an EO to get, to I guess reject that as law, and then it gets blocked right away, which it has, and he hasn't tried to go around that block or anything along those lines. He hasn't been stripping citizenship away.
He hasn't tried to get around that.
No, he has not. He has not tried to strip people of their citizenship if they were born in the U.S. He has not.
Yeah, no, but he's literally trying to fight this so that he can get the 14th Amendment rewritten for himself. Yeah,
he's saying
without making
he's not directly violating a court order yet.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot because
in
Nazi Germany
he's
yet.
not.
It's not a constitutional crisis.
Excuse me. He's challenging the idea of birthright. It's how you challenge. That's literally how you challenge an amendment. The courts aren't allowed to just wake up one day and just decide, oh, this is constitutional. That's not. There needs to be a case put in front of them. And Trump has made an EO on birthright. It's going to go through the courts. It's not active until the Supreme Court rules on it, and that's assuming they rule in its favor. I don't think they will. My opinion is that the courts are going to rule against the Trump administration on this, probably pretty overwhelmingly, I would assume. But we'll see.
So do you not consider it a testing of in a bad way, of the constitutional checks and balances that he's trying to use an EO instead of going through Congress, which, by the way, he has control over, to make an amendment to overturn the 14th or rewrite the 14th, but just say, hey, I am declaring the 14th is not valid anymore. This is not like a test on a constitutional power that worries you in any sort of way. It's like, well, a court might reject this, or I think the court's going to reject this, so it's totally fine that he's pushing this.
Any EO is not challenging. EOs, by definition, can't be aren't like areas where there can be room for constitutional crises, because you could always go to court. That seems to be what you're suggesting.
Well, hold on, but it's blocked. Yeah, it's blocked. And then, so for example, when Biden ordered OSHA to mandate vaccines, that was blocked right away. I wouldn't call that a constitutional. And by the way, the Supreme Court later ruled that he overstepped. Yeah, hold on. The Supreme Court ordered that he said that he overstepped his authority when he did that. But because that was blocked, that doesn't mean it was a constitutional crisis. Same thing with loan forgiveness.
So first of all, I think there's a couple distinctions here that matter. One is we're talking about a core provision of the Constitution relating to who's part of the club, the citizenship clause. And that is absolutely your right to be more worried about clauses that pertain to your citizenship. Constitutional provisions that relate to your citizenship, your membership, whether you're allowed to vote, right? Because only citizens are allowed to vote. Those obviously raise higher threshold concerns than statutes of Congress. And by the way, the argument made by Biden in the OSHA case is a lot better and a lot stronger, in my opinion, given the capacious language of the statute that we reference, compared to the fucking completely bad faith argument that illegal immigrants are not subject to the jurisdiction.
Oh, it's not completely bad faith. Come on.
Insane.
Yeah,
it's fucking insane.
I don't agree with it.
You don't think it's bad faith to call all illegal immigrants invaders or of a foreign army? That's not bad faith.
I don't. Hold on.
By the way,
I don't think it's done in bad faith. I personally disagree with it. I think he will lose at the Supreme Court.
What would it look like if it was bad faith? I'm going to ask you this every time, Lactoid, because you're in this imaginary happy world where everyone's super, super nice to each other. But what do you think it would be if it was bad faith? What would it look like?
What would it look like?
What would a bad faith argument?
I'm bad faith.
Yeah, would he have to say I'm bad faith, or would he have to go against 140 years of Supreme Court precedent and use a lawyer who's made the same arguments to try to birtherism Kamala Harris to propose that the 14th Amendment is no longer valid for children of illegal immigrants? What would be bad faith then?
I don't know. When it comes to an
executive, that seems to be the answer for everything. You don't fucking know.
Hold up. When it comes to the executive, you guys are antsy tonight. When it comes to the executive, they can issue executive orders. This is well within their executive power. I'm assuming you guys don't want to get rid of that here. No. They're well within in ordering, hey, we're ordering this, and then because we are not in a constitutional crisis, the courts are going to block it right away, which they did, and then it's going to be heard by the Supreme Court before we get an answer on this.
Wait. You agree, Robert's
before we get right? He might be concerned. About what? It's still going to go to him.
Chief Justice Roberts comes out publicly with a public statement, which he's wont to do, and he says, I'm concerned. It's concerning to hear elected officials talking about ignoring court's orders. You think he's going to say that if he's not concerned?
Hold on. You're referencing back to the topic that I thought you guys wanted to move on from. We're talking specifically about the 14th Amendment issue. And on the 14th Amendment birthright, on the 14th Amendment, do you agree that there is no evidence right now that the Trump administration has ignored the court blocking the removal of birthright citizenship?
I do not have evidence as I sit here.
He only ignored other court
violating that court order currently.
Great.
But you guys are talking about
great. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Bad faith. Wait, Lactoid, you guys are
talking about
all bad faith.
Oh, wait. That's all I wanted. All I wanted to know was that the court said no, and they're not doing it until the case that they're going to argue.
It's only been 2 weeks. We can't know what's going to happen.
We can't. The Supreme Court could review. The Supreme Court could review and say birthright's actually not a thing because illegal immigrants aren't subject to jurisdiction of blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah, I argument that they made. This judicial supremacy you guys are saying, as though courts could not be themselves a source of a constitutional crisis. For example, Dred Scott. You guys agree that Dred Scott?
Roe versus Wade.
Wait. Do you think Dred Scott? Wait. Do you think Dred Scott represented a constitutional crisis? That decision?
Yes, I think that Dred. I think when a court, wait. I think every non-originalist is a threat to the Constitution. And if the non-originalists get big enough, then it becomes a crisis. I think Wickard versus Filburn was at that point when we start getting into that shit. Dred Scott, Wickard versus Filburn, Chaplinsky, that shit. Yes, that is a constitutional crisis. Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade was closer to a constitutional crisis than anything Trump has done.
Really?
By far.
The position is that Roe v. Wade is more of a constitutional crisis. By the way, we lived with Roe v. Wade for what, 50 years? You can disagree with that position. You can say whatever. But you're saying that is a bigger threat. Yeah, a crisis. You have a different definition for what crisis means. That's different, and that's more of a crisis.
Maybe evidence of a crisis.
Than, for example, the president,
backpedaling,
by my estimation, unlawfully and unconstitutionally impounding every single aspect of federal financial assistance, save for a few.
We disagree on that.
Because I'm guessing, do you disagree with substantive due process in general?
No, I agree. I disagree with a non-originalist Supreme Court pulling laws out of their ass that have no basis in history, which is what they did with Roe versus Wade, which is what they did with Chaplinsky, where they said you can't call a cop a fascist because if you do and you get your ass kicked, well, that's on you because them's fighting words, right? That was another one of a really nice one from FDR's fascist court of goons.
You think Chaplinsky?
And then you also
Chaplinsky's dead letter. It's dead letter, and
it's
and
technically good law.
It's dead letter, and you're calling that a crisis. You say it's still a crisis because you guys are living in this delusional, formalistic world outside of the actual tangible experience of everyday people.
At the time of its ruling,
the life of people matters.
At the time of its ruling, I think Chaplinsky arguably could be a constitutional crisis. Now, it seems like we're out of that because the courts have continually narrowed it to the point where I somewhat agree with you. I think that nobody's really taking it seriously, even though it actually is essentially good law. But Wickard versus Filburn, I mean, the first time that the Supreme Court said, well, you really can't do that was Obamacare. Literally for decades, the federal government could just do whatever they want and say, well, Commerce Clause, Commerce Clause. All of that is way closer to a constitutional crisis. I don't know if it exactly is, okay, but it's way closer to a constitutional crisis than anything Trump has done. Absolutely, this is the case.
If you agree with it, it's not a constitutional crisis, and if you don't agree with it, it is a constitutional.
It's almost like we're on a panel giving our opinions. Holy shit!
No. What
the difference is that Pisco and I might argue that things that we don't agree with are a constitutional crisis, and you will stonewall and suck Trump's dick for 3 fucking hours because you have no fucking morals, and you're gonna pretend like we're being hyperbolic. We're so fucking antsy, like they're not gonna revoke citizenship or at least try to and test this over and over and over for the next 4 years, as if that's not a big fucking deal. That's the difference.
It's bad faith. Oh wait. Lactoid. It's bad faith to say that illegal immigrants are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. That's bad faith there.
I disagree with it. I don't think it's bad faith, no.
And again, I ask you, what would be a bad faith then?
If I'm listening to somebody's argument and they're going through, and it seems to me very clear that they don't actually believe what they believe about the law.
Be specific. Give me an example. Not, maybe if I didn't believe
it's going to be on a case by case. Yeah, it's going to be a case by case.
Well, make up a case. Make up a case then.
If I find hidden information indicating that Trump actually doesn't believe this, and he doesn't believe there's I think this is the case, or it's the lawyers themselves, and that's questionable as well because lawyers have a duty to represent their client. I think that at that point you could argue that it's potentially in bad faith. But again,
okay, so if I find a secret diary of Trump that says, actually, I've been lying the whole time, that is the only thing that could be bad faith.
You're so
That's
mad
what you just fucking said, dude.
You're so mad and verbose.
Yeah, because you're being a stonewalling moron right now, and you're like, well, if someone is going against 150 years of Supreme Court precedent, if someone's going against 150, if someone is going against 150 years,
you don't have any expertise in this area.
Okay, hey,
you make YouTube videos ranting about social issues.
Yeah, and you know what? They're much more entertaining than you are, and you're fucking boring. And you're not even a fucking constitutional lawyer, all right?
You don't know anything.
Your argument is that 150 years of Supreme Court precedent. Hey, do you want to talk about what I'm saying right now, or do you want to ad hom me? All right? Do you want to ad hom me? Okay, 150 years.
You started it. You literally said I was sucking Trump's dick.
Yeah.
You called me an idiot.
Is there anything wrong with being gay, bro? You think it's wrong to suck dick?
Oh, are you glass cannon?
Look, okay, 150 years. I can take it.
But the moment I give a little bit of
I just want to talk.
flame back.
I just want to ask.
all of a sudden, like, oh, don't be mean to me.
We're good. We
What a
had our
bitch.
laugh. It was fun. Yeah. So
Can I ask a good faith question? I really want to.
please,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Okay, so are you arguing that it is not bad faith to go against 150 years of Supreme Court precedents and say that illegal immigrants are foreign invaders? You think that is not bad faith? I just want you to say that, yes or no.
Well, does it have to be bad faith to be a conflict or a crisis or?
Wick, I asked Lactoid.
I just don't
Yeah,
understand.
I said no.
Okay.
And by the way,
why not?
You have to agree with this, okay?
I have to,
because there have been Supreme Court decisions that have rescinded long-standing precedent that I'm certain you would agree with. So, like Brown versus Board of Education, Board of Education, that overturned how many fucking years of precedent? Do you think Brown versus Board of Education? Whoa, Pisco! Don't save him, Pisco. He's a legal expert all of a sudden. Don't save him.
I'm not a legal expert.
What's going on?
I'm
Go ahead.
actually.
Wait. You feel confident enough to ask me this fucking question?
I agree. Wait, hold on.
I'm going to get my question now.
I can answer
I'm going to get my
question.
No,
again, for the
benefit of the audience, for the benefit of the audience, for the benefit of the audience,
but I'm also
for the benefit of the audience, I'm going to finish my question.
Have been ruled on multiple.
Yeah, finish it.
Stop. For the benefit of the audience, I'm going to finish my question, no matter how much you try to steal this. Okay? You said, oh, like you're pointing to the precedent. Oh, you think that trying to overturn this amount of precedent, you can really do that in good faith, as you say very smugly, when there's plenty of fucking Supreme Court cases that overturn precedent that you would agree with. So let me ask you.
Okay. And then let's go on to the point of
finish the question.
I'm not done with my question.
Finish the question. Lactoid, finish the question.
You might know where I'm going. They might not. Okay, you're not the center of the universe. It's other people. Okay, I don't know how to explain that.
Just finish your question, Lactoid, please.
Brown versus Board of Education overturned a shit ton of precedent when it comes to the segregation of American society. Do you think Brown versus Board of Education, the argument in favor of that, was in bad faith?
Okay, you're done. Okay. Do you think that I think only is bad faith if you're overturning precedent? Is that what you think I think?
That's what you said.
Do you think I think that?
Let him clarify. He did say it. You did say it.
I did say that. I don't think that is. I don't think that is the only thing.
That was the argument you were making.
I'll admit it. I'm a little bit
out.
It's a little bit pontificating, but the precedent being that the precedent being in this case, not just if you go against precedent, somehow this is bad faith. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. Unless you really think I'm saying that.
Why are you specifying the years then?
Just be clear. Hold on. Soy pill. Be clear what you mean by bad faith.
Bad faith in the sense that for 150 years we have declared that illegal immigrants are not a foreign army. That is what I'm saying. If you're going against 150 years of that, or hey, let's say we decided that yesterday. It doesn't fucking matter. Obviously, do you think that you can somehow declare a bunch of illegal immigrants as a foreign army in good faith, regardless of how long that's been precedent?
Yes.
Okay, how?
A foreign army? No. I think there is an argument.
They're invaders.
I think they're legally speaking probably not an army. Okay, but I think you could say you can make a good faith argument that the 14th Amendment was never. Yeah, the 14th. I'm in the middle of it. The 14th Amendment was never intended to apply to illegal immigrants due to the idea of they're not under the jurisdiction of the United States, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's an argument there to be had. I disagree with it.
Like, why do you disagree?
You disagree with Brown v. Board, right? You disagree with Brown v. Board, is that right?
I disagree with some of the implications of Brown versus Board. Yes, some of it's good. Some of it's good.
This is bad faith, right?
Well, no, it's not bad faith because I'm not the one married to years of precedent like he claimed.
True.
Like,
can I give my opinion?
Hey, wait, take that back because I'm right. I'm not married to years of precedent.
That was a joke. Yes, that was a joke. That was a joke. But I don't want to be clear. I actually do think it's relevant, the amount of years of precedent. It's not dispositive, but if there's a great deal of precedent here, we have cases going back to the Chinese exclusion laws and cases as early I think in the 1990s, which say essentially this. There ought to be a really good argument, right? There ought to be a really good constitutional argument for you to be advocating to overturn it. There was a really good, in my opinion, not your opinion, constitutional argument to overturn Plessy v. Ferguson and Brown v. Board. I don't think that you can find that here, and I think that the length of precedent here is a factor to consider the good or bad faith. And I think that's totally fair. He's not a legal expert, and I don't think you should hammer him on that. It's not dispositive, but I do think it's relevant, and I'm glad that he brought it up.
Saying I'm not a legal expert.
I will hammer it. I will hammer. Let me respond. I will hammer him with it when he comes at me with ad homs, acting all confident.
Yeah, and then when
I'm
I
gonna
clarify,
respond, okay?
and what's your good
Now-
faith? When
now-
so
yeah,
what's
yeah,
your good
yeah.
faith? What's your good faith
You guys wanna-
interpretation
you guys
of
wanna
saying
play in
that
the mud?
illegals are
I can play in the
foreign
mud too,
invaders?
Can
okay?
I just because this
I
is
can play in the mud too.
You've never
Hold
left
on,
the
stop,
mud, buddy.
because this is going to be bothering me because I think this is tangential to the reason, like whether or not we are in a constitutional crisis or Trump is attempting to subvert the Constitution and the levers of power and things like that. He can be doing it in entirely good faith, and it could still be trying to.
That is
dismantle
true.
It could be
the
wrong.
Wait,
Yes.
that's a good. That's a good point. I think there's some things that people could be doing in good faith that could still represent a constitutional crisis.
Yes.
But I think that bad faith adds to what the scope of what we can look at in the current time at time equals 1, right? Because what Lactoid is saying might sound reasonable at first blush to someone. Well, it's only been 8 days. It's just a pause. There've been other pauses in history, right? But what we're trying to do is tell you that it's a crisis right now. And in order to get into the crisis right now moment, we got to give you evidence of what they're planning in the future and whether or not they're coming at this in good or bad faith. And so while I agree, there are some constitutional crises that could have been reached in good faith by the respective branches of government. Not all. Some crises need to be proved both with current actions and with purpose and intent.
And
So
Wick, I need to add on to this. This is also very important that, like, when we talk about Project 25, and it's like, oh, you're just being antsy, you're just fear mongering, hyperbole. When as if this wasn't the plan from the beginning that they're all saying that they're following, that is clearly like 70% of it's already been checked off, and specifically in this good faith discussion as to whether or not the 14th Amendment can be overturned or not apply to illegal immigrants, they literally have two contradicting bad faith arguments, one being that foreign invaders are illegal immigrants are foreign invaders, and the other being that it just doesn't apply to illegal citizens, which are like not like in the same thing. So they have to have these two contradictory things to try to push this, because it's not about whether or not I think they're foreign invaders. It's about I want to get rid of illegal birthright citizenship. That's all it is. And so that is the bad faith. It's all of the precedent before this. It's all of the plans. It's all of hey, I've been telling you what I've been doing and what I want to do for 40 years, and now I'm finally doing it. But actually, it's only been 3 days. And they haven't finished doing it, so we actually don't know if it's really happening.
And they want to blind us, and they want to say you can't look at that. You have to just consider the formalism of the argument itself, as opposed to the argument being bad, as you are acknowledging. In addition to the additional context given by Project 2025, contemporaneous statements made by Trump. I mean, Trump literally said we'll probably need to have an amendment for it. If that's not a fucking admission that the argument is weak, what is? I mean, he's literally saying the argument is weak enough that we might need to go to the states to have a constitutional amendment. I think that's pretty indicative of bad faith.
Let me respond to this. You can make arguments like you can make arguments for something that you believe is the law and recognize at the same time that those arguments are weak and that you probably won't win. I mean, you and I both know that, right? You can bring arguments to the court.
Is that an indication of bad faith,
that you
though,
think are
knowing your argument's not good and you just want to push your agenda?
No, not at all. In court, you can bring arguments that, like, especially if it's your only argument, that is particularly weak, and you have to put it forward to the court, and you can do that in good faith.
We're analyzing this not as attorneys. We're analyzing this as political actors.
No, we're analyzing this as attorneys, okay? Because this has to do with the fucking law, whether or not you're bringing this in good faith, okay? You absolutely, when you're bringing a legal challenge in good faith, this I think well fits within that standard. And also, one thing that I think we've lost a little bit here, and Zetsui said at the very beginning, and this is like a commonly understood part of the definition of constitutional crisis in political science, at least, which is that a constitutional crisis requires that there be like some kind of inability to solve the problem within legal mechanisms. And in this case, when you have a judge immediately block it, no evidence of circumvention of the block, and this going up to the Supreme Court, you can't possibly call this a constitutional crisis, because the solution, the solution, like the solvement or whatever, is right there at the Supreme Court where it's going to go. Like, if this was a constitutional, like, how is this a crisis if we know where it's going next and it's going to the body that is tasked with interpreting the law?
Yeah, no, it is a crisis because the executive branch, first of all, even the attempt by itself, and the fact that they're able to marshal a great deal of support within the Congress and among their followers, shows that they're trying to do something that would generate a crisis. And they're actively attempting to evade judicial review. And I didn't hear you, Lactoid. I quoted that judge where the judge said, it's clear that you were trying to evade judicial review. Do you accept that? Do you accept that the memo rescission was in bad faith trying to evade judicial review?
No, I don't accept that the memo rescission was in bad faith to attempt to avoid judicial review. I've seen no evidence that the Trump campaign has been doing this. If they were doing this,
diaries, how would you know?
Surely they would be doing this about the 14th Amendment.
Bro, if Biden did this shit If Biden did this kind of
Biden did this
evasion,
shit. Look at OSHA, the student loan forgiveness. He tried to get around the Supreme Court how many times?
Wait.
On day one, he did this.
Wait. Explain the comparison here. Where what we're talking about is, just to be clear, the audience is aware, the rescission of this memo. They say we're rescinding just the memo, not the policy, and you guys are saying there's something other than judicial review that could be motivating what he's doing.
Other than no, I would say that the reason why is because the entire thing was retarded and creates chaos. It doesn't actually give any proper information for anyone.
So wait, the defense is Trump realized he was retarded right now? Is that
okay?
what
I
we're
think
going
hold
with?
on,
the policy is vague and
for a
creates
moment.
confusion, and that's why things are getting frozen that shouldn't
the policy,
be frozen.
not the memo.
Housekeeping for a moment, because
If the-
I think my Discord's freezing up. I'm not sure. Can
coming
you
through
guys
fine
hear
for
me?
me.
Is this on my end
Yeah,
or is
I
this
hear you.
on?
You look
Not
great.
frozen.
I'm clear.
The only thing not frozen is Discord right now.
Your stream is freezing a bit, Wick. You're clear on our end though, so it's probably has to do with your stream.
Discord's good. Yeah, maybe
Discord
OBS.
is fine.
I do have to take a small break to make a little money here, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
to
let's do it.
monetize the crisis.
Let's do it.
So let me read some of these super chats.
Wait, Trump's blocking it
thank
right
you.
now. Actually, he's blocking the super
Wolf
chats.
Glenn.
You can't
He's
stop.
frozen.
No more super chats,
They're all
Wick. We're
frozen.
done.
No!
There's fraud and
It's only
waste.
been 1
Wolf
minute.
Glenn.
It's only been 1 minute.
Yeah, Wolf Glenn's given me 5 gift subs on Twitch. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you. $5 from Deej Nuts to say, how much will it cost to change the debate topic to is Pisco a hypocrite? More than $5. Thank you for the $5. $2 from Deej Nuts. Doge isn't freezing anything. Fair.
That's
okay.
not true.
$2 from TL1524.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like maybe trying to say the president is actually freezing it. That's true.
Yeah,
And he's consulting them to do it, and he's just saying yes to it.
That's a good point. Wait, that's a good point. I shouldn't have discounted
it's
that
not
too
a good
quickly.
point. So
not a
if
good
you're
point.
if you're gonna say, well, everything is a function of the president's authority, and so nothing Doge does is anything. I mean, that's not true. Let's think about this like
You
real.
know what you mean when
Yeah, he's agreeing with you.
I'm agreeing with you. You're right.
Yeah, we
Oh,
all
no,
agree.
I'm talking to the chatter, not you. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, sure. Okay, $2 from TL1524. Can Destiny's Little Hobbit contain itself? Yes or no?
I'm not I'm 6 foot. I don't
But you
know
are
what this-
Destiny's? Is that what the
I'm 6'2".
You got to deny both of those things.
yeah,
We got to
yeah.
deny both of those.
Listen, I split ties with Steven, but they'll continue on, and that's fine. That's their right to do that, and it can tell when the arguments are weak. That's where they go, and so I'm fine with it.
And
And
as a
make it clear,
as a 3'10"
I didn't go
person, I
there.
don't think that Pisco's actually
Because
telling the truth about his height.
I don't. In fact, I don't even think you should get shit because that was a brave move.
Appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Well, we can kiss later. Fair enough. $2 from TL1524. Yeah, louder Pisco doesn't make you any smarter. Thank you for $2.
That's why you combined it with the right argument. Loud and smart is double
Yeah, that's
better,
right. That's
you know.
right.
$2 more from Deej Nuts to say, my 8-month-old son laughs whenever Pisco speaks.
Oh, that's cute.
That's
Babies
actually.
love me. What can I
Yeah.
say?
Wait, why are you letting your child listen to 18 plus?
Listen to me.
Yeah,
He's gonna be a lawyer.
listen to
Don't worry,
anything on
Quick.
my stream.
Yeah.
$5 from Audacity. Pisco is being disingenuous, pretending like he doesn't know how challenges are raised and met by the court.
When did I do that? I acknowledge that there's court litigation going on right now, but that's not just because there's litigation. There's always going to be litigation on everything.
I think it's because they're saying, well, because the argument is if there is a challenge at all, therefore it is not a constitutional crisis because there's some challenge, and therefore if you think there's a crisis and also a challenge, you're somehow holding to contradictory opinions, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, whenever there's something bad, people are going to run to the courts. Just saying that there's a court challenge is literally brainless. And you're essentially saying no event can be a constitutional crisis because you could conceivably go to the court about it. I guess you could have, in the Civil War, you could have gone to the court to make it so that the secession is illegal. In fact, there have been arguments about nullification, that kind of stuff in the Supreme Court. So I guess it's not a crisis.
Wait, can you reread that? What he said?
It's only $5.
Pisco doesn't know about judicial process.
How you bring challenges?
Disingenuous, pretending like he doesn't know how challenges are raised and met by the court.
Yeah, well, I think he's referring more to saying like the way that you challenge it. So if you wanted to challenge the 14th Amendment, the court, Trump would say, I think these two groups are outside of chat. So he's not saying like I'm defying and I want you to overrule it. He's saying I think ours are different. And the thing is, by passing that law, you're creating a challenge. That's how you would go. Now the court goes, no, it isn't. You're trying to distinguish it.
But it's not just positive, Zetsu. So Zetsu, if I were the president, I went to court and I was like, it's my position that Dred Scott is still good law and black people are not citizens and cannot be citizens? Do you think that
No, but
if I did that, this is an extreme example. No, I know
No, that
it's an
wouldn't,
extreme example. You would say that this is bad faith, anti-constitutional, and it's a crisis to the extent that we are fearful of what it portends for the future. And I think that that's completely true, or at least, at the very least, if it's not a crisis because you trust the
would
court.
you say that? I don't think you would say
If
that,
they
right? If the court,
I don't know if
I
I
wouldn't say it'd be a
hyperbolic, but-
crisis. No.
Yeah, I just say that.
Would it be bad faith? Would you agree it's bad faith at the very
Yes,
minimum?
Because,
to go,
no, because
okay.
That's not even bad faith.
Depends who was elected, right? Like
You're
Nick
saying
Fuentes
that
was
I'm
elected.
just
It
gonna
could be
define
bad
Jesus
faith.
fucking
wait,
Christ.
wait,
So is it your position that it would not be bad faith to say that Dred Scott is still good law, to go to the court and raise that? Oh my God.
Wait. Let me respond. Okay, you can't just let that hang, please.
You let it hang.
No, I didn't. I was like gonna answer.
You did let it hang.
I was gonna answer.
You had to think
I was
about it a
gonna
little too long, buddy. But go
Well,
ahead.
answer because I got more.
I'm
super
trying.
chats.
I'm trying.
Sorry about that.
Okay, you're all good, brother. You're all good. So I guess it depends. Like if we're talking about good faith from the actor themselves, like if Nick Fuentes was elected president, does he actually believe this? Could he like credibly bring this if someone's like delusional enough? Yeah, you could have like a good faith there. I think any lawyer trying to bring the argument that black people aren't people, like I would be 99.999% sure that they're acting in bad faith or they have some kind of psychosis, right?
Wait, what do you mean? If Nick Fuentes believes it and he gets a law degree and then introduces it, now it's good faith, right? So it's okay.
Well, no. If he gets a law degree, then he would know. Then by going through law school, he would know that's like a not.
You think that we can de-radicalize Nick Fuentes by putting him through law school?
No. Wait. I'm not saying that we can de-radicalize Nick Fuentes by putting him through law school.
You just said if he went through law school, he would now not think that black people aren't people.
What I'm saying is that
be aware of the precedent.
Yes, thank you. What I'm saying is that
Fuentes is
you can
aware
only
of the
bring.
precedent right now.
I don't know if he is. I don't know. I
He
don't
doesn't
know
about the history. Of the
I don't know Nick Fuentes' legal background. Okay, I don't.
He
what I'm
threatened
saying,
to firebomb my house or pipe bomb my house once.
That's
We were
fucked.
on a
That's
show,
fucked.
and
Yeah,
he
that's
said he was gonna
horribly
send a pipe
fucked up.
bomb my house. So it was fun.
That's horribly
Okay.
fucked up. Wait. Can I please? So I don't know the legal background of Nick Fuentes. What I'm saying is that if you go through law school, if you have any kind of knowledge on like the legal history of the United States, I don't think you can, in good faith, make the argument that like black people aren't people. Okay, now.
But you can make the
citizens.
good faith argument that illegal immigrants are a
The
foreign
14th
invader.
Amendment doesn't apply. Yes, you can make that good faith argument. I think so.
You distinction. They're not.
And by the way, even if somebody makes a bad faith argument about like black people not being people, if the Supreme Court orders like a hold, the courts order a hold on it and then review it and then decide against it, no constitutional crisis has happened because the Supreme Court functions exactly as it
is trying to like subvert the Constitution and take away citizenship from black people just because someone stopped him. It's not a crisis. That's just the standard.
The part of the definition of the crisis is that there's no way of solving it. And the Supreme Court, literally, their ability is to solve it. Now, if there's not enough time for the Supreme Court to solve it, let's say a situation like the Civil War, I don't know, where they probably I don't know if they directly defied the Supreme Court order there, but there certainly wasn't enough time to have the Supreme Court rule on that. But if like they all started like grabbing guns and like right away, then yeah, you can say that like that's a constitutional crisis because the court hasn't had enough time. But if the court freezes the order so there is enough time for the Supreme Court to hear it, then no, there's no crisis because there is a specific constitutional process for dealing with disagreements, and that's what's happening.
We got
super chats.
Yeah, we got a lot of super chats to go, and we can't let's save the big arguments for the $50 super chats, and let's keep the $5 super chats to maybe a comment.
Sorry about that, Wick.
What if it's a bad $50 super chat?
$5 from Audacity. Ask Pisco if he believes in presidential veto power.
Yes, I do.
There.
Whoa.
That's all it needed, right? We don't need more. Okay, $5 from Audacity. Pisco, again, being disingenuous. If Congress disagrees, they have to provide sufficient reasoning and vote, again, on releasing those funds.
Fuck no.
No,
See,
they
that's the change in
Even
operation.
under impoundment, they don't.
$5 from Audacity. If they fail to provide sufficient reasoning and the president holds it again, the challenge would be brought to court.
That's not right.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. But thanks for the $5, Audacity. I have approved release of all your funds to my bank account. Okay, $2 from Non-Fun. Worse than being bad faith, Lactoid is Canadian.
Not Canadian. It's a lie.
You're not?
No way.
It's a weird ongoing
Wait,
meme.
can we do a Lactoid birtherism? Wait, why are you? Why do they think you're Canadian?
Because I'm.
They keep saying.
Believe it or not, I'm actually very nice on panels unless people throw shade at me first.
Say about.
You threw the first stone at me going personal.
No, your
Yeah,
intro.
100%.
In your intro, you were talking shit.
I'm saying these
That's
guys are going to
why.
defend it.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, we can go back. I
definitely-
remember
Split
changing
really.
my intro because of your intro.
I throw the
we're
first
going
stone
nuts.
against Lactoid. I'll take that. I'll take that L. But
$5
Lactoid. Wait,
for-
no, wait. Lactoid needs to say the word about. Say about.
About.
Okay. I don't think he's Canadian,
Okay.
guys.
He tried.
Look, $5 from Fates to the Shadow Realm with all of them. I was tempted. $2 from Solomon Argus. Conservatives equals good. Progressives equal bad.
Whoa.
Thank you for $2. $2 from Old
Great.
School. Your panelists are trying to give you an aneurysm. True. $5 from Ben
True.
Riley. If you really want to know how Lactoid feels about Precedent, ask him about if he thinks the Civil Rights Act was a good idea.
I think Article 2 is
That's not
unconstitutional.
about precedent.
Yeah.
You
I
think
think,
it's unconstitutional?
I think it violates freedom of the specific, like the one mandating private association. I think that violates the First Amendment's freedom of association.
So Title VII is a constitutional crisis.
Wait.
It's
First of all,
unconstitutional. Is there a way to solve it?
So it's a
I don't
constitutional
know.
crisis.
It could be, yeah.
There's
it could
a
be an
way to
unconstitutional
solve it
crisis.
and it doesn't get solved. Is it not a constitutional
Title
crisis?
Title VII for you guys know is like employment discrimination law. Lactoid says that that's more of a constitutional crisis than the president trying to usurp legislative authority.
Or Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
There are exceptions from personal. Never. All right, it's not working.
First Amendment matters, Pisco. Okay, freedom of association matters.
I know. That,
$2 from another new account. If Biden did this, quote unquote, he did. Thank you for the $2.
When you guys have not provided OSHA stuff is totally
Yeah,
He
He
tried to
no
talk
shit.
about the deferment at the beginning, right? About the wall, isn't that right? Zetsui?
deferment of
it's
the
a-
wall funds.
yeah. So no, it's not. Do you want to keep doing super chats? We can do it after, or do you want?
No, wait. Let's
Yeah,
address.
just super
This
chat.
is a specific
You mean the
question.
deferment of the funds that were initially reappropriated from the Defense Department?
So Congress allocated them. The reason why he even deferred them was to say that there was a bunch of surveys and stuff that were waived. That he goes, you know what? I'm not going to waive them. I want to do them. And then on top of that, he said he wanted to do consulting things. And so the question is, I still think that within his rights, so I don't think it's a crisis.
Yeah, if he's allowed to
But
waive.
I do think it's obvious that he was doing it just to delay the wall. The idea goes on day one, he just had a thought that occurred to him. But again, I think it's within his power. Like he made the argument, and I think that it'd be hard to like challenge it in court. So
Do you
yeah,
know how
he
many
needs to get
days he
away with
deferred
it.
it? Do you know how many days he deferred it?
I have
for?
no idea. I think it went for a while, but I didn't check how long it went.
No, but if he has the substantive ability to waive permits and stuff like that Congress envisioned
did
for,
it.
that's completely that's
No,
completely different.
Congress
But no,
waived
but no,
them
they were
already.
already
He
waived.
them. He
Well,
said,
well, then I
want
don't-
to unwaive all of them to do all the surveys
Against
Also, I wanna
Congress
do
as
these
well.
stuff.
I'll have to look at the.
And stop
I'll have
spending
to look
money,
at the
but-
facts. I'll have to look at the facts of that alleged deferment. But just to be clear, it's not enough, in my opinion, for something to be an unconstitutional, illegal deferment for it to be a constitutional crisis. What we talked
Yeah.
about at the beginning, it has to be existential, affecting the structure of the Constitution. And so you can point to other deferments, maybe that are even illegal. Maybe I'll even agree with you. But I'm not going to say that just because there is one, that it's a constitutional crisis.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I agree with that. So let me just kind of ask one question, like on that specific point. If the president has the ability to do something, but there's also like a requirement, hey, I got to let you know exactly what I'm doing, and he does the thing that he otherwise could do, but let's say he just skips the part where he lets him know what he's doing. Would you say that rises to the level of a constitutional crisis?
If he's allowed to do what he's going to do and he just fails to follow through with notice, depending on his state of mind, I would say if I think good faith in him, then I would say, and like generally not trying to centralize authority, I'd be like, no, it's not a constitutional crisis. But here, the violations of notice provisions, the violations of time dates, those are all deliberate. He's trying to say that any intrusion by the legislative branch into executive affairs is de facto unconstitutional. And so he's violating them, just like the IGs, when he fired all the IGs, just like when he fired the NLRB nominees, members, when he fired people on the EEOC commission. So, and they're not going through with the notice and substantive requirement checks and all those kinds of notices to Congress provisions. It's not done just because they forgot. It's done because there's a substantive challenge to Congress's authority to put any limit on what the president is allowed to do. That's what is happening.
See, and the reason I disagree with that is I think that it would be so easy for them just to do that if they even if they intended on this whole project, because this is getting challenged by legal groups anyway, right? This is going to go to the Supreme Court, even if we roll with the assumption that this is to challenge whether or not the president has the unilateral right to impound funds, like regardless of the Impoundment Act of the 70s. Then he could be doing that regardless, right? The idea that, he could do this power, he could do it, he just needs to let Congress know, hey, I'm doing it. And like the idea that like him failing to like let Congress know.
That was an assumption of your question, Lactoid. That was an assumption of your question. I do not accept that the kind of broad scale pause here is necessarily in line with the Impoundment Act. And I think you can think about that in the same kind of major questions doctrine that was applied to the student loan things that Biden did. What they said was, yeah, you can do this kind of targeted relief. They didn't actually say that, but that's been approved over time. These kinds of targeted relief. But they're saying if Congress wanted broad sweeping power to be handed to the president to forgive student loans in this broad way that affects everything, they would have more clearly stated.
I'm not saying that you said this. I'm not saying that you said this. I'm putting forward my position, which my position is, I think that a president who does something, and like they could do it, but the only thing that they missed out on doing was telling Congress, hey, I'm going to do this. But they otherwise could do it perfectly fine. I don't think this rises to the constitutional crisis.
Hold on. Not super chats, but I do want to keep everyone's time in mind. I want to respect your time. And I have one more question before we get to closings and things that I do want to discuss. And this is to Lactoid and Zetsui's side first. Regardless or not, whether you think that this is currently a crisis, right, that we are currently in it, do you not think that it is reasonable for citizens who are watching this go down, watching some of this, some would call unprecedented behavior by people like Elon Musk, by people like President Trump, and have concerns that we are entering into one in the future? Like you mentioned that at the beginning, Lactoid specifically, you mentioned that Pisco was being hyperbolic and alarmist in his language. Do you not think that some of these different executive orders, firings, challenges, memos, freezings are at least not cause for some alarm?
Hold on. This was specifically to Pisco because of his intro. If you have somebody come in and say, yeah, I mean, overall, it's you know, there's some concerns I have. Here's where he's right. Here's where I think he might be making mistakes. I'm interested to see how this develops. Like if that was the position coming in, obviously I think this position is reasonable. I think this position is reasonable for any kind of president or politician trying to enact shit. Because like whenever this shit's going through, am I concerned personally? I mean, I think the question was, is somebody reasonable to be concerned?
I guess that's true, but I'm asking, I guess.
Sure.
Well, the question are, do you not have concerns?
Do I not have concerns? I mean, I think that what they're trying to do, what they're trying to do, first of all, I agree with what they're trying to do, just to be clear, because government is bloated, government is a problem. So in that sense, I'm not concerned. I'm not really concerned as to, I guess, the peripherals of what's going on in terms of the any kind of threat to the Supreme Court or the separation of powers, because I think that historically, at least within my lifetime, the Supreme Court or the Republican Party, and specifically Donald Trump, has selected justices and that have a functioning theory of law, that there's a respect for the Supreme Court, there's a respect for the balance of powers that exists within our government. So I'm not concerned that this is going to turn into some kind of major crisis. I can't rule it out. There's always the potential for. Is there any? I always have some concerns whenever the government does anything. But I'm assuming. But I know you're not going to like that answer. So that's why I'm assuming you're asking. Do I have concerns beyond the normal government
allegations of authoritarian overreach and centralization of authority, are those at all concerning to you?
No, I don't, because DOGE has a specified expiration date. What they're trying to do is specifically reduce the size of government, to reduce waste. They're posting the evidence. They're posting what they're doing. There's oversight by Congress. There's oversight by the president. They are, in my mind, the intention to me seems very clear that they're attempting to shrink the bloat and waste that exists within the United States government. So, no, I don't have that many concerns. Now, is there always in the back of my mind, well, maybe this is like a ploy? This is always the case, okay? But beyond that, no, I have more faith in Donald Trump than Biden, okay? And I have more faith in Biden and Donald Trump than George W. Bush, no doubt.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Well, we can go to closing.
Yeah.
I was going to answer, but...
No, sorry, Zetsu. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. So
wow.
It's okay. No, I think if you're a Democrat, I think there should be massive concerns right now in terms of execution. That's saying that I think the freezes, I agree with the judge, where it goes, there's no rational basis for why you had to freeze. Everything you're suggesting you want to do, freeze has nothing to do with that. And so, especially if you're a Democrat and you don't trust Trump, which I assume you don't,
then you should, and I actually don't mind the hyperbolic language either. I think what Democrats need to do is be like, you need to basically call out everything and kind of make it fiery enough, because you need, the only way you win is by galvanizing your base. And so if you're just like, you know what, I have some concerns with how he's doing, and I really don't like it, even like that's not going to get anyone to go out to vote. So in terms of execution, I think that Democrats in particular should be very concerned, because I suspect even if they go, oh, we're cutting policies that are inefficient, my guess is you're not going to like those things that he's cutting, or you're going to disagree with even the effect of it. It's like saying there might be a good policy, but if you try and have a 5-year-old implement it, it's not going to work. And so, but in terms of the idea of saying, do we want to review reportings of different agencies and all those things? I think those things are good to do, and I'd be interested to read them. But again, if you don't trust anyone currently in government, you're not going to like their review. So like in that sense, you should be very concerned.
Okay. With that, it has been a very robust discussion, very fiery discussion. I've enjoyed it. Gang, if you've enjoyed the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're following me on YouTube. If you're on Twitch or you're on Kick, hit the follow button. Really helps. Feel free to send me super chats, subs, all that. But I want to give each of these individuals a chance to have some closing thoughts and tell people where they can be found. So if you've liked what they said or doesn't like what they say, you can follow them at their various respective things. I have links to their socials in the YouTube description, so check that out. But we're just going to go in kind of the reverse order we did last time, and we'll give Pisco the last word. Lactoid, start us off, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, some of you may know, before this election, I hesitantly endorsed Donald Trump. And this was because of my analysis of his history, and kind of what was at stake at the 2024 election. Right before his inauguration, there was a couple things that made me super concerned. I really didn't like the Trump coin. I thought that was really shitty. And there's a couple other things that he did really upsetting. But since he's come into office, I think that he's been, in some ways, not good, right? And I've already called those out. The Gaza idea is bad, to put it mildly. It's a very bad idea. God, I hope that's just some weird negotiating tactic, because Jesus Christ, okay? But then on the other hand, there's been a lot of things that they've been doing that I am incredibly satisfied with. And he's doing more that I'm satisfied with than I anticipated. We got great cabinet picks coming through. I'm looking forward to what comes next. I think here, sure, we'll wait and see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe after 90 days, Trump is going to look in the camera and say, "I am your God now." If that happens, fuck. If that happens, I will go to you, Pisco. I will apologize for my ignorance and my lack of foresight. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a bunch of cuts, you're going to see some kind of compromise, and then you're going to see back to business as usual, but just a little bit better. If you like what I had to say today, you can find me at Lactoid TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. One last thing. I know things got heated. Yeah, I don't hold anything against you guys. No grudges. I'm not a big grudge guy. You guys might hold grudges against me. I don't know, but I'm not holding grudges against you guys. So everything is refreshed. Going forward, I won't be mean unless you guys are mean to me again. So go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for being here. Check him out, gang. Soy Pill. What you got?
Yeah. I didn't get to talk as much, and like we all pointed out, I'm not as experienced, and that's fine. I did shout, but you know what? It's all in good fun. No hard feelings. I agree. What's happening right now? Power is being consolidated in the executive branch, and this is very much planned out and explicitly stated by the people in power right now. J.D. Vance has said, we want to defy court orders. You can look in Project 2025 and the people that they are appointing who are architects of Project 2025 and putting into power, and what they say things like, the president should, quote, this is from Project 25, page 28, the president should choose a White House counsel who is well-versed in the Constitution, administrative, and regulatory law, and the inner workings of Congress and the political process. Instead of choosing a specialist, the president should hire a counsel with extensive experience with a wide range of complex legal subjects. But moreover, while a candidate with elite credentials might seem ideal, the best one will be above all loyal to the president. And then at the end of that sentence, and the Constitution. And there's a reason they put loyal to the president first. It's because they don't give a shit about the Constitution. They care about Trump being able to enact his agenda and putting those people in power. Lactoid thinks that Roe v. Wade and the civil rights are more likely a crisis. I think that speaks for itself, and you can all make your decisions based on that. He thinks that the word waste and fraud are these magical words where as soon as you say them, suddenly it's okay to cut whatever the fuck you you want. It's not deleting anymore because the whole department is a waste. And I guess if we're in some crazy world where, like, if a robber breaks into your house, waves his gun around, and, you know, threatens to murder you, as long as he hasn't riddled you with 29 9mm bullets, it's not a crisis, because maybe the police are going to come in and stop you. So, you know, that exists, so maybe it's not a crisis now. I think that the bad faith is not somehow contingent on the fact that only if Trump wrote it in his little secret note diary that somehow we can know his true intention, that it's bad faith. I think you can look at the arguments being made. They're contradictory. They go against precedent. They are ridiculous. They are bad faith. I'm someone who's not an alarmist. I don't think that, you know, the first administration was as bad as a lot of the resist libs were saying. I did not have the Donald syndrome or TDS as many of the people around me in the Bay Area did. And you know what? It turns out they were all right. They just needed a second try. I think what's happening now is insane. If you look at what's happening in the past 2 weeks, it is insane. And don't listen to me. Don't listen to Lactoid. Don't listen to anyone on this panel. Listen to the judges, the representatives, and the people that are raising the alarms and saying, this is unprecedented. This is fucking scary. This is consolidating power in a completely unjust, insane way that we've never seen before. And this might not come back where he can give this power back. So please, for the love of God, be scared right now. It is not good.
Okay. Thank you for being here. You can find his channel in the YouTube description. Click on that link, and you can see what he has to say. Zetsui.
Yeah, I guess start off with just. I guess I probably should apologize that, like, I didn't I genuinely wasn't mentioning some of those cases. I had assumed I probably should have posted them in the group chat that I was even looking at them. I wasn't, and I realized especially after Pisco, it kind of snapped at me. It was like, you can't just accept my interpretation of it. If you haven't read it, you have, like, there's no reason for you to accept that. So, and same thing with the bills. That, like, if I'm trying to provide them to you, but if I can't just ask you to accept if you're not certain, and so that was kind of rude of me. But overall, I'd say that a lot of these things that people are saying consolidating power or that are unprecedented, we do have a lot of legislative history on a lot of things. A lot of things have gone severely wrong in this country that don't really constitute constitutional crises. And I don't think this one's necessarily any worse than other situations we've been in, or ones that we wouldn't consider that. Like I said, say Nixon's was far more severe than this. But overall, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be losing your shit. Especially if you're a Democrat, you should not be letting up on Trump at all. That especially in terms of the things that are insane, I'd be saying the things like the Greenland, the Panama Canal, the tariffs, these things they're not constitutional crises, but those things, I'm like, how are you not? I'm like, that's scaring the shit out of me. And it's like, but then when it comes down to this, and I'm reading the bills and I'm reading how, like, grants are given and how they're rescinded, I'm going, okay, procedurally, it doesn't appear like this is a big issue. And that's kind of where I was coming from. So it doesn't mean that I don't think that, like, I'm not trying to get anyone to tone the heat down. It's more of just saying, I feel like there's sharper knives to wield, and I feel like you guys are wielding dull ones. I'd rather you pull out the sharper ones, I guess. But yeah, I don't have a channel or anything. I'm not a content creator, so.
Wick exclusive. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. Yeah, thanks. And last but certainly not least, Pisco. Close us out.
Yeah, that's who really kind of threw me at the end there. I had a whole thing sort of stewing in my head, and he said that the Watergate situation and the Saturday Night Massacre and what happened with Nixon is way worse of a constitutional crisis. I don't even know, based on the immunity decision of the Supreme Court, how Nixon isn't completely vindicated and everything he did was completely correct and not a problem at all. Like, he was being accused of obstructing justice by, like, firing a bunch of prosecutors, which apparently he has the complete authority to do, regardless of whether his intent is to obstruct a particular criminal investigation. And so I don't know how, based on the logic of complete deferring of the courts, that you can even say that Nixon did anything completely wrong. Perhaps you agree, as I do, that the centralization of executive authority under Nixon was incredibly alarming. What you had there was the president immunizing himself from criminal review and immunizing himself from being checked on within his branch and external to his branch by claiming, for example, that he had a privilege over certain documents and tapes and things, and that he had, when the president does it, it is legal. But that's the kind of tenor that I've been hearing from a lot of, or I've been feeling certainly from a lot of what's going on here. Let's just stick to the facts of what's going on here. Both Zetsui, I believe, I think, no, this is confirmed. Zetsui and Lactoid both said that the Impoundment Act is being violated. Both of them acknowledge that certain types of indefinite, however you want to define indefinite, I would say with no permanent end date. That's how I always meant it. I never meant it as anything other than that. That would be unconstitutional or unlawful. Arbitrarily, we can talk about the specific continuum word exactly it's unconstitutional. And you can do that with any constitutional principle. It's completely fatuous to bring that up and be like, oh, because you can't say the precise date, but you know that it's the full fiscal year. But we know that he's not being complied with. And if anything is an usurpation of federal legislative authority. This must be. It cannot be the case that what was envisioned by the framers was that the president could just, take an entire year, not listen to Congress at all, not, execute any of their funding decisions, take a day off where they say, okay, now we're releasing this, and then pause it again. That cannot be the system that we're going through. But let's take a step even further back and examine it as the soy pill did, in I think a really nice way, of what's actually happening here. What is going on here? They're telegraphing that they do not want a single check on executive power. That's why they're firing the inspector generals. They're not complying with these procedures for a reason, because they want to put a thumb in the eye of Congress and in the courts. And they have this kind of about face about, Trump's recent decisions to try to evade judicial review, the rescinding of the memo. None of them are convincing. That he was just, the memo was so disruptive, but the policy itself wasn't. The memo is the policy. They said that the policy hasn't changed. They just rescinded the memo. And you're not going to accept this judge who's like very clearly on the record stating something, but you're willing to defer to the courts in other instances. And so there's a complete inconsistency here. And what's the point of all this? The point of all this is authoritarian government. That is what they want to do, because those are his tendencies. He's flatly saying it, that you're not going to defy this administration. Listen to their words. Dictator on day one in the start of the campaign, and listen to the authors of Project 2025, who are absolutely influencing this administration from day one. The executive orders mapped on from Project 2025, the personnel from Project 2025. And for us to have to sit here and listen and pretend that there is no connection between Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, and this administration is completely preposterous. The notion that the Civil Rights Act and Title VII, I'm finishing up, are more constitutional threats than this centralization of authority is laughable. And so, you have eyes, you have ears. This is concerning. You should be alarmed. You should be incredibly alarmed. And you should be watching the administration like a hawk to see what they're going to do next, because it's going to be fucked up.
Okay. Gang, you can follow him at the links in my YouTube description. Is there anything else you want to shout out other than your Twitch channel?
Oh, Pisco on Twitch and Pisco's Hour on YouTube now.
Pisco's Hour on YouTube. Gang, check that out. I'll probably add that to the description later. Send me a link to that, please, so I can get the thing right. I'll let you go in a second, gang, but I want to have a say a little bit, so just bear with me.
You can't help himself.
So, I know. So, please, ladies and gentlemen, right? We can look to see what Trump has said and what Trump is doing. Whether we call it a crisis or not doesn't matter to me. But what Trump wants to do is he wants to assert more power than the Constitution, I feel, gives him. He wants to be able to simply end the Department of Education without going through Congress. He wants to be able to fire anyone he wants at any time for any reason. He wants to be able to exercise vast amounts of authority. Do I think the Constitution will prevent him from doing so and the courts will prevent him from doing so? Sure. But that doesn't mean we let down our guard. I would disagree, though, that it's time to panic. Panic serves no one. Panic does no good. Do not fear. Fear is a mind killer. Figure out a way to stop him and do so. Okay, that's it. I'll be quick. I'll see you guys later. No stream tomorrow. Next stream's on Monday when we talk about Doge. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Later. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, everybody. Let's see if I can turn my thing back on here. No, it's frozen in a weird spot. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to reset this. Let's see. Webcam source. I'm going to reset this. Deactivate. Reactivate. Let's go. All right, guys. I'm going to take a quick break to the bathroom. I've been sitting here drinking for 2.5 hours. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. Don't leave. In fact, I'm going to leave my camera on so you know I'm coming back.
has returned.
How's it going, everybody? That was a lot of fun, very fucking annoying. Stonewalled to shit. I think I did pretty well considering I don't know jack shit about law, but I did some reading, you know. You want me to switch to the hat, Cody? Oh, give me a second here. Ugh. Fucking Cody, always with the hat. I should just know you're going to be here every time. All right, I'm going to go through Super Chats, then we'll do a little Q&A, because someone donated a fuck ton of money to me. Let me scroll down to... All right. Right here, the first Super Chat here from... Excuse me. Wirt, flex for a soy pill. $2. Do I give a flex for 2? I don't know about that one, guys. But here we go. $2. I went to the gym today. I got my pump on. Thank you very much. All right. $2 from Daring Ocelot. Thank you very much. Hello, Mr. The Soy. Hello, Daring Ocelot. $50. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much from generic channel name. I don't care about the Q&A. I'm just going to the gym. I just fuck with you. Well, hey, you made this happen, so I really appreciate that, guys. I am, like I said, at the precipice of being able to do this full time. I'm very excited, and I would be streaming a lot more and making a lot more videos if I switched to doing this full time. So any and all donations like this are super, super appreciated. Even just viewing it, like the fact that I have an audience, period. I'm living out my dream right now. This is awesome. You don't have to give me money. Don't worry about it. If you can spare it, that's awesome too. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Film Nerdy, I know you. 10 euros, gross European. It might not be Bitcoin, but it is Britcoin. Oh, that's pounds, excuse me. Not euros, as you sometimes say, as I say it, as I walk into that one right away. I should know. I was literally in Germany. I know what it looks like. I thought you were on top form in what was a very crowded space. Flex. Thank you very much, Film Nerdy. I tried my best. I think, obviously, the one downfall I had was that I used that precedent thing as an argument when it is important, and it just shouldn't be what the entire argument hinges on, and you tried to catch me out on that, which is fair, and then I elaborated. Legionary, hello, has chaptered $5. Wick did much better this time. Yeah, Wick was moderating very well that time, and I thought his closing was really good, even though he said it's not time to panic, which I completely disagree with. But, whatever, at least he has the right opinion, which is Trump is fucking insane. Opprobrious, $5. Stream is good. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I mean, I'll stick around for another 20, 30 minutes if you guys have questions, stuff to talk about. Just in general, for this whole thing, guys, honestly, I'm unironically very scared. I think 5-alarm fire is completely warranted right now. We are in a situation where the people in power right now have an insane amount of power. They're consolidating it. They're trying their best to test the limits of the courts, and they will go around them if they can, and they are ignoring court orders. So I think it's insane that the arguments, some of the arguments, they really did speak for themselves. It was like, hey, they're not, well, it was like, the court kind of pushed back on this, and they haven't done anything else, and it's only been 3 days to freeze all federal funding, so whatever. It's not like they're sending out emails to all these employees and telling them, you should all just quit your jobs. And by the way, this is all done under the illusion, the veil of something that I agree with, which is we should cut waste and fraud. But you can't just magic words say waste and fraud and then cut the entire DOE. If Congress determines that you can, sure, but it is insane that is just the magical words that solves everything. Really, really fucking crazy. Max Turner's Ego, hi. Did you see the Trump supporter that live tweeted during a police shootout? I did not. It's insane that our founding fathers let the president pick the people in the highest court of the land. Yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't like that. But the idea was they never envisioned them being so partisan. So when Trump gets 3 Supreme Court picks that are pretty dang loyal to him, I don't think that was envisioned, nor was it envisioned that he would get 3. But hey, you know what? I am not a constitutional originalist. I think the Constitution is very flawed. I think we probably should have rewritten it several times. And you know what? All the founding fathers were fucking slave owners and, all the other bullshit. It needs to change. It's a good framework, and it's good that there's checks and balances, but we can do a lot to change it, and we really haven't. And when's the last time we had an amendment? 1980s or something? It's been a while. Okay, I need more soy Pisco content. Yeah, Pisco's great. He did great. I loved. He was my sponge for all the legalese that I didn't necessarily know, and he he has the correct opinion, so that was awesome. Being alarmed and panicking are different things. Exactly right. So okay, panicking is one thing. Panicking means you're not going in the right direction. You have no clear decision on how you should fix things. I'm alarmed. I'm scared right now. Now, I can't change, immediately. I can call my congressman, and you guys should, if you can, call the congressman and say, hey, I'm alarmed that this random fucking tech billionaire is in charge of payments from the treasury. That's insane. And even if it was legal, which I don't know really that it is, like, this man has, contracts with the government. This man has debts to foreign countries. This man is not some guy who passed a top secret background. Well, maybe he did. I don't know if he has to for SpaceX, but this man has not gone through the proper channels to be having all this power, and it's fucking insane. And now all these like 20-year-old kids are doing it, and they just kind of waved them into this spot. This is fucking crazy. And I don't use that lightly. Like I said, like 2016 to 2020, I was the anti-Trump alarmist. I thought people were being way too crazy. They think he's going to nuke the world. Everything's going to come down. And at the end of the 4 years, things were bad, don't get me wrong, but like they weren't as bad as everyone was saying. They really weren't. Now they are. Now they're happening in a way that I think is genuinely crazy, and every day it's getting worse, and it's only been 2 weeks. And like I'm finally apologizing to every resist lib, every Hillary Clinton voter, because you were right. Every single thing you said was right. It just took them an extra term to do it. Insanely scary. What else we got here? I'm prepping to flee to Australia. Good luck. A lot of spiders there. Is there any reason people are allowed to talk over one another? It makes for better content. I know Wick allows some amount of it because he knows, like, I mean, I think the debate I was in a couple weeks ago with Base and or Zetsui, as he goes by, was one of the most lucrative for him because everyone was talking over and shouting, but it was the least productive. So he's got to balance it. But I understand. And don't tell anyone I said this, guys, even though this is live and hundreds of people are watching. I'm thinking about starting a debate show with some former Kick or Keep people. And so maybe that'll go somewhere, but look out for that in the next month or so. I want to try to get something going. So this is not, by the way, to like undermine Wick by any means or like say, oh, his show's not good enough. I just had a really fun idea, and I think there's a lack of a specific kind of debate panel that I want to try to introduce. So we'll see if that goes through. What do you think that conservatives mean by foreign invader? Yes, exactly, Gamma Raygun. It is like this idea that it's like, look at all these military-aged males coming in, as if somehow that these these countries are sending their the Guatemalan military-aged males in to what, attack us, like to subvert us. Like, it's insane. It's obviously most of these people. Don't get me wrong. Some of them do commit crime. There are crimes that happen from illegal immigrants. But most of these people are coming in to work and make a better life for themselves. And whether or not you agree with that is a completely different story to, oh, this is a foreign invasion by a foreign country. And the whole reason they have that provision against citizenship is so that when soldiers are invading America and they get knocked up and have a kid, that kid is not a citizen of America. Or if you are a foreign agent of, I don't know, Xi Jinping or something, and you're acting on his behalf in the country as like an ambassador, and you have a kid, you don't suddenly have an American kid, although even that one might be granted citizenship. It's not so that people that come in here and have kids and then they're here for 10 years, like, oh, well, actually, you're a foreign invader. It's insane. It's so stupid. Did you blend in with your background on purpose? A little bit. I do red when it's debates. Let's see what we got here. Sorry, the chat is being really laggy here. Oh, wait, this is an anti-slavery channel. Yeah, sorry, Cody. We're anti-slavery here. Guys, by the way, if I don't see your question, and it's because I scrolled too far, feel free to spam it. It's fine. Would a military coup be preferable to Trump? I don't know about that. I don't know. I think there are potentially ways we can stop this without a military coup. But hey, you never know what we might need. I would agree with everything in U.S. law, but interpreting the Constitution should be literal. It's hard because what is literal, right? People argue over the Second Amendment and what like a well-regulated militia even means, right? So it's kind of hard to say that outright. If you want to change the law, change the law. Don't change who interprets the law. I agree with that. Amend the Constitution, yeah. Yo, my brother lives down under. I feel the Trump 2016 is a cabinet competency difference. I agree with that. It's they really knew what they were doing this time, and I think last time they were kind of fumbling it. Generic channel name. Oh, you're still here. Thank you again for the donation. If people wrote down what's going on verbatim and changed the names, they say it's too unrealistic. Unironically, I mean, yeah, it's absurd, but it's happening. So, oh god, we need your voice. Well, you're getting it right now. My girlfriend told me to watch you. Is she goated? Yes, she's goated. Marry her right now. I personally think what might be a good idea, like a Q&A kind of live stream with your viewers. They could call in. I'm scared. I see spin the hat. I'll spin the hat, but I'm scared of doing call-ins because, how do you screen those people? What if they just come on your stream, scream a slur? There's no delay, and then your whole thing just gets taken down. I'm always worried about call-ins. I guess there'd have to be some sort of vetting process, or I'd talk to them first. But call-ins scare me. especially on a live stream. Maybe if I pre-recorded it. But yeah, off topic, what's your lifting routine? I will do a video when I cut and I feel good about my body, maybe in like the summertime. I'll do something, I've talked about this before, but a workout routine. It's going to be like an 8-minute video. It's all I do. It's like 2 workouts every other day, and it works really well for me. And people are going to come attack it. They're going to be like, oh, you're doing this form wrong, or oh, this guy totally left out this exercise. And it's like, look, this isn't like a catch-all. This is how you be perfect. It's this works for me. I've been doing this for almost a decade, and it's like puts you above like 95% of the population, and that's really all you need. But if you want to do the perfecting bodybuilder thing, then you can do that too. I have not watched More Perfect Union, Ivan. I will try to. You guys give me so many good suggestions, and I have not enough time because I haven't quit my job yet. I did this on the JJ Discord, and he increased a lot of subs. Well, Max, maybe DM me and talk to me about how you screen to people, because that's a little scary. If you do a debate show, if you know a very good female content creator, I would try and get one involved. Yeah, I have someone who would be reaching out to people, but feel free to like put suggestions. Thoughts on the 50-51 protests? I don't know anything about that. People in the U.S. need to be more active citizens. Yeah, and I need to too. I might have a potential politician on, but I don't know if he's actually going to do anything. Militia, I hardly know her. Get out of here. The Constitution is a good framework, but needs to be reworked. I agree. 50-51 protests would have done more if they didn't have it on a weekday. Oh no. Debates are fun. I feel like they never change anyone's mind. Oh yeah, no, this would be probably a fun monetary thing. It would be a pay-to-win system too. I would have it so the super chats can make you silence people. I think that would be fun. I didn't notice, but Soy doubled his sub counts from like a month ago. Yeah, the Matt Walsh video, thank you guys so much for spreading that. It popped the fuck off, and even though they demonetized me and took it down for the first 3 hours and then demonetized it for a whole week because of copyright, I'm still making good money off of it. So thank you all for checking that out. I worked really hard on that one, and I have to get that new one out now, the inauguration one, which I'm going to be combining with a kind of discussion on the current events of things, kind of what we covered today, but just talking about how this is not a good moment and I'm very scared. Have I ever seen the Majority Report? I have called in before, and I love them very much. Although sometimes I think they can get stuff wrong. Sam Cedar is my as a Pokemon Jew, I want to evolve into the higher evolution Jewish that he is. But yeah, I didn't know YouTube started putting ads in the middle of lives. Yeah, sorry. I mean, if I do this as a full-time career, you guys have to watch ads. But I got a sponsor potentially, and I'll make the ads fun if they're in the video. You should wear the Make America Healthy Again cap with the C19 shirt combo. I might do that. I have the hat still. I don't have the shirt. I didn't ask that one for it. More Perfect Union is run by a Bernie staffer. That could be good, although Brianna Joy Gray is a former Bernie staffer, and I don't like her. How does Wick screen? I think he gives them a call and talks to them, but he has had to censor people off, and he's been demonetized because they shout slurs. Why should it matter if a coup is illegal or not? Yeah, it doesn't matter. The outcome matters. That lawyer was a moron. Unfortunately, he's not a moron. I think he's just really bad faith. Should I DM you on Discord, Max? February 5th, there were protests at every state capital, and as you showcased, the media refused to publish it was happening. Yeah, I didn't even hear about that. I've never met a good lawyer. My dad's a good lawyer. If he's watching, hi Dad, I love you. If you aren't scared, you're not paying attention. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Sam is the GOAT. Sam can majority. I would guzzle Sam's buckets. I got him to say that in a DM out loud. I gotta go find it. I have the date, but it's not that important. Sorry to talk shop, but I want to do online content. What's your mic? As it sounds great. No, it's not the mic. It's me. It's all me. No, this is a Rode. Sure. I don't know. Let me look this up for you because people will probably ask. Rode shirt mic. I think it is a SM7B. That's the one. So if you like this, the Blue Yeti people always suggest, that was my first one. That works pretty well too. You just have to fuck with the settings. You'll be good. OMG soy. Sure. Do I see Ryan Beard's Destiny video? I saw it. I didn't watch it. I saw of it, but I just don't really care about the Destiny drama. I don't get it. I don't get why everyone's surprised. He did shitty stuff, don't get me wrong. But I've been hearing for years that he cheats on people, that he's a sociopath, that he manipulates these poor women, and then it comes out and it's oh yeah, he did that, but one more step. Yeah, I know, right? It seemed pretty unsurprising to me. I don't know why anyone's surprised. Yeah. YouTube Premium for the win. I haven't seen an ad since 2017. I also have YouTube Premium, and I kind of like it. I hate the shill for them. They should sponsor me, though. Do you think Trump could overstep his power too far? He already has, and be impeached by a majority of Congress? No, I don't think the impeachment will matter. People don't give a shit. Like, people just don't fucking care. Like, he got impeached twice. Do you even remember what they were for? It was like, what, Ukraine and the election interference of January 6th? And, like, no one gives a shit, right? Like, Senate's never going to convict. It doesn't matter. You can impeach him 100 million times. They'll probably do it at least once. I mean, he's going to go farther than he did last time. So, of course, they're going to introduce it, but will it do anything? Absolutely not. Yeah, you can get away with the cheaper lasagna. Okay, I will look out for your request, Max. The FAA during the debate. I didn't bring it up because I just didn't think it was as important. Do you think that the incompetence of Trump's liberal fascism will lead to a second rise of American progressivism? I hope so. But I don't think he's being very incompetent right now. That's what's kind of shitty. Like, he's getting done what he said he's going to do. I think the organizers got a bit too obsessed with the whole 2-5-25 thing. Yeah. That sounds like if your entire protest is about a date, what does it mean? Thoughts on Pierre Poilievre? Is he the new Prime Minister of Canada? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about Canada. I did watch the Iceberg video from JJ on Canada, and it was very informative, and I learned some stuff about their political process and how it works, but I'm not, I'm still not well versed, and I'm a loser to use it kind of guy, right? So I've already forgotten everything. So thank you, Top Hat Gaming, $10. Who would you have voted for in 1912? Well, let me look up who the fuck was 1912 presidential election. I don't know. I would have voted for, was it Woodrow Wilson or Teddy Roosevelt? Or wait, or Taft or Eugene Debs? Wait, was it two? Was it four parties? Taft. He's the best president. He's the largest. The largest one's the best. I would have voted for Taft. Trump is trying to lead us in the golden path. Yeah, I didn't like him Wick quoting Dune. I don't know why. I was like, no, don't say Dune. Oh, you can't be scared because being scared is bad. Like, no, it's be scared. Just do something about it. Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, we called him Pesky Paul. He's the desert mouse. That means the desert mouse. Lisan al-Gaib he is. And he's taking the glorious spice. We love spice. What do we got here? How come no one talks about Trump's pump and dump? I can't believe Lactoid came on and said, wow, the Trump coin thing is very concerning. I can't believe he rug pulled. Anyway, everything else he does is good faith. It's like, buddy, he just stole like $1 billion from his entire constituency, and you just don't think that has any bearing on fucking anything? Like, maybe he is stupid. I don't know. I don't think he's stupid, but I like yelling at him. That was fun. Should we give Elon the Crassus treatment? I have no idea what that means. What are your thoughts on Luigi? I have a whole video you can go check out, but essentially I think that we shouldn't be doing anything illegal to enact change unless it was the only thing that we could do. So I think there's a lot of things we could do that will get us closer to universal healthcare. Look how close we were to getting Bernie. It can happen, guys. We don't need to be Luigi's. Never seen Dune, but that's a Baron Harkonnen. Yeah, that's there's some TikTok I saw where he does that. I'm the great worm. I'm Baron Harkonnen. My nephew, he's not so good. No hair. Political figure gets his cronies to invade the Capitol building, gets arrested, gets into power, and now is starting a coup. Who does that remind you of? Yeah, I didn't bring up January 6th. I didn't bring up the immunity clause or the ruling by the Supreme Court, which I think are pretty big fucking deals about constitutional crises. But like, I know those have been litigated into the dirt, and I just didn't want to cover them. There's a lot of more recent stuff. So, do you think Trump will invade Canada? No, but he could. That's a good impression. I do like Garner Streamer's voice a lot too. I don't know who Gamer Streamers is. You should have started yelling at him in a Trump accent. I didn't want to get too performative, although we did kind of start screaming at each other. But you cannot vote this away. I mean, you could. I think we can. It's possible. I think we can vote this away. I just don't know if it will happen. And that's why it's still a constitutional crisis, because it's like, hey, you're testing these powers. You are consolidating this power. You are eliminating these checks and balances. Like, this is still bad. Just because we might figure out a way through this, and I think there's a possibility that we might, does not mean that it is somehow not a crisis. It's fucking insane. Sorry, you can ask as many questions as you want. Sorry to ask another question, but could Trump possibly pack the courts to get his policies such as birthday system through? It might have already happened. I mean, I don't know if the Supreme Court would do this, but it's possible that if this does go to the Supreme Court somehow, and I mean, it's 6-3, and they're not necessarily Trump loyalists, but like, it's pretty dang close. I don't know. They could. I'm hoping it doesn't get that far, and I know a lot of people who are going to be affected by that, and I'm really, genuinely, really worried for them. So, Soypo, why are you so antsy? I don't know. Maybe because my friends and family might get fucking deported. Like, that's insane. Anyway, let's see. Soy, when are you running for president? Fucking never, dude. I don't want that heat. Maybe a 2026 midterms. There's gonna be midterms, guys. Let's not get too doomer, right? Oh, Oni Plays. Are you talking about Psychic Pebbles? He does the like, it's me, Little Trump. He does it a little more raspy. Who said that? Who the hell said that? I love his. He's really great. I love Psychic Pebbles. He does Smiling Friends too. I'm not running, guys. I'm not going to run. Is it me? Is your voice coming through stream twice? Is it? I hope not. I'm sorry if it is. Why would it be? I don't think so. Is my stream on? I don't see it coming through twice. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. When are you going to be a cameo on Smiling Friends? I don't know, but I hope so. I love that show. Voice quality isn't the best. Uh-oh. Guys, what's happening? Hold on, let me listen to it for a second. Oh, no. Well, then it'll come through 3 times. An echo? Fuck. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a boomer. Zach Hale mentioned. Yeah, Zach Hale, Psychic Bubbles. He's great. The problem with the Supreme Court right now is there are a lot of pre-Trump appointments who want to have a legacy to maintain, even if they are actively hostile. Yeah, definitely. Stephen Smith. I kind of like Stephen Smith. I like Stephen Smith. He was pro-Bernie in 2009. So you know what? Fuck it. Let's go for him. I don't care. We need vibes, and he's got great vibes. Voice quality isn't the best, and it's twice. There's an echo. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, exactly. It's me, the Lightbringer. That's literally what I'm quoting. I've watched that video so many times. He's great. It's quiet and doubled. Wait, okay, look. There's only one input here. Oh my fucking god. I scrolled down and I found the other one. How's this, guys? I fixed it. I'm gonna... This should be better. But apparently it was using my webcam source again. I'm sorry. Boomer moment. I grew up with the channel Awesome when he did Linkara. Yeah, no. I love how good of a sport the Nostalgia Critic is, considering how much those people make fun of him. And now he was on Smiling Friends, so it's great. Do you think Kanye would have been a better president? No. He's like Hitler too. So no, I don't think Kanye would have been good. Soypill, can you make me a power abusing mod? See, Thanos, I trust you because you're always here. But at the same time, I don't know if you're joking. Maybe you would have used your power. I would have preferred fucking Jon Stewart. I don't know, Stephen Smith, whatever. Anyone else. You know what? It's so funny with all this DEI crap. Like, they're going to complain about, oh, like it's not a meritocracy. And yet I would probably select just a random minority off the street over Trump for the most part, considering how insane he's being right now. And because that's what they think DEI is. It's like not, oh, you have all the qualifications and also you happen to be a person of color and we might consider that. They think it's just like, well, just pick the black person over the white person. Like, I might unironically do that with how bad it is, except for Kanye. No, I'm not making any of you guys bots. I don't know much about the Constitution, and after this debate, I know less. Yeah, that's true, and I'm not a constitutional expert, guys, so I'm sorry. The Soypill DNC chair interviews or Discord kittens. I don't want to interview fucking David Hogg. Yeah, throw him out in the cold. Don't give him his jacket. Kick him now. The planes are crashing because of woke. True, because apparently the pilot of that helicopter was gay and a woman. So that's probably why she crashed. It wasn't because of a miscommunication or anything. Every single, what's the classic? It's the XKCD where it's like, it's a woman, or maybe it's just a guy who's bad at math, and then like a woman who does the math problem wrong, and it's like, you're bad at math, you're dumb because you're a woman. It's like, it's that. It's like every mistake is now attributed to your demographic instead of maybe they just made a mistake. It's ridiculous. Do you think Congress will codify Trump's executive actions? I have no idea, but I'm scared. What your political views? How do you think it would have been different in the 70s and 80s? I don't know how my political views would have been different 60 years ago. I might have been like pro-slavery in the 1700s. Who knows? Like people are formed by their environments, and if the environment shaped me to be more progressive. Like, yeah, I see things happening in material reality that make me more progressive, but like, I have no idea what I would have been 60 years ago, but I'm a progressive. Waltz is a total failure. Do not get him away from the office. He failed horribly in that VTB debate. He ceded all the ground to JD Vance. He does not have what it takes. And maybe that's because the DNC reined him in and said, don't call people weird. That's so mean. But like, I thought he just absolutely became a softie, and no second chances. I love your avatar. Thank you. I think if we don't rein in the executive authority, we need to get, well, before we get another Dem president. Yeah, obviously we need to fix this. Yeah, it's, man, like, it's so funny, like, how exhausted I am in the past 2 weeks. And I saw one of my trans friends on Tuesday, and she was just dying. like, oh yeah, like, as long as this 2 weeks have been for me, you are having a much worse time right now. You got to interview some political dude in Trump voice. Maybe. She was gay. I think the pilot might have been gay. What's the next vid? The next vid is the inauguration clips and footage. You might have seen the short. It's one short I have out, but like, I have a bunch more interview stuff, and I'm gonna do that. I need to write it and film it and record it. It's been really busy, guys. Sorry. But hey, if you give me more money, it'll be easier and things will come out faster. Speaking of piss politics, keep asking about the wall Trump promised. The wall is not that big a deal to me, unfortunately. You got to insult the other side more. Yeah, I really do think we need to. It's like, you guys might think I'm being contradictory when I get all like mad and heated in my debates, but like, that is a completely different story than the, you know, talking to a person on a personal level. So yell at people in debates, 100%. No one has been willing to point that out. Waltz and Vance are acting like best buds. Yeah, that was bullshit. It's like, oh, this guy's Hitler. It's the next existential crisis. Also, I agree with this guy. J.B. Pritzker, I don't know if I know who that is, or maybe I do. Is he that like idiot conservative? No, he's the governor of Illinois. I don't know anything about him. I feel her pain. I'm also trans. Got kicked off my HRT unless I pay uninsured prices. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh my God, a new member. Mildly muscular mom. Thank you for becoming a basic being. Yeah, anyone trans in my audience, which is apparently a lot of you, because you guys are all terminally online, be careful. Heart goes out to you. It's going to be really hard. And I will be on the front lines defending you against the right-wing squads coming after you. So just stay safe. Try to get some resources. Move to a place where they're not going to be mean to you, because it's going to get bad. It's already bad. Sorry about that. Are we going to have fossils running for president in 4 years? Yes, obviously, every time. Know how. Hey, Soy, I just started watching your videos, and they're honestly great. Even the 4-year-old ones. Thank you. Everything I made is a masterpiece. No, I mean, I make mistakes, but I really appreciate. I can't tell you how happy I've been since November that people are watching my stuff, and not just like my new stuff, but like the stuff I put hours and hours and hours of my life to before I was on drugs that kept me waked up in the middle of the day, that I had to grind through, and I was depressed, and like no one ever watched it, and like knowing I knew this moment might come, and it did come, and I'm just so happy that people watch my old stuff, and happy that people even give a shit about what I have to say. It makes me really, really happy. And it's hard to state exactly how happy I am right now, but like legitimately the happiest I've been in my entire life, and that is in 100% part due to every single one of you here and anyone else who watches my stuff, even the haters, because they're enabling me to do what I love doing, which is making stuff and making people laugh and hopefully making a positive difference in the world. So thank you, Know How. Thank you all you guys for being here. I really, really appreciate it. The 4 major candidates, Waltz has the best, highest net favorability. Yeah, I think that's just because like people don't talk about him as much. Oh my God, you guys are chatting so much because I'm reading every chat. I'll just skip all these chats so that you don't chat anymore. No, please keep them coming. None of this would have happened if we just let Teddy run and didn't force him to make the Moose Party. That's like, yeah, blame Teddy Roosevelt. Interesting. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I agree with JD on a lot of things. Really? You agree with literal Hitler or whatever you wanted to call him? Well, what the fuck are you doing? Trans ban for women's sports. Yeah, that EO is so stupid because it's like, okay, look, I might even be on the side of like, hey, for depending on what the qualifications are, like maybe we shouldn't have trans women in women's sports, but there's like a nuanced conversation there. It's like, okay, how do we redefine these to include these people? We can't give them their own category because there's not enough of them. Let's look at why these categories exist, because we did male and female for these like sex segregated spread out things. All right, so maybe we can do weight classes, maybe bone density, maybe you do like some sort of qualifiers, and if you meet these qualifiers you go into this, like, it's sports are made up, right? So we can make up how we categorize them if we want to be more inclusive to trans people. It's hard because there's not as many of them in sports, so it's hard to like say let's redefine this entire category for these people. But it's insane to me that it's like, well, actually, we need an executive order to just outright ban them, and that's the end of the conversation. It's draconian, and even if I do maybe say like, oh, there's an argument there, it's just pointless. There's no point in even like giving them any sort of credence because they don't give a shit. They're just trying to make life worse for trans people. And it's insane to me that J.K. Rowling, who like I grew up reading her books and is this person who purports to be a feminist and progressive and like, except for on trans issues, is now like, look how great Donald Trump is. And it's like, look, even if you agreed 100% with this sports ruling, the fact that you're propping up this guy who just goes against everything you've ever pretended to believe is fucking ridiculous. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted. Yeah. I wonder if Matt Walsh will respond to your video. Maybe. Since I've talked to Michael Knowles and like I know his producer now, maybe I'll like get on those shows more. I have this weird, sick, dark fantasy where they try to recruit me to the Daily Wire, and I'm like the punching bag liberal they always have on, and I just suck up all that conservative money, but I get to yell at them all day for money. That'd be great. But they would somehow find a way to be bad faith about it, obviously. Can I say, as a Brit, I'm sorry we gave you Piers Morgan. All right, Film Nerdy, I'm sorry you're British. Okay, fine, shut up and take my money, but don't shut up, just make more content. Thank you so much, Mildly Muscular Mom. Why don't you become a Majorly Muscular Mom? Go to the gym more. Let's get those routines. Let's get those pumps. Do you think the Dems could have won? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been no matter what. I thought it was Jover when the attempt on Trump's life happened, and like he just had the best PR moment of anyone could ever hope for. But then the Kamala stuff happened, and it looked like it could have been actually, you know, in anyone's ball game right at that point. And then they reined it in. They said, oh, we're going to be nice to you. We're going to stop saying weird. Oh, we're going to campaign with Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney. And I was like, all right, never mind. It's Jover. So, yeah, I don't know. It was bad. Cody Moon as a gay man. This is nice. Wait, what did Cody say? You guys are so good with your chats, but guys, I'm really sorry. I can no longer respond to every comment. I used to be able to. I literally can't. Like they came in faster than I was replying. I feel bad about it, but like when I say that, I'm genuinely happy for all these people who are allowing me to do what I do. I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to respond to all of them. I want to give you all my time, and I literally can't. And it's a double-edged sword because that means I'm blowing up. It means good things are happening, but it makes me really sad, and I'm sorry. I'll do my best. And eventually it's going to be almost no one. And that sucks because I'll just be making content and I'll do my best to reply. But it just makes me sad because like I know each and every one of you is a person in chat who is typing something out and giving me your thoughts and giving me a comment. And it's like that is contributing to a mass of people that is allowing me to live out my dream. And I can't say thank you to all of them. It's a double-edged sword to the internet. But I'm always going to say it, that I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. Let's see. Trans women sports for ban is dumb. It's literally less than 1%. Yeah, it's so stupid that they're making a big show out of this. Let's see. Cody Moon as a gay man. Yeah, I didn't see what that was. Soy, even your old vids are great. Thank you so much. And I hope I only get better. ADHD meds make my brain go bird. Definitely. I could have been cast as Mac's little bro in Always Sunny. I don't think I look like Mac, but I mean, he's a good looking man, so. Yeah, don't move to Canada, guys. Like, if you can afford to stay here and fight back, please do. We can't keep losing all our dumb voters. I have friends who are anti-Trump, but they have a what are we going to do about it attitude. I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, we can protest, we can call people, we can do grassroots campaign, but what are we going to do? I don't fucking know. We're going to do our best. That's what it is. When are we going to get The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer is peak cinema and should have been the real Incredibles sequel. Maybe I will. I haven't played that game since it came out, but I really do remember liking it, and it was a good sequel. I'm happy JD is bringing back Guyliner. Hell yeah, make up for men. The trans ban for women's sports affected 13 people. Is it really that few? That's so stupid. Yeah, leave it up to the league. Why is there an EO for it? Oh, I know why there's an EO. It's because it's posturing and because people are like, yeah, good, this is what I voted for. Not a fan of JD's stance of making up cat stories. True. The trick is to blame Obama. True. Thanks, Obama. Let me be queer. Michelle, Malia, get in here. Look at this meme. There's a difference if it's trans ping PNG versus trans wrestling. Oh, ping pong. Yeah, obviously, like ban trans women from being in darts. Like, who gives a shit, right? Okay, if it's wrestling, maybe there's like a good argument for like, hey, why should or shouldn't they be in here? How can we redefine this? But it's like, just, you know what? Blanket ban. Just do it all. Don't even think about it. It's like, it's so brain dead. Obama. Who cares about sports after high school? Well, some people do. I don't, but a lot of people do. Do you think Hassan is damning the online left? No, but I don't like a lot of what he had to say in that Ethan video. I did watch the Ethan video. I didn't watch the Destiny one, but I watched the Ethan one on Hassan, and it didn't look good. Oh my god, you guys are chatting so fast. I'm trying to catch up. I would love to hit the gym for real. It's too pricey, 20 to 30 a month. Yeah, but think about how much you're getting out of it. Your health. You're buying years of your life. Would you spend 200 for living longer? Joe Hill for president. I don't know what that is. Guys, sorry if I missed some of these. I'm like skimming through now because it's so many. I only do cardio, but just for you, I'll look into lifting. Thanks, buddy. What happened is the Republicans played basketball by kicking people in the shins, and the Dems kept being like, yeah, no, what's the tweet? The last 8 years have been Republicans dunking on us over and over while the Democrats say, but a dog can't play basketball. 50 states, 50 protests. I have not seen them. Sorry, Cream Crop. Cream Crop. I love that name. The Matt Walsh video made you blow up. I saw it on my feed. Thank you, Hunter Davis. Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you, Poop. Chat, who wants the fan Discord? Cody, stop it. No Discord. It's disgusting and parasocial. Hey, Soy, how do you feel about the whole Gaza situation and how liberals have reacted? I mean, it is dumb to rub it in the face of the people who... I understand the reactionary backlash when you get these guys who are like, oh, Kamala, Gaza's speaking now, and, you know, liberals are just as bad as Democrats, and then, liberals are just as bad as Trump will be, and then when Trump comes in and does this demonstrably worse thing, which we kind of saw coming when he said, like, I didn't know he was going to have the American military maybe take over Gaza, but, like, he said, I'm going to give free reign to Netanyahu to finish the job, and, like, everyone's acting surprised if this is much worse, because it obviously is much worse. It is kind of annoying that people fell for that propaganda and didn't vote for Kamala because of it. But I don't think we should be rubbing it in their faces because this is a really bad thing happening. And like these people need help and we need to help them. And it's one of those like, hey, let me reach my hand down and help you up because it's about to get way worse. Not, hey, haha, told you so. Like, yeah, told you so. Indulge for maybe a few seconds and then refocus. This is bad. Let's help these people. How'd the debate go? I thought it was pretty good. Don't feel bad. Just parking in super crowded cities. Super chats become a practical manner. That's right. I will stop reading every chat unless it gives me money. No, I don't want to do that. Although I am going to make my debate panel pay to win, fully indulging in the capitalism. Divergent says, if I had money, I'd give it to you. Unfortunately, I'm broke, and that's fine. I don't feel an obligation to. I think if I quit my job today and started doing this full time, I could survive for 6 months, if not longer, because of the money I'm already making. But it would still be hard, and I'm trying to wait until it is more viable and have more of a runway. And there's work to be done. I don't hate my job, and it gives me good money. So, yeah, Dems are abandoning trans people, and it sucks. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the best strategy, but like, if we need to not focus on those issues because right now it's electoral poison, I understand it. I just don't think that means we should abandon them. I just think it shouldn't be the main talking points. Let's see. I'll say unhinged shit and Soy won't see. I'll be so proud. Astra, that would be great. When I don't see your unhinged comments. I look like Nick Nocturnal. I don't know who that is. Super chat, you don't know who Joe Hill is. I'm sorry, who's Joe Hill? What the heck is a Joe Hill? Is that like Hank Hill? Oh, who's this? Pen name Joe Hill, heart-shaped box. I don't know any of these books. I'm sorry. I'm culture dead. Oh, Probrius. I've read that name before. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And a super chat from Creamed Comp, $5. Speaking of Joe Hill, who I don't know, the last stream I asked you to research the IWW. If any of you asked me to do anything, I promise you I haven't gotten to it yet because I've been so busy with work and trying to get my videos done. What is the IWW? I'm so sorry. I don't want to like, I feel obligated to like look into the stuff you tell me to do, but like, it's been a lot right now, but if you keep giving me money, I'll have more time to do it, and I will be happy to. You kind of look like Nick Paternal. I read that one. Oh, it's maybe Robin. I know you too. We need to touch grass for every 1 day. Yeah, you know how the Wii tells you to like go outside? Maybe I'd be okay with a Discord if it's like every 10 minutes it just kicks you off. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Daniel G. $20. Love your content. Hope you keep making more scripted videos in addition to stream. I will be. I think I don't want to promise this, but I'm trying to get at least a scripted video out every month because I have so many ideas, and I know, especially if I do this full time, I'll be able to do one every month probably. If not like a very long one, infrequently. What are your favorite video games of all time? I love Team Fortress 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Super Mario Sunshine. Those are my 3 go-tos, but I love a lot of games. The original Mass Effect, awesome. You could ask me more specific ones and things will pop up for sure. Think you'll ever do any gaming content? I want to make a gaming video on the Outer Wilds, the Forgotten City, and the Return of the Obra Dinn, but I don't know how much of my audience would really enjoy it. And that's not what's preventing me from doing it, because I want to make what I want to make. And if I want to make it, I'll put it out. But it's one of those like there's more important things right now. I don't know if I want to focus on those. That'll be my cool down. I'm tired of politics. Let me take a month off from politics and just do a nice little gaming one. Okay, that Hank Hill was too good. Lol. I try the bah loser. You're a loser. What is oh wow, you guys are giving me a lot of money now. Maybe I should beg more, but thank you so much. Hold on, let me read some of these chats. TF2 does not surprise me. Yeah. Hey, TF2 is still great. No, I think the bots ruined it, right? Maybe Robin says, you know me, parasocial relationship. I'm going to recognize names, guys. I'm a very visual learner. So if I see your name a lot, like Cody, when I see this hat, I think of Cody asking me to spin it because Cody keeps asking me to do it. Like repetition, it's going to grind it into my brain. If I see your name a lot, if you donate a lot of money to me, I'll remember you more. So I don't like Dark Souls that much. And it's not because it's a bad game. It's because it makes me lonely. I get sad. I tried playing it co-op, though. That was fun. Generic channel name, again, you already gave me money. Thank you so much. 1999. I'm in college. I'm sorry. But I don't have a platform significant means for change, so I'm banking on you getting big. Aw, that's so sweet. I hope I am a good outlet for you, but also, hey, like if I knew I could do this in college, I would have done it in college. Like I would have bought the equipment using a little extra money and just used all that extra time in between classes to spout my dumb opinions. That said, my opinions were stupider. So I'm happy that they have improved a little bit, and maybe it was good that I waited. Lasagna Cat, Outer Wilds, not Outer Worlds. That's the like kind of Fallout-ish type one. Outer Wilds is the one that's all 3 of those games I described are like these kind of, I don't even know what to call them, but games that you could win immediately, but you can't because the progression is not upgrades or weapons, but knowledge. So if you had the knowledge right away, you can beat it. And not necessarily in like the speed run way, but just like, oh, like as I play the game, I get more knowledge and now I like can do more. And I just think that's awesome. I really love those games. What does this say? Oh my God, sorry. That soy ain't right. That's good. That soy ain't right. I sell soy and soy accessories. Once Hunter Biden gets elected, you do gaming streams. Hell yeah. The bots are gone from TF2. Maybe I'll go back. Maybe I'll do a TF2 fan server spectacular, but then all you little cucks and simps will pocket medic me, and I don't want that. I want everyone to be doing fun stuff. Maybe I should beg more. True. The bots are pretty much gone. Are you a Sparking Zero enjoyer? I tried it. It's fun. I do really like Budokai. Parasocial relationships gives you hundreds of dollars. Yeah, but I would feel unethical, unironically indulging in the way that OnlyFans girls do on like the idea that like, I'm just teasing you a little bit. Oh, it's a little parasocial. Like, I really don't like that. I will never let you. I will change my name if I have to. I told my sex ed that I was a visual learner and he got mad. Thanos stuck with the bangers, as always. When I finally get my pharmacy tech certificate, I will start being more generous. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. But again, don't give me anything that you can't afford to give me. Please, I do not want to be the cause of anyone's financial struggles. That's ridiculous. I don't need that money that much. Maybe it'll get to that point, but I'm not going to actually beg for money right now. I've got a cushion. So only give if you can afford it and you like my stuff. That's when I give. What is your main in TF2? Oh, you're going to hate me. I'm a spy main. Invest in soy pills early, fellas. Remember me. I'll remember you, Divergent. If everyone's just going to spam, remember me. Oh no, I missed this. Cody Moons, I'm going to start a channel soon. Good luck. Outer Wilds is goated. I need an outlet. Extra time in college. What was your major? Aerospace engineering, but there are hours in between classes, and I only studied and did homework in so much as I had to, which was enough to get a very high GPA because I'm really good at memorizing information, but not necessarily good at processing it if I don't learn it correctly. And that's why if you ask me an aerospace question, I won't remember what the fuck you're talking about. Thank you, Diego Gonzalez Vasquez. I'm assuming it's cut off. $5. Thank you so much. You will have millions of subs one day. I feel it in my balls. They made me censor it. I hope I do. I can't even believe, again, I think I was at 500 this time last year, and I'm at 42,000 or something insane. I'm ecstatic. I am so excited that I'm so close to being able to do this full time, and it is fucking insane. It's literally my dream. Like, I've dreamed about this for 5 years of doing this full time, and the fact that I'm in these debate panels talking with, Pisco and Destiny and FD Signifier and JJ McCullough, and even people that are like smaller than me now, which is weird to say that there are smaller people. That's fucking insane. I was the smallest you could be, and now there is someone that is smaller. Like, what the fuck? But like, I still like talking to them. I have great conversations. Like, this invigorates me. I want to do this 10 hours a day. I want to do content all day long, and I'm so happy that I am so close to being able to do it all the time. Someone clip this for when in 10 years I'm burnt out and I'm saying that I make the I'm done with YouTube video, but I swear to God, I love this so much. If it's still legal for me to become a pharmacist, are you trans, Natalie? Do you think they're going to make it illegal for trans women to become pharmacists? I hope not. Jesus Christ. Knowledge-based progression is sweet. Hitman World of Assassination is good for that reason. I would be skeptical of Ubisoft. I play Dead by Daylight for addictive gameplay, although expansion has gone mad. I usually play as Survivor. I don't know Dead by Daylight. My least favorite games, and you'll hear me say this if I ever talk about games, 4 Horsemen, open world, survival, craft, early access. All of those are trash. Sorry, I really hate them. Oh, and maybe, is that all of them? I think that's all of them. No, I play Pyro. Oh God, I'm so sad that I'm like lagging on your chats. I want to be respond to them in real time, but like you guys talk so much, and I want to talk to everyone. Make a Reddit of memes, and then you can make a Reddit review content when you're lazy. I'll do that for sure. Are you a social democrat? I don't know if I agree with the label, but I'm like a Bernie progressive, so sure, AOC-ish. Wait, you don't want to be pocketed by a whole server? No. When is my rug pull crypto? Never. And guys, by the way, if I know by being in my audience and by liking my content, you're biased. If I do some fucked up shit in the future, if I do like a bad advertisement, if I'm taking advantage of you, please call me out for it. I want to be held accountable, and I don't like how people just get in these little yes man circles. Luke Harrison, can you spin the hat? Yeah, but Luke, don't pretend like I forgot that you said you knew Matt Walsh and could have me talk to him. And get on your knees, a Dom DM to Soy. Holden Goes says, forget me. Okay, I will. How are you doing those little cat emojis? Soy will remember what I did at his mom's house last night. Shut up. Aerospace engineering is crazy. I'm struggling with mechanical. If you're struggling with message retracted. Real time. I saw you get rid of it. Mechanical is the same as aerospace. If you can do mechanical, you can do aerospace. Most of the classes were overlapped. Generic channel name says, that's why I bribed you, so you know me when you're big. Hey, look, I'm as big as I've ever hoped to be. Oh, hey, Amagumo. I always say your name wrong. Amagumo. 42,000 is crazy in like 3 months. Yeah, I am ecstatic. Guys, if you go look up Amagumo on Twitter, he does cool art, and you should go follow him on Twitter and potentially anywhere else where he has links, but click on his profile. Really surprised you weren't big this before. Hey, it's all luck in the algorithm. I do good stuff, but until they notice me, it doesn't happen. What interested you in aerospace? Call of Duty. That's it. I'm stupid. It was literally that simple. Projectile motion. Oh man, I'm trying to catch up with these. Ah! Have you ever played Nier? I have not, but maybe I should. Feeling like an OG because I've been here since 18K. Right, yeah, no, the only OG is my mom. I don't even know if she's subscribed. So small, so small, so tiny, but I love him. Bro said I'll be on stream for another 20 minutes an hour ago. Really? Has it been an hour? Holy shit. I am going to get off at some point. I want to watch the new episodes of Invincible, which is a weird name because you can see him the whole time. Are you going to take extra steps to prevent your channel from becoming another echo chamber? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to exclusively listen to my comments, and I hope people call me out, but I don't know what I could do. Soy's on a 15-minute time delay? Is it really that bad? I'm sorry, guys. There's a Soy fan cord. No! Stop it! Add a loot box and it's full trash. Not Minecraft. Minecraft is the only good open world survival craft game, guys. Guys, I gotta skip some of these so I can catch up to you. The internet is where political battles take place now, so it's not only good for you to make a more reliable job, but it helps fight bad ideas. Yes. Early access. Oh my god, I am so far behind. I will call you out, Soy bro. Watch out for you. If you stream more, you'll adapt to taking creative control with what you respond to. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, though. I like the idea of libertarianism, but I can't say libertarians. Good, don't be a libertarian. I've never met a smart one. Soy pill. Soy pill kicked my puppy. Hold him accountable. I will not kick a puppy. Soy pill, you're doing a bad thing right now. Please apologize. I'm sorry. What do you think? What do you think Matt told Matt to copy yours to? It could have been automated. They might not even seen it, but I got rid of one of the automated ones before posting it, so I don't know. Become the change you want to see in the world. Younger Bernie. I'll try, but I just don't think I'd be a good politician, guys. About the retracted method. It seems random because you read it 8 years after. Blue Sky, not X. Yeah, I'm on. Oh, he's on Blue Sky. Yeah, go to Amagumo on Blue Sky, guys, if you can find him. Just throw the link in the chat, dude. Everyone should go look at your art. All your horny art. Invincible. Can you see him? Soy never fails to get off on stream. I'm almost caught up. New Invincible episode is pretty good. Don't spoil it. There's 3. Doing it all night? YouTube hates free speech. What am I doing? I will. Will what? What are you doing? Are we talking to each other? Are we going to chat after this? Mildly muscular mom. Fringe stuff kind of scares me. I don't think he's on time delay. I think he's just really far back in the chat. Yeah, I'm not on the time delay, guys. I'm just really trying to catch up with the chats. We're in Discord. You can't stop us. Oh, God. No, I don't have a Discord, but some people made an unofficial one. Oh my God, I'm caught up with chat. Do I have your permission to make the JJ chord the soy chord on April Fool's Day? That would be really fucking funny. Yes, do that, please. Holy shit, that'd be so fucking funny. So when are you releasing an AI that's just a mini you? I'm never. Fuck AI. Ugh, gross. But yeah, I don't know. Oh my God, I was caught up and now you're making me scroll again. My face when someone writes off a whole genre. Yeah, I'm sure there are good open world survival craft games. It's just when there's so much slop, it's hard. Minecraft is not a good game? What? I don't even like Minecraft and I know it's a good game. If you want to do another interview stream of someone on the British left, I would recommend Jimmy the Giant. I've heard good things about him. I think I saw one of his videos, so maybe I will. Oh, YouTube hates free speech. I will hold you accountable. I accept that. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on my debate today, person I know in real life. Guys, YouTube hates free speech. He's a MAGA guy. And you know what? As much as I want to convert him, he's still my friend. And you should all treat him well and respect his opinions. And then peer pressure him into being on my team. I have already read all the Invincible comics, Jacob, and they're amazing. Robert Kirkman's great. Here's my only money. No, Divergent, stop! Stop! Can I refund this? If you actually said this is my only money, I'm going to put it back. There's no refund button here. Stop it. Don't give me money you can't afford to, please. How would fun find this fan cord? Don't. If I get to 2,000 follows, I'll draw something for my soy bro. Guys, go follow Amago. Post the Blue Sky link. Can you post it? Hold on, let me find this. Magumo Blue Sky. I can't find this. Twitter. Search. Magumo. I wish I knew how to spell in Japanese. I can't find it. Anyway, hopefully he'll draw me something anyway, guys. Just a thought. Imagine I would love going on Piers Morgan. That's the kind of blood sports I love. I would do it. No more. Guys, is this guy left or more center? I've only seen 2. So, Jervin, I am very left. I just might not be like radical left, but I'm like, sock down, universal health care, every progressive policy, like, yeah. And I'm not in like the Tim Pool, I just say that and then I go vote for Trump kind of way. Like, actually. That was the last shill for today. Don't want to wind up on the cross. Oh, God. You have 23 cents? No, stop it. You're stuck with my money. I'm going to go donate it to a homeless person. It's going to be charity, idiot. You're the guy I talked to. 23 cents in a dream. What if you made a big group chat instead of a fan cord? Sure. I make no promises about respecting opinions. My father would say everyone is entitled to their own opinions. I'm not saying you have to respect their opinions. I'm just saying, treat him with respect. Don't shit on people. Don't create an echo chamber. Let them speak. Let them speak. What do you guys think that USAID ban will lead to? Guys, I unironically think that the removal of all the USAID and all the stuff that we do for all these amazing countries will reduce our power as a hegemonic country, and it's going to be really fucking bad. Like, I unironically think in the next 3 years, like, China's just going to fill that void and say, well, they're not doing it, so I'm not happy about the way things are going. But hey, never a better time to be a political YouTuber and say all of these opinions. Good night to the person copying my emojis. You said you've never met a smart libertarian, but you think you can be socially libertarian and economically balanced authoritarian. Maybe, but then I wouldn't call them authoritarian. I've never met a libertarian who calls themselves libertarian who is intelligent. let's see. I think there should be a Discord just so there's a community place to talk about how most of them suck. Yeah, I will just ban everyone who doesn't complain about the concept of Discord. That's what we'll do. Bye, Phil Nerdy. Thanks again for the donation. I cannot do a backflip, but I'd love to learn how. You're MAGA. My heart goes out to you. Sorry about the Elon stray, but I have respect for being a leftist community. Libertarians actually live in a fantasy land. Yeah, libertarians like Elon Musk come in, disrupt the system, realize why the checks and balances were there in the first place, and then slowly reinvent the government. It's so stupid every time. How is Canada? Diego Gonzalez, I don't know if you're joking, but the U.S. aid thing is not just subsidizing. It's about exerting our power in good ways to other people so that they like us and get things back and that we have influence in the world, and we're just getting rid of it because we're like, well, this doesn't help us immediately. Why would we give aid to a country? It's ridiculous. I'm not going to ban you, Cody. Muscular Mom, I don't like that whole like, oh, Jesus wouldn't do this, because even though it does show hypocrisy, it's ridiculous because it's not like they give a shit. So, and they're just going to be like, oh, like Jesus also said we should punish people. Libertarians when it's a business of violating human rights and not the government. True. Joke's on you. I'm the homeless person. You're homeless? Oh my God, Divergent, are you seriously homeless? Don't give me $5 if you're literally homeless. I already don't think it's good that you're giving me money when you can't afford to, but if you're homeless, that makes me feel way worse about it. Please, if you're homeless, give me a GoFundMe. I'll give it back, all right? I'll promote it too. Bro, how much do you know about Australian politics? 0. Richard Wolff has been in my algorithm. He says the same thing about hegemonic power. Yeah, but also Richard Wolff has said things that I'm not necessarily a fan of. So I am joking. Trade deficit joke. Okay, good, Diego. What are the odds we go to war with Panama and Greenland? I can't tell you, but honestly, it might happen. Libertarian was my ideology at 13. Exactly, it's a 13-year-old ideology. And then you get older and you realize, wait a minute, there's reasons we have all this. I can't believe Elon Musk said we should get rid of all regulation and then it should have to justify itself. It's like, what a stupid fucking thing to say. Like, obviously, regulation is good. There's lots of bloated regulations, but don't just get rid of all of it. Like, assess why it's there, see if it's still necessary, and then maybe you can undo it. But, like, the way he's going about this is fucking insane. And I hate that the argument against it is, we're just trying to get rid of waste. And it's like, yeah, okay, but the way you're doing it is fucking stupid. Everyone wants to get rid of waste. My college Dems meeting this week had 6 people, while Turning Point had a full turnout. That is bad. Yeah, but you're in Alabama, dude? Of course. Be the change you want to see, though. Get some more people. Can we talk about Trump's plan to turn Gaza into not a parking lot? He wants to turn it into like a casino strip or some shit. It's insane. And it's like literal ethnic cleansing. Not like, there's debates on whether or not what Israel was doing was technically genocide or technically not. And Trump's like, let's just kick 2 million people out of this place, which is literally ethnic cleansing. So like, it's so much worse than it ever could have been. I mean, I guess maybe people aren't going to be dying as much, but like, fucking A, dude, this is their home. This is where they live. This is their community. And you're just saying, fuck off, go somewhere else. What the fuck? It's insane. And I don't know why. Like, and it sucks because every day there's something new that's just fucking insane. YouTube hates free speech. I worked in Berkeley for 3 years. I'm not uncomfortable. Oh yeah, no, he's tried and true in the rumble. He faced the worst of the lefties, and as someone who is like, even remotely to the right of, well, I mean, I guess he's much more to the right of me, but YouTube hates free speech has gone through it. And I commend him for that. He came out a stronger man, although I think those people radicalized him. And they would radicalize me too. Those people are crazy in Berkeley. The way Trump and Musk justify everything they do via money. Oh yeah, it's just waste, guys. Waste and fraud are the magical words. What are the thoughts on the Farmer Riggs situation? I have no idea who that is. Lots of people are homeless but still have jobs. Yeah, but like if they're like homeless, it's insane. Like I want to help you. I've had homeless friends. It's really bad. What do you think about the Democrats trying to absorb Trump's skeptical Republicans? I just don't think it helps. It doesn't help. Aren't you a Marxist? Do I read leftist theory? I'm not a Marxist. I don't really read leftist theory, although I have. I'm not that far left. I'm not a tanky. I'm not a commie. I'm probably, I don't even know in theory if I'm a socialist or in practice. I don't know if that's necessarily better, but I'd have to look into it more. And I'm sure someone could, convince me. What are your thoughts on the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski? I don't know. I need to reread his manifesto. It's one of those things that everyone's like, oh, he spoke so much truth. And it's like, okay, well, he had, 90% truth. And then his conclusion was we should blow people up, which is insane. So I don't really have strong thoughts. Republican Jesus and GOP Jesus. Yeah, those sketches are funny. Bill Maher, when he wasn't, suck up, did that. Gaza, New Vegas, Fallout Gaza. Oh, no. Charleston's fence is a great reason to not remove stuff. I don't know what Chesterton's fence is. I love gambling. I also love gambling. I just gambled recently and I made money, which means I'm smart. Trail of Tears 2.0. Yeah, Jesus Christ. He's saying it's their choice. He's like, yeah, why would you want to go back? It's all destroyed. Yeah, like as if that wasn't like they still want to build it back up. Softy Soyboy Lefty, healthily muscled, chronically online bread tuber. JK, you're amazing. Sorry if I'm annoying you. I'm worried about you, Divergent. If you're actually homeless, I'm actually scared for you. Jesus was actually cool. I sometimes want to call myself just an independent Christian, since so many Christians want to tack on LGBT hate onto it. Yeah, that's not good. Good luck out there, Natalie. I hope you become a pharmacist. I've seen the effects of your Walsh video. 3 people I know independently discovered you from it. Yeah, I am baffled that so many people are seeing it. This is beyond anything I could have hoped for. I'm very, very happy. And I'm tempering my expectations. I don't think my next one's going to be that big. I think that was a fluke or like an algorithm thing because of the moment and the name and the thumbnail. And maybe I'll get to the point where all of them are that big, but I'm not expecting it. The small artist economy is getting fucked in the trade war. Yeah. The way Trump talks about Greenland was the way that Putin talked about Ukraine. Yeah. Also, to say again, in case you didn't see, I'm not homeless. Well, why'd you lie about it? Give me more money. You should feel bad. No, stop. Join the red side, brother. Indeed. Thought a GoFundMe would be nice. Well, if you're actually like struggling, like I want to help people out. Have you read my manifesto? I haven't read your manifesto, Luke, but you can post it. I'll read it. Let me bring you onto the side of socialism. I would feel honored. I mean, maybe. Didn't you have a live channel? Okay, so guys, this is what I'm doing. So I made that channel. I'm uploading all the edited VODs. So VODs will still go up on this channel, and I didn't want to get rid of super chats because I want not monetized on that channel, and the reach isn't the same. So I'll stream on this channel. Then I download the VOD. I edit out, like this end part is not a big deal, and I edit out the beginning, and I just clip what people want to see, upload that. That's it. And then people can go watch that. So somewhere to store the VODs. I also maybe shouldn't upload the VODs here, especially if they are going to get me banned. But maybe in the long run I'll abandon that. I don't know. It's hard. I'm blowing up faster than I can deal with. It's hard. I'm trying to figure out what to do. You say you won money gambling with the Trump voice. I won so much money. I was at the blackjack table. It's very easy. See, they count the cards for you. You don't even have to do the math. They tell you what's happening and they give you money. It's very nice. His books and rants, wah, Libra's bad, they weak, and talk about feelings. Love your vids. Thank you, Jacob Ward. I want to get you to the real left. You're right there. I don't know about that. Like, I don't know what would need to push me out. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand why people get radicalized, but like, maybe it's just because I have a cushy life that I'm like not as radicalized, but stuff needs to change. I understand. Great stream. Thanks for answering questions and being a cool guy. Keep up the good videos. Good night. Good night. Tex Patriate. I'm curious. I'm a Gumo. I'm assuming you're posting your link and it's getting retracted. Can you post it like with like a dot, like the word dot instead of the dot, or DM it to me? But I can't look at my DMs right now. It's weird. Or try again. Great stream. Oh, curious. How are small artists affected through the trade war? Oh, I guess that's what he was answering. Anarchism is the best? No. How does Greenland affect literally anyone in America? It's because it would be like a military strategic thing, I think, because it's in between us and Russia. I think it would be like it's just a place we put military stuff. Same with the Panama Canal. Like controlling that economic flow would give us power over other countries. I'm going to pull him right? No way you're not going to pull me right. My Trump voice is hilarious. Thanks. I'm going to practice it for 4 more years and hopefully not longer. We need more debaters on the left. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. I'm trying. Your video, Matt Walsh, made me realize that Robin DiAngelo was way more reasonable than they presented her. Yeah, she's not like crazy. She's just like at worst like annoying and a little misled. Like I read the book and I was just like, like a lot of it is truthful, but like just the conclusions. So like come on, you're a little out of touch here. I might give you some suggestions from leftist streamer Vosh, who had the 2 channels set up. Please, dude, that would be awesome. I think it seems like you've got some good ideas, Max, and I would be open to hearing them. Oh, here we go. Amagumo. Artists make things through Chinese Chinese manufacturers, which are getting blocked or tariffed. Ah, I see. So it's not just the drawing. I'm Mexican, so my first exposure to Trump were comedy skits. When I found out he really talked like that, I was baffled. Oh my God, it's not a joke. Yeah, unfortunate. I think Greenland also has some rare earth metals. Oh, that might be true. I know Ukraine just offered their rare earth metals, which is interesting. Good night, Soy Boy. Have a good night. And remember to forget me for the good of your sanity. Good night, Divergent. Thanks again for the money. Please stop giving me money if you can't afford it. See, kind of obvious now that you say it. Amagumo. Yes. If I just wanted to, your political content is the best on YouTube. I don't know if I'd say that, but thank you, Jay Doran. It isn't like pretentious and assholey like the rest of the politics. Hey, just wait. I'll get there. I really, really, really need that coloring book. Oh, yeah, no, Captain Bucket, I don't have it here, but maybe next stream I'll do like a giveaway. I don't know. Like everyone just enters, everyone comments, and I'll just, I don't know, pick someone at random and mail it to them with my with my coloring in it, because it's just taking up shelf space. Someone got to read it again. My Trump is really good. It's so good. Everyone says stop it. Reminds me too much of him. Oh yeah, and you want to sell to buyers in the U.S., you are suddenly having to deal with way more paperwork and extra costs. Yeah, the tariffs are fucked. Trumper interview an iFunnier? No. Trumpers seem to get off on trolling. Why are there no leftist trolls? Oh, because like they're bad at it. You watch like Walter Masterson, and he goes up to like what's it called? Like the Proud Boys, and he's like, hey, "You're a virgin." That was so bad. It was so embarrassing. Ugh. Soy boy for president? No. Veef. Me. I don't know what that means, Veef, but me. All right. I work construction for a project manager, watching all my superiors freak out for all the Hispanic workers taking a protest day without realizing that we rely on them. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, Walter Masterson's kind of cringy. I don't like the way he tackles things very much. I think we need better trolls. Have you had your soy milk? I don't drink soy milk. I drink almond milk sometimes. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap up here. Any last minute questions? I will try to go through them, give you a few more minutes, and then this 20-minute last stream will end after an hour and a half. How would you stop billionaires from existing? Very, very high taxes. Nut milk. Should the left do the same? Trolling? Soy poser. I am a poser. I'm not even vegan. The lights are on, but no one is home, if you will. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. They're fucking around. Cody Moon says, good night, bro. I should get back to work anyway. Back to work? What is it? It's like 9 p.m. Bless up, Chief. Yeah. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking it out. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the super chats. I really, really, really want to do this full time, and I'm very close. I'm so close. Very close, closer than we could ever believe. Oh my God, don't tell anyone. But I really want to quit and do this all the time, and then I'll stream all the time. So, Type 1 down in the deep state, thank you so much. I love y'all. Good night. Stay safe, especially all of my marginalized peoples, to stay extra safe. We'll make it through. We can do it. I believe in you, and you're all supporting me, and I appreciate that.